Hello. Welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. 917WB. 201 treatment still uses an operating table. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. For Giorno Chopper Nanon's first speech at this time, saying that he was going to stay on the ship to heal the wounded Namur and many Murlocs of the Ryugu garrison, the Murloc King Neptune was very gratitude and appreciation. The addition of Jinbei and Namur's team added to Giorno Chopper's reliability. Therefore, after hearing these words, Neptune showed a very grateful expression to Giorno Chopper and said to him, unexpectedly, Mr. Giorno Chopper is a genius doctor. Mr. Giorno Chopperna, these Murloc brothers of the Dragon Palace Guards, all gave their blood and tears for the Fishman Island. On behalf of the Dragon Palace and the thousands of people on the Fishman Island, I would like to thank Mr. Giorno Chopper for his help. Saying that, Neptune also bent down and expressed his gratitude to Giorno Chopper. Advertisement. Your Majesty Neptune doesn't have to do this, I just follow the captain's instructions and do what I can do, backquote. Seeing Neptune like this, Giorno Chopper waved his hand and said in a neither humble nor arrogant manner. Giorno Chopper, if you want to, let it go. 35. We can wait for you a little longer. Anyway, with your ability, it won't take long to cure them. At this moment, Su Yang also came to Giorno Chopper's side, patted his shoulder, and said to him. Giorno Chopper heard the words and smiled and nodded at Su Yang. Drive Giorno Chopper, simple medical room and operating table in the excursion boat. Advertisement. Do we need to advance the patient for surgery? At this time, the great Prince Shark Star also came to Giorno Chopper's side and asked him respectfully and politely. What? Giorno Chopper was also a little stunned when faced with the words of the great Prince Shark. After all, for him, things like the medical room and the operating table would not be too helpful for him to use his ability to treat those injuries. Don't need to use it, my healing ability is rather special, not a traditional technique. Prince Shark Star only needs to have someone push the wounded in front of me. As if seeing Xiaoxing's even more astonished expression, Giorno Chopper explained with a wry smile. Advertisement. 66 _ 39. No need for a medical room and an operating table. 39. After Xiaoxing heard this sentence, the surprise on his face became even stronger. It was the first time he heard the doctor say that he did not even need a medical room or an operating table to treat those injured patients who lacked arms and legs. Dr. Giorno Chopper, those seriously injured Dragon Palace guards are in serious condition. Doremi is trembling. Red rollover, that kind of injury, even if the doctor from the Fishman Island comes, will need the assistance of surgical equipment. Does Dr. Giorno Chopper really need it? As Xiaoxing's voice fell, the second Prince Wangxing and the third Prince Roverstar also spoke one after another. Advertisement. 202 Rescue. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Prince Shark, Prince King, Prince Roller, as Dr. Giorno Chopper said, his treatment is special. The last time he healed the brothers of the Whitebeard pirates was by pushing people in front of him. So please rest assured, the three princes, just do as Dr. Giorno Chopper said. Cough, cough, cough. Hearing that King Star and Rollover Star also asked questions along with his eldest brother, Giorno Chopper didn't explain it himself, but Muir took the lead in answering it in advance. When the three princes, Shark Star, King Star, and Rollover Star heard that Muir said this, they no longer insisted, but were more curious about the treatment that Giorno Chopper would use next. Of course, the curiosity returned to curiosity, and the more calm King 507Z Shaxing did not delay at all, and ordered the guards of the Dragon Palace around them to bring the seriously wounded over first. In a short time, the first Murloc guard of the Dragon Palace guards who was seriously injured was carried over. Advertisement. Because of the fierce battle just now, the Murloc guards' hands have been cut off by Cracker Soldier's great sword. And because Dafu detonated the Lantern Man, the broken arm that he had no time to retrieve, under the explosion of energy, it was annihilated with all the blown ashes around him, and he could never find a single broken arm. In addition to his broken arms, the big Murloc guard of the Dragon Palace guard army also has a long knife edge on his stomach. It was also caused by the big knife of the Biscuit guard. At this time, everyone around was able to see clearly from the incision of his knife that some of the intestines had been severed and were gushing blood. At this time, the guards of the Dragon Palace guards had obviously had a lot of gas out and a little air in, and they looked like they were dying, and they were not far from death. If it wasn't for relying on his powerful thoughts to hold his breath, or at this time, he would have met under the Yellow Springs with the guards of the Dragon Palace guards who had been killed before. Advertisement. Looking at the injury of the Dragon Palace guards, let alone Neptune, Shark, King, and Roller, who have never seen Giorno Chopper's tactics. It was that Muir who had seen Giorno Chopper's rejuvenation before, and he was a little clueless at this time. After all, the situation shown by the guards at this time was really too bad. If it was put into the hands of any doctor on the Fishman Island, it is estimated that the final result would be nothing but a certain death sentence. And such a certain death, in Giorno Chopper, cannot be counted here. The reason is also very simple. Nothing more than Giorno Chopper's ability, against this kind of injury, it is simply a tionk situation. Advertisement. Among the crowd, only the members of the Dimension Pirates looked at Giorno Chopper with confidence, and the rest quietly watched Giorno Chopper's every move. They all wanted to know, how exactly did the magical treatment that Muir said work? How will Giorno Chopper save the Murloc in front of him with half of his foot already on the coffin board? However, when they were staring at Giorno Chopper, he had activated his ability and called out his stand-in. It's a pity, because only the Avatar can see the Avatar. Therefore, Giorno Chopper's stand-in can only be seen by Su Yong and the dimensional pirates who were summoned by Su Yong through the system. Advertisement. 203 Shark Stars Shock. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Shoo. Huh. At the moment when Giorno Chopper appeared as a substitute, Su Yong made a move with his right hand and directly used the ability of wood style to create a few pieces of wood out of nothing, and threw them at Giorno Chopper. Looking at the wood flying towards him, Giorno Chopper, who had already cooperated with his own captain once, nodded to Su Yong and said, "Then I'll start. Hada. Giorno Chopper was talking to Su Yong. He also raised his fists, and at the same time controlled his stand-in to smash his fists on the pieces of wood. Advertisement. Neptune, Shark Star, King Star, Roller Star and others who can't see Giorno Chopper's stand-in around are stupid. The minds of each of them are now filled with little question marks. What's this? What's the joke? They really don't understand what Giorno Chopper is doing. From the moment Su Yong made wood and threw it at him, everyone was already confused. After all, no one could have imagined that the Murloc bodyguard would be treated with wood for such a serious injury. But in the end, before the treatment, whether it was that Muir or Giorno Chopper said that the treatment method will be special, so just use wood, just assume that everyone has no knowledge and has never seen such a magical strength. But now that Giorno Chopper got the wood, not only did he ignore the dying Murloc guard, but he also screamed, "Hada," to hit the air with the rim. Such an operation directly impacted everyone's worldview. Advertisement. Murray, are you sure that Mr. Giorno Chopper used a few pieces of wood to treat the injuries of the rest of the Whitebeard pirates? Finally, Jinbei was the first one who couldn't hold back, and quietly approached Namur and asked him. Jinbei's actions were naturally captured by Neptune, Shark and others. Because several of them had the same doubts in their hearts, they didn't say anything to stop them, but pricked up their ears, ready to eavesdrop on how Muir would answer. Cough. I'm pretty sure. Last time, Mr. Giorno Chopper treated everyone like this. 99. 0 for flowers. Precisely because it's so unbelievable, unheard of and unseen, that's why I just told you that the treatment method will be quite special. Cough. Namur nodded when he heard Jinbei inquiring about him, coughing and answering for Jinbei with certainty. Advertisement. Point 0. It was also between the two of them talking and the people around them eavesdropping. Giorno Chopper has also stopped his damage and stopped throwing punches. Something that shocked everyone around happened. With Giorno Chopper's actions just now, the ordinary pieces of wood just now had undergone earth-shaking changes. On the unremarkable wood just now, 2 arms have grown out at this time, and these arms are very realistic, even the 10 fingers are very delicate. Seeing Giorno Chopper stop throwing his fists, Shark Star took a closer look and found something surprising, so he sighed. This wood has grown arms and fingers, it's incredible. Advertisement. 204-dimensional pirate group, extraordinary. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Doramifa, I saw that Dr. Giorno Chopper was just punching in the air, it's amazing how the wood can change so much. Red roll, I guess Dr. Giorno Chopper should be a demon fruit power. These are all magical abilities from Devil Fruit. As the eldest brother Shaoxing fell, the 2 younger brothers, 507, King Star and Rollover Star, also quickly spoke in agreement. Of course, it wasn't just the 3 princes of Shark Star who were shocked by this. Whether it is the fish people of the Sun Pirates, the guards of the Dragon Palace guards, even Jinbei and Neptune, they were all shocked by Giorno Chopper's wonderful hand. Jinbei and Neptune are not those ignorant guys. They have been in the sea for so many years, especially in the Fishmen Island, where the so-called portal of the New World is located, the demon fruit power they have seen as extraordinary. Advertisement. I have also experienced a lot of strange devil fruit abilities. But for being as eccentric as Giorno Chopper is at this time, it's really a first point. This is indeed a very magical energy. Little friend Su Yang's dimensional pirates is truly extraordinary. After looking at each other with Jinbei, Neptune turned his head to Su Yong and opened his mouth in admiration. Su Yong didn't answer, just smiled slightly, raised his head and pointed to Giorno Chopper's direction with his chin, signaling the mermaid king Neptune to look down. It looks like it is saying, continue to look down, the following is more exciting. 0. Neptune naturally understood Su Yang's gesture, so he also turned his attention to Giorno Chopper's direction, wanting to see what kind of surprises this guy could bring to him. Advertisement. As predicted, after Giorno Chopper took control of the Avatar's fist, he took the arms, intestines and other organs needed by the Murloc guards. Not only did he not find any surgical tools, needles and threads to sew up the Murloc guards. On the contrary, he held the arms and organs made of wood, just like children putting together Lego toys and assembling transformers. After aligning them with the corresponding positions, they installed them directly. Woo, complete 1. Next, Giorno Chopper said softly without turning his head after installing everything for the Murloc guards. 0. At this time, everyone's facial expressions were like petrified when they looked at the scene in front of them. Their hearts have already been strongly impacted, and the 3 views have been bombarded with some incomparable thoroughness. Advertisement. Is this the end? Now it's like pressing parts to fit people, will it fall off after just flipping the arm? Jinbei wiped the sweat from his forehead and asked Giorno Chopper. Cough, cough. Not falling. I heard from the brothers in other squads that after installing it, it is the same as the original organ, and it is easy to use and operate. And the Giorno Chopper 4.6 is really as easy to assemble as it is to fit parts as we see it. When he connected the organ made of wood to the human body, he was able to connect it flawlessly. Just like when Jinbei asked Giorno Chopper before the deity could answer, there was already a human answering machine named Namur, who answered his questions while coughing. Advertisement. 205 Strange Roar. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After Giorno Chopper healed the first Murloc guard and showed his marvelous medical skills, the rest of the disabled patients were all quickly lined up. Team. So, an assembly line job appeared. First, Su Yang used wood style to produce wood blocks of different sizes in batches. Then Giorno Chopper screamed, ha ha ha, in his mouth, and used his stand-in ability to turn those wooden blocks into organs that were lost, broken, and needed to be replaced one by one. The assembly line quickly reached Namur. Advertisement. After a few minutes of operation, Giorno Chopper had put on a new pair of lung lobes for Namur, so that he would no longer be coughing while talking, let alone coughing up blood. Ha 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 ha. Amazing skills. It's really amazing medical skills. Drive Giorno Chopper worked hard. Since the patients have been treated, please get on the boat and join us in the Dragon Palace to have a banquet and relax. After watching Giorno Chopper finish the last person's treatment, Neptune also laughed and invited Su Yang and Giorno Chopper to them. This time, no one had any other opinion. Su Yang took Ram, Uchiha Madara, Giorno Chopperna and others on the cruise ship prepared by the Dragon Palace. The only one left, Akurolia, used his mind to control the Shira and floated behind the cruise ship. Advertisement. Along the way, the three princes, Shaoxing, the second prince, and the third prince, are all like a very thoughtful tour guide, explaining the various scenery of the Fishman Island to the dimensional pirates on the cruise ship. And the Fishman Island, which is full of fairy tale-like scenery, easily captured the hearts of Ram, Tornado, Anna, and Emily. Especially in the process of sightseeing, there are also beautiful and hot mermaids one after another, offering them the unique desserts, fruits and other specialties of the Fishman Island. There was not much time, and the cruise ship had already arrived at the entrance of the Dragon Palace. Under the leadership of Neptune, Su Yang and the others used bubble coral to create bubbles for themselves to survive and move in the water, and then followed Neptune and floated in the direction of the Dragon Palace. In order to cover up the shortcomings of seasickness and other means of transportation, Acnaroria, who insisted on driving the Shira to follow, was guided by the right minister to find a place to stop the ship. As the place where the royal family of the Fishman Island lived, the Dragon Palace was naturally built beautifully. It even made the girls of the dimensional pirates come to a fairy tale kingdom. Advertisement. Boom 507. Boom, 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 boom. Just as everyone was visiting the Dragon Palace under the leadership of Neptune, a roar came from one direction in the Dragon Palace. Hearing this movement, Uchiha Madara, Diablo, and Ace Kano also frowned slightly and looked at Neptune. Smash. Do you want to renovate the Dragon Palace for a banquet? On the other hand, Neptune, the king of mermaids, and the three princes of Shark Star, King Star, and Rollover Star all turned unpleasant after hearing this voice. Advertisement. 206 The Sadness of the Mermaid Princess. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Looking at Neptune's slightly falling faces, Su Yang seemed to realize something, so he also opened his mouth and asked Neptune. I heard Whitebeard mention it before about Uncle Neptune and the Mermaid Princess. And, it seems to be entangled by some unknown guy. Has it not been dealt with until now? After hearing Su Yang's question, Neptune shook his head with a bitter face, sighed and said. Alas, the old man does have a hard-working daughter named Shirahoshi. She's been targeted by a guy named Vander Decken since something happened. That guy is a fruit power, he can use the fruit power to throw things thousands of miles away to Shirahoshi's location. 35. In the beginning, the little girl, Shirahoshi, just received letters, flowers and other gadgets from that guy. Advertisement. But as Shirahoshi refused to show love to that guy, he started throwing weapons like crazy every day. In order to protect Shirahoshi from being harmed by those weapons, we had to arrange Shirahoshi to live in an iron shell tower made of steel, and this residence lasted for a few years. As soon as he mentioned his little girl, Neptune's box was instantly opened, and he couldn't stop telling Su Yang and everyone in the Dimension Pirates about Shirahoshi. As he spoke, Acnarolia, who had docked the boat, also followed under the leadership of the right minister. Just because Neptune was talking about Shirahoshi at the time, he didn't interrupt him rashly, and just listened quietly. When Rem and Ram heard that the mermaid princess named Shirahoshi had been trapped in an iron tower since childhood due to such reasons, their eyes turned red, and their hearts rose with infinite sympathy for Shirahoshi. Affection. Sir Su Yang, can we help Princess Shirahoshi? She is so pitiful that she was forced to live in an iron tower by a bad guy. 95. Advertisement. Immediately, the two kind sisters also pulled Su Yang's sleeves and asked Su Yang. Hearing the request of the two sisters Rem and herself, Su Yang, who had been very fond of Shirahoshi, the mermaid princess in her previous life, naturally did not refuse. It's not a big deal. Since you want to help her, let's help. 55. That guy Vander Decken may have a hand in evading the pursuit of ordinary people, but he is unlucky when it comes to us. After he smiled and said a word to Rem and Ram in a gentle tone, he turned his head to look at Mewtwo and said, Mewtwo. Go and get that guy named Vander Decken back. 0. Hearing Su Yang's order, Chao Meng nodded, then stretched out his right hand and summoned his huge spoon that was almost as tall as himself. Predict the future. Advertisement. Then he put the spoon on his chest and closed his eyes tightly. A powerful and mysterious super energy wave emanated from his body and the spoon. So, under the watchful eyes of everyone, the huge spoon in Chao Meng's hand began to bend slightly in one direction. After the head of the spoon and the handle of the spoon completely formed a 90-degree angle, Chao Meng retracted the strong super energy fluctuation and opened his eyes. Captain Su Yang, I have used my superpowers to find the location of the man named Vander Decken. 55. I'm going to arrest people now. After Chao Meng opened his eyes, his temperament was still cold and he said something to Su Yang, and he was ready to use his superpower to fly away. But as soon as it set off, it heard a stout voice scale from behind him. Wait, stinky cat, I'll go with you. Advertisement. 207 Mewtwo and Black Dragon's Alliance. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This sudden voice made Chao Meng stop his figure, and the expressions of everyone in the Dimension Pirates changed slightly. Everyone cast their gazes on Akunorli, who had just spoken. What is this operation? Humph, look what I do. The stinky cat's body is still adapting to the rules, and its strength needs to be improved. This is the sea under 10,000 meters. If we lose, we will lose all the face of our Dimension Pirates. Feeling the surprised eyes of everyone, Akunorlia shook her head up and said to everyone. Advertisement. But the people of the Dimensional Pirates, after hearing that he actually found such a reason, the color of exploration in their eyes is even stronger. Of course, there are a lot of honest people in the pirate group. When watching Akunorlia, 507 will also look at Uchiha Madara and Diablo with a thief. Kindness. Sure enough, the mortal enemies both value each other and dislike each other. Is there anything wrong with Akunorlia doing this? No problem. Scientific, reasonable. Originally, Mewtwo was also very surprised when he heard Akunorlia call him to stop. But after hearing the words of Akunorlia, I also understood the kindness of this guy. At this time, it was not long before Chaomeng was summoned by Su Yang to the world of pirates, and his body had not fully adapted to the rules of this world, so he could only use a part of his superhuman strength. In Su Yang's words, the unblocking degree of the system has reached less than 40%. Advertisement. Cut. It's the first time I've heard that lizards can swim. After realizing the good intentions of others, even though the person who spoke was his usual nemesis, Chaomeng didn't reply as usual, but just said something softly. Seeing that Mewtwo was only taunting, but not rejecting it, Su Yang also smiled and shook his head, and said to Akunorlia. Okay, then Akunorlia, you can go with Mewtwo. After hearing Su Yang's words, Akunorlia also nodded to him, walked to Mewtwo's side, and followed the way he came, towards the entrance of the Dragon Palace leading to the Fishman Island. Go. Right, gentlemen, take this with you. At the same time, the great Prince Shaoxing suddenly imitated begged Buddha to realize something. He hurriedly shouted to the two of them, and at the same time, he also quickly caught up and gave the two coral-shaped objects to them. This is coral that makes bubbles. When you need to use it, just press here. 35 feet. After handing the coral-shaped object to the two, Shark also explained it to Akunorlia, who was not there just now. Advertisement. Akunorlia nodded, accepted it, and left with Mewtwo. Looking at the backs of Mewtwo and Akunorlia leaving, the Mermaid King Neptune said to Su Yang with great gratitude. Such a kindness, the old man is grateful. Little friend Su Yang, and everyone from the Dimensional Pirates, please come with me to the Iron Shell Tower, and I will ask Shirahoshi to thank him personally. As soon as Neptune said this, the eyes of the children of Tornado, Rem, and Ram suddenly lit up. That's a mermaid princess. Fairy tales represent innocence and beauty. The changes in the expressions of their crew members were naturally captured by Su Yang, who knew what they were thinking of him, so how could they disappoint them? So he also nodded to Neptune, and agreed with a smile. So, then I'll bother you. Advertisement. 208 Tornado Shot. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The group also changed the path to the Dragon Palace banquet hall and walked towards the Iron Tower where the mermaid princess Shirahoshi was. Under the leadership of Neptune, everyone quickly came to an iron tower made of pure steel. The steel walls are full of potholes and pits, and there are traces left by the impact of weapons of different sizes. In the corner of the wall, there are also piles of long knives, giant axes, artillery shells, iron body and other miscellaneous debris. Woo, 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 whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At the same time, a new round of objects turned into shadows and were thrown by Vander Decken. Humph. Looking at the giant axes flying towards the Iron Shell Tower, Tornado, who had long been angry at Shirahoshi's story, snorted coldly, and saw her right hand waved, and the telekinetic force was instantly used by it. Advertisement. Boom. Immediately, those flying giant axes stopped in midair as if someone had pressed the pause button, and then landed straight on the ground due to gravity. Thank you Miss Tornado for blocking it. Watching the tornado shoot out, the great Prince Shaoxing also bowed slightly to thank him. Humph. I just can't get enough of that nasty guy. Su Yang. After Mewtwo and Acronia get that guy back, you have to give him to me. When the time comes, I will definitely teach him to be a good man. When the floating tornado heard Xiaoxing's words and glanced at Xiaoxing, he also pouted and said angrily. Okay. After a while, Xiaomeng and they catch people, I will hand them over to you. Advertisement. You let go and do it, and teach him to be a good man. Looking at the tornado's behavior, Su Yang did not refuse, but agreed with a smile. While speaking, they also walked into the Iron Shell Tower under the leadership of Neptune. In any case, the Iron Shell Tower is where the mermaid princess lives. Although the outside is made of thick steel, the interior of the Iron Shell Tower is still very dreamy. Except for the furniture that is all blue and pink, the decorations in the house are all top grade. In the innermost part of the room, there is a very huge shell bed, and an equally huge figure in the curtain is also sitting on it. 0 for flowers. Shark. Watching Su Yang's group come in from the door under the leadership of Neptune and Shark Star, a shark in a red t-shirt also floated over quickly. Advertisement. Originally, seeing the arrival of Neptune and Shark Star, the expression on the shark's face was still very happy. But after seeing the unfamiliar faces of Su Yang, he immediately grinned and looked at them defensively. Point 0. Captain Su Yang, this shark is called Makaro, Shirahoshi's pet. Seeing that the shark acted like this towards Su Yang and his group, in order to prevent misunderstanding, Shark Star also stepped forward to explain to Su Yang and others, and at the same time shouted to the shark, Makaro, these people are the fish. The distinguished guests of Men Island, don't be presumptuous. Yes, it's Brother Shark. Are you here? Just as Xiaoxing's voice fell behind, a sweet but timid voice came from the curtain of the shell bed. Afterwards, a huge mermaid with a huge figure, long pink hair, and a very sweet and lovely face got off the shell bed, and floated towards the crowd with the help of the buoyancy of a circle of bubbles around her waist. Advertisement. 209 Mermaid Princess Shirahoshi. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Ding. Detect nearby summon fragments. Just after following everyone into the Iron Tower, Su Yang's ear rang the familiar prompt sound of the system again. Fragments actually appeared here. After hearing the system's prompt tone, Su Yang raised his eyebrows slightly, and secretly said in his heart. One of the reasons why he decided to enter the new world this time was to take the opportunity to find some summoning fragments. 507. But when Uchiha Madara, Diablo and the others played against Charlotte Daifuku and Charlotte Snag in Fishman Wharf before, Su Yang did not receive any system alerts. Just when he thought for a while that the summoning fragments could not be found on the Fishman Island this time, the system prompt appeared so suddenly. And up. This time, the refresh location of the summoned fragments turned out to be in the bedroom of the mermaid princess Shirahoshi. Such a situation was something Su Yang never expected. Advertisement. At the same time, he was very happy in his heart. Fortunately, he sent Mewtwo and Acronia to arrest people. Fortunately, he agreed with Neptune's proposal. Fortunately, he took into account the wishes of Ram, and Tornado, and chose to follow. Neptune and the others came together. If not, then you really miss the rhythm of billions of millions. Immediately, Su Yang also scanned the Iron Tower in accordance with the regularity of the refreshment of these summoned fragments. Finally, in a corner of Shirahoshi's bedroom, Su Yang saw a dazzling orb of light. Su Yang breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that the summoning shard was in the corner of the Iron Shell Tower, not on the huge shell bed. After all, Shirahoshi was still a child at this time. If he wanted to pick up the summoning fragments that others could not see, he would rashly climb onto the bed of the little girl. Advertisement. No matter how you listen to this, how do you feel that it is somewhat violating the law? And if this matter spreads out, the reputation is not good. Su Yang wants to be the strongest man in the world. Just taking on the reputation of someone who likes to climb on the bed of an underage girl would really detract from that mighty image. Just as Su Yang was brainstorming at the old god's ease, Shirahoshi also came to the door and came to greet his brother. After seeing Su Yang's group, Shirahoshi's sweet smile, which was still smiling, instantly collapsed like a deflated balloon, and let out a scream at the same time. Hey, who are you? Woo, Lord Father. Brother Shark. Brother King. Brother Sunfish. I'm afraid. After making a very scared expression, Shirahoshi also hid behind Neptune and Shark Star with tears in his eyes and sobbing in his mouth. Advertisement. Quote. Seeing his daughter's face turned like this, even Neptune's face showed a hint of embarrassment. He just invited Su Yang and everyone from the Dimensional Pirates to come here, but what he said was that he wanted his daughter to come and thank them in person. But don't say thank you now. Just seeing the appearance of a group of people, this girl who has not been deeply involved in the world, immediately hides behind her timidly, and she doesn't even want to meet people. It's really very strange. Embarrassing. I also asked Captain Su Yang and everyone to forgive me. My sister has lived in an iron shell tower since she was a child, and she has never seen many strangers, so she is more afraid of life. Shark Star, as the eldest prince, naturally couldn't let the scene cool, so he also stepped forward and explained to Su Yang and the confused Dimension Pirates. Advertisement. 210 Shirahoshi's gratitude. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. At the same time, he quickly turned his head and said to his sister Shirahoshi in his warmest voice, Shirahoshi, don't be afraid, this is Captain Su Yang and the adults of the Dimension Pirates, they are all good people. Following Xiaoxing's words, the second eldest King Star and the third eldest Overturning Star also stepped forward to comfort their sister. Yes, yes, Shirahoshi, Captain Su Yang is a good man. He just sent 2 adults from the Dimension Pirates to help you catch that guy Decken. Doremi is shivering. 10. Advertisement. Red rolls, roll, wait for those 2 adults to catch Decken back. Shirahoshi will no longer need to live in the Iron Tower after Shirahoshi, and can freely enter and exit the Dragon Palace. With the assurances of her 3 brothers, and the meaning revealed in their words, the little girl suddenly let down her guard. Especially when Shirahoshi heard that Su Yang also sent someone to help him capture Decken, and when he was captured, he would no longer have to live in the Iron Tower and could freely enter and exit the Dragon Palace. A bright. Whether it is the Mermaid King Nipton who is her father, or the 3 brothers, Shark Star, Emperor Star, and Rollover Star, none of them know that little Shirahoshi has always had a desire to go to the Mermaid Forest to see the sun dream. Now that I know that I will be free soon, I can go out from the Iron Shell Tower, go out from the Dragon Palace, and realize my dream. For a moment, the little girl was as happy as if she had been hit in the head by a pile of candy. Not even bothering to cry anymore, Li Hua looked at Su Yang with a rainy look and asked. Lord Su Yang, advertisement. Yes, isn't it? As the king said, when the 2 adults capture Lord Decken, I will be able to enter and leave the Dragon Palace freely. The timid voice of the little girl could be heard in his ears, and Su Yang, who had been shouting because of the shards, also returned to his senses. When I saw that Shirahoshi was exactly the same as when he read the original book in his previous life, he was a timid, crying and wanted to play. Su Yang maintained a gentle smile, nodded to Shirahoshi and said warmly, yes. You will be free when Mewtwo and Acronia catch him back. After hearing Su Yang say this, the excitement on Shirahoshi's face could no longer be contained. Her voice was timid, but she thanked Su Yang with great joy. Thank you, Sir Su Yang. It's nothing, Shirahoshi. Advertisement. We have promised Neptune that the Fishman Island will be sheltered by our dimensional pirates from today. You are the daughter of Neptune, the princess of the Fishman Island. You have been attacked and harassed by pirates, and we can't ignore it. 35. 507 inches so, introduce you to some friends. This is Rem, this is Ram, this is Tornado. Hearing this, Su Yang smiled and shook his head. After answering a few sentences with the little girl, he began to match up with the children of Rem, Ram, and Tornado who were already excited by seeing the Murloc princess, and introduced them to them. Know each other. Shirahoshi had completely believed that Su Yang was a good person since he just learned from Su Yang that he was about to be free. So at this time, after hearing that Su Yang was going to introduce his friends, he followed Su Yang's introduction and called them one by one. Master Rem, Master Ram, Master Tornado. Advertisement. 211 people who grow up. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. With Su Yang's matchmaking, Shirahoshi quickly became acquainted with Ram, Rem, Tornado, Anna, and Emily. In particular, Shirahoshi is similar to Rem and Ram in certain habits, so he gets along best with these 2 sisters. And the Mermaid King Neptune, the 3 princes of Shark Star, King Star, and Rollover Star, were also very happy when they saw that Shirahoshi had so many talking friends all of a sudden. Although they have not heard Shirahoshi say that they want to go to the Mermaid Forest to see the sunshine, but as fathers and brothers, how can they not know Shirahoshi's inner loneliness? Now that Shirahoshi can be so happy, chatting with the girls of the Dimension Pirates, they are a little more grateful to Su Yang and the Dimension Pirates. Advertisement. And Su Yang was also looking at Shirahoshi, Ram, and others. He also made a visit, wandered around in the Iron Tower, and took the summoning shard by the way. Into the bag. The summoning shard this time was still an ordinary summoning shard, and Su Yang was not surprised at all. Host. Su Yang. Binding. Dimensional Pirates. Abilities. Tough Body, Armament Hockey, Observation Hockey, Conqueror's Hockey. Special abilities. Wood Style Awakened, Sage of 6 Paths Body, 8 Inner Gates Modified version 55%, with the increase of unlocking degree, use will reduce body loss, 100% will be no damage, the final gate opening fixed consumption its own physical strength will not consume vitality. Note. The damaged body will appear after a day. Summoning value. 0/100ths, dropped by random people or things encountered in host. Advertisement. Summoned characters. Uchiha Madara, 59%, Diablo, 50%, Ace Kano, 52%, Tornado. 45%, Giorno Chopper, 40%, Acronia, 38%, Rem, 35%, Ram, 35%, Mewtwo, 30%, unlock progress and in terms of moves, the unlocking progress reaches 60 to reach the peak strength of the original world. If the unlocking progress reaches 60, the summoned character will surpass the peak strength of the original world. The unlocking degree is related to several events. Elevate yourself. Binding item. Shira, Warehouse. Summoning Fragments X1. When the fragments were put into the system warehouse, Su Yang also glanced at the unlocking degree of everyone on the system panel. Sure enough, after the battle at the pier, the unlocking degree of everyone's strength was a little higher. Especially Uchiha Madara, who is only one step away from regaining his former world peak power. Advertisement. Su Yang believes that as long as Uchiha Madara experiences the last hardy battle, the unlock rate will definitely exceed 60%. In addition to the 2-color hockey of his already master's armed color and sight color. At that time, Uchiha Madara must be able to surpass the self in the world before Ji Li's Zhao and walk to a new peak. Just when Su Yong had a new harvest in the Iron Tower, and Shirahoshi was chatting with Ram, Tornado and a few girls, Mewtwo and Acronia had also left the Dragon Palace. Xiao Meng holds a spoon, wraps his body with super power, and takes off in the sea towards the guidance of the huge spoon. And Acronia has also transformed into a black dragon, waving its wings and following behind. Advertisement. 212 Steady Mewtwo. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Because one of them is a genetic creation, and the other is a dragon body that has turned into a black dragon, both of them can breathe in water, so they did not use the bubble coral that Sharkstar just gave. The two were very fast, and after a while, they stopped at a rather barren boundary on the Fishman Island. A huge ship appeared in front of them. In front of this ship, Acurolia's black dragon body does not appear so huge. Beside this giant ship, there is also a dilapidated ship with the coating unfolded and wrapped in bubbles. According to the name engraved on the ship, Mewtwo knows the name of the ship, the Flying Dutchman. Outside the Flying Dutchman, there stood a Murloc whose height was no less than the size of a ship. The huge Murloc had a round head with an exploding head, a beard all over his face, and stared at his bull nose. 507 was topless, with his right hand holding a Flying Dutchman's anchor, as if he was holding a balloon. Advertisement. Captain Decken, it's here. After the huge bearded man led the balloon to the side of the huge ship, he said sharply to the balloon, "Wait for me here, Poseidon." 35. As the voice of the giant bearded man fell, a thick voice came from the battered Flying Dutchman. A four-legged Murloc wearing a yellow-blue striped top hat, a white t-shirt, a yellow suit with shoulders and a vague film appeared from the Flying Dutchman, and headed towards the huge swim inside the boat. "This way please, Captain Decken." After the four-legged Murloc reached the deck of the huge ship, a Murloc with a spear led the way. Looking at the guy called Captain Decken, following the Murloc into the huge ship, Mewtwo, who had been hiding in the darkness, nodded to Acronia beside him and said, "No way." Accidentally, the captain asked us to arrest him. Advertisement. Hearing Mewtwo's words, Acronia immediately transformed into the form of a dragon. "Since it's been confirmed, let's go arrest people. Early finish early, Su Yong and the others are still waiting for us to go back for a banquet. What are you waiting for here, stupid cat?" Watching Mewtwo's voice fall, Acronia also asked Mewtwo with her arms folded in front of her chest. "Stupid lizard, I was too embarrassed to expose you just now, are you still pretending to be with me here? My body didn't adapt to the rules of the world, so you're fully adapted. If we are all at the strength of the heyday, let alone this huge warship that doesn't know what weapons are hidden. Even if it's against a person who can build such a ship, then with our strength, we can definitely handle it." Advertisement. But now we are half a caddy, let's not talk about anyone. And the situation inside is not clear, so it is not good for us to act rashly. Let's just say the worst thing. In case we really screw up, don't say Su Yong is not to blame, we can't get past our own level. When Xiao Meng heard the words, after those cat-like pupils glared at Acronia, he also expressed his concerns to him. Acronia was silent for a while after hearing the words. Even if he didn't want to admit it, he had to face it. Because of his body's incompatibility with the laws of this world, he is just like Xiao Meng, and his peak strength has only been unblocked by more than half. If this state is really against an unknown enemy, there is still a risk of losing. Advertisement. 213 Hody and Dakken's Pirate Alliance. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Because he was afraid of losing, he couldn't explain it to Su Yong, and he couldn't explain it to everyone in the Dimensional Pirates, so Acronia decided to listen to Mewtwo's advice once and act more prudently. Of course, if Su Yong knew about Cheomung's scruples at this time, he would definitely laugh that Cheomung was thinking too much. The huge ship in front of them at this time was built by the Murlocs hundreds of years ago, named Noah. It was not made by someone who was now occupying the magpie's nest. And, in this huge ship, Noah, there are no powerful weapons. It is purely a transport ship with a huge volume, or a troop transport ship, is more suitable. Kun is missing, Comrade Wong Luffy, armament hockey, twists and turns 3 blocks, and a burst of elephant guns and slaps, directly engages people in violent demolition. In that kind of intense situation, no strange weapons or mechanisms are activated. If they just go up and arrest someone, what risk can they have? Of course, Mewtwo and Acronia don't know anything about all this. Advertisement. Like thieves, the two followed behind Vander Decken, ready to see what was going on inside the boat. Vander Decken, they're here. As Vander Decken stepped into a certain cabin of Noah under the guidance of the Murloc, there was a burst of cheers. Sorry for being late, just happened to encounter the eruption of a submarine volcano. Facing the cheers, Vander Decken walked slowly to the interior of the cabin, and said to the few mermaids who were sitting on the master seat inside. So what's your business with me? The notorious guy on Fishman Street, Hody Jones. After arriving in front of a few people in the main seat, Vander Decken looked at the fair-skinned shark fish man with pointed mouth and fangs in the main seat and asked. Words of infamy, to each other. Called the mad Vander Decken. Advertisement. Please advise. Hearing Vander Decken's words, Hody Jones pulled out his left hand that had been crossed on his chest, supported his hat, with a cruel smile, looked at Vander Decken and said to him. Speaking. Hody Jones also stood up, stretched out his right hand, and wanted to shake hands with Vander Decken. Oh, asking for flowers. Shake hands. Then this is a little troublesome, you have to wait for me first. Looking at the right hand that Hody Jones stretched out, Vander Decken hesitated subconsciously, and then spoke to him. Hody Jones also paused in surprise when he listened to Vander Decken's words. Then, in front of Hody Jones, Vander Decken took out a pair of leather gloves placed in the kabuto under his clothes, and slowly put them on, then he explained the reason. Advertisement. Point 0. ... For some special reasons, please don't mind. 35. I am the ability person of the target fruit, my hands will mark the person who shakes hands, and the mark will be recorded at the same time. And the hands I have now are the marks of my beloved. Vander Decken said, and then shook hands with Hody Jones with his gloved hand. The handshake of the two ulterior motives naturally attracted the cheers of the surrounding Murloc pirates. As everyone knows, all of their things are hidden in the dark by Mewtwo and Acronia. Advertisement. 214 Kill without amnesty. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. So, is that why he can throw weapons at Princess Shirahoshi at any time? Listening to Vander Decken's words, Mewtwo murmured to himself. Hey, stinky cat, did you think a little too much before? Looking at the breath of the guys in the cabin, I don't think anyone can beat it. Just as Mewtwo was muttering to herself, Acronia also poked its shoulder with her finger and said, 507, to it. Mewtwo was a little embarrassed when she heard Acronia's words. Advertisement. Just after sneaking in effortlessly, it has used the superpower in the body to scan the entire cabin, and even the entire Noah, and indeed did not find any existence of relatively large energy fluctuations. At least, we figured out why Princess Shirahoshi is being harassed all the time. In this way, we can end the bond between the two for Princess Shirahoshi without future troubles. After Mewtwo hesitated for a while, he said to Acronia as much as he could. Cut. This kind of rubbish, just kill it directly. There is also no future trouble. Acronia looked disdainful, and pouted, learning from Mewtwo's daily appearance. Seeing that his mortal enemy was holding on to the pigtail of his misjudgment, he also learned how he used to be, and gave himself a strange set of yin and yang. Xiao Meng suddenly burned with anger, and no longer regained his former sense of reason. Advertisement. I saw him walking straight out of the shadows, holding up the huge spoon in his hand, and shouting to Vander Decken. Vander Decken. On the order of our Captain Su Yong, I'm here to catch you. Ryugu. The rebels die. When Mewtwo speaks, Haki is awe-inspiring, especially when he says the last word, kill, he is full of killing intent. Don't ask why it suddenly jumped out. Asking is tired, all destroyed. The sudden appearance of Mewtwo really shocked Hody Jones and all the Murloc pirates in the cabin. Who are you? How dare you dare to trespass on the territory of our new Murloc pirates? 95. A Murloc with purple and blue stripes standing beside Hody Jones immediately yelled at Mewtwo. Humph. Although I don't know what kind of monster you are, but you trespassed on the grounds of our new Murloc pirates and hurt my allies, then you will save your life. At the same time, Hody Jones also grinned at his sharp-toothed mouth, showing a cruel smile, and said to Xiao Meng. 0. Advertisement. As soon as Hody Jones's voice fell, as he waved his hand, a group of Murloc pirates in the cabin also roared and rushed towards Mewtwo. Stinky cat, I told you a long time ago that you can't do this. Didn't you say all this rubbish? They've already formed a pirate alliance, that's a gang. Except for Vander Decken, whom Su Yong named to be captured, and then capture the leader, and kill the rest. It was at this time that the voice of Acronia rang out in Mewtwo's ears again at 4.6. Looking at Acronia, who also appeared in the dark, even if Mewtwo didn't want to admit it, he had to admit that what he said just now was really ineffective. The group of fish-man pirates in front of them are indeed a group of extremely stupid guys. He could only softly cut as his last stubbornness. Advertisement. 215 Waves of Missiles. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Are there any accomplices? Let's kill the sacrificial flag together. Don't say that there is another accomplice, just a few more will fall under the knife of our new mermaid pirate group. The accomplice is still a human, low-level guy, except the trial of the fish man. One of the pirates who rushed towards Mewtwo saw Acronia, who was in a state of recovery at this time, and the sound of rushing and killing became even louder. The speed of the fish man pirates is not slow, and a lot of them have rushed to the surroundings of Mewtwo and Acronia during the shouting. Ning is stubborn. Die. Looking at the fish man pirates rushing up, Cheomung's face was indifferent, the huge spoon in his hand waved in the air, and a violent super energy swiped from it. Advertisement. Boom. Woo. 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 Bang. Boom. Boom. Intense super dream power swiped out from the huge spoon head, bombarding the body of a group of fish man pirates like an overwhelming sea. In an instant, the Murloc pirates spread out like a goddess scattered flowers, flying towards the surrounding cabin walls. The appearance of such a strange state immediately stopped the Murloc pirates who had not rushed over. They looked at Cheomung with a cold face, and dared not rush up. Humph. Waste. It's all a bunch of waste. Seeing that his gang of Murlocs were not only enemies of others, he even saw that Kamui defeated several people with a single blow, so he no longer dared to charge. Snorted coldly. Advertisement. As he said that, he also took out a handful of capsules and threw them towards the Murloc pirates who had not had time to rush forward. After the Fishman pirates heard Hody Jones's cold snort, they still looked at each other in fear. But after those capsules were thrown in front of him, one by one no longer cared about fear, and swallowed the capsules in one gulp. In an instant, as those capsules entered their stomachs, all of them, who were originally terrified, seemed to have been replaced by another person. Their eyes were red, their faces were fierce, and their eyes were full of madness. Kill them. 35. With the shouts of some Fishman pirates, they rushed towards Mewtwo again with guns and knives. Wave missile. Looking at the fish people rushing up again in front of him, Xiaomeng naturally didn't hold his hand, only to see him waving his hand, and a blue-purple, flashing lightning-like light sphere fluctuated in his hand. Woo. Advertisement. Boom. The wave missile was condensed in the blink of an eye, released by Mewtwo, and bombed in the crowd of Murloc pirates. A huge explosion roared, directly killing the 507 pirates who rushed up. However, the death of the same kind this time did not make the remaining Murloc pirates retreat. On the contrary, this scene of broken limbs and blood dripping with blood aroused the fierceness hidden in their hearts on weekdays. One after another with red eyes, irrational, and crazy faces rushed towards Mewtwo. Looking at the Fishman pirates under his command, they were fierce and did not fear the charge of death. Beside Hody Jones, a short, red cigar Dharma Sharkman danced with excitement and thumped against the fish. Human pirates shouted. Yes, yes, yes. That's it. Rush up and kill them. Caw caw caw. For the great cause of the Murlocs. Kill him. Advertisement. 216 Smelly cat, I have to clean up the garbage like this. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Shadow Ball. For these crazy Fishman pirates who are not afraid of death, Xiaomeng made another move, and a spherical energy ball that revolved at a high speed and looked like a black hole appeared again. Woo. Boom. Still the same recipe, still the familiar taste. The dark energy of the ghost system exploded in the crowd, and the violent and strange energy raged freely, reaping the lives of the Fishman pirates. In a short time, the Murloc pirates in the blasting range of the Shadow Ball were also killed and injured. Advertisement. The location where Cheomung and the others exist at this time is the largest cabin in the entire Noah, so the number of Fishman pirates gathered here is not small. They continued to charge, one after another, without fear of death. Looking at these Murloc pirates rushing in densely, Anolia seemed to be unable to see the efficiency of Mewtwo any longer, walked directly to the front of Mewtwo, turned her head and said to him. Stinky cat, your attack efficiency is too low. Su Yong and the others are waiting for us to have a banquet, asterisk. Let me show you how to deal with these ant-like miscellaneous soldiers. As he said that, he ignored how Xiaomeng reacted, but raised his hands and put them in front of his mouth in a virtual horn-blowing pose. The roar of the black dragon. 35. With a loud drink from Anolia, he opened his mouth, inhaled, and then spit out. Boom. Advertisement. A huge dragon breath was spit out by Anolia and charged towards the Murloc pirates who were rushing up. The surging dragon breath turned into a range attack, directly bombing a piece of Murloc pirates to death. Of course, Anolia would not be satisfied with such a result. I saw that the dragon breath in his mouth continued to output, and then his waist, head, and hands moved horizontally together, continuously bombarding from left to right. The surging dragon breath was like a wiper, directly sweeping away the dense Murloc pirates in front of the two of them. In a short time, the Murloc pirates in the entire hull were almost swept away, and not many were still standing. Only Hody Jones, Vander Decken, and a few officers of the new Murloc pirates are still alive. Seeing that the field was almost swept away by her own dragon breath, Anolia put down her raised hands, turned her head to look at Mewtwo, and said to him ostentatiously. See. Garbage. Hey guys, it's more efficient to clean like this. 0. Damn. Advertisement. How dare you kill our fellow Murlocs like this? 39. I will never let you go, you damned human being. Let me, Dothan, teach you a lesson with the hammer in my hand. 35. As soon as Anolia's voice fell, a strong Murloc wielding a sledgehammer also rushed over. At this moment, he saw that his hair was disheveled, his eyes were red, and his face was crazy. Li's Zhao had obviously taken the capsules that Hody Jones just took out. Shoo. PFF'd. Before the strong Murloc named Dothan could touch the huge hammer in his hand to Anolia, he saw a colorful slash across his neck, knocking him down. You're welcome. Acnaroria looked at the strong Murloc corpse separated from the corpse, and Mewtwo's indifferent voice also sounded in her ears. Advertisement. 217 Kill the cadre. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Just when Xiaomeng slammed the strong Murloc on the head, several other Murloc cadres in the new Murloc pirate group also roared and charged. Among them, the King Squid Man Icarus Musi took off the racing helmet he was wearing on his head, exposing his sharp, reflective top of his head. Damn it. Killed Dothan too. I want your life. Let you see the sharpest attack in the world. The spear of Usovan. Just listening to the loud shout from his mouth, the top of his sharp head began to gather rays of light, and then his body moved, and the whole person was like an arrow from the string, rushing towards Mewtwo and Acronia. Advertisement. Destroy the light of death. Seeing Yi 507 Carlos Musi rushing in, the rays of light immediately began to gather in front of Cheomung's mouth. After forming a ball of light, it turned into a red golden ray of light and a laser emitting terrifying fluctuations, welcoming Icarus Musi. Boom. The laser and Icarus Muse's sharp and glowing head met, and a strong collision occurred immediately. It's just that when the flames and the dust from the explosion dissipated, Icarus Muse, who was still alive and full of madness, was now under the attack of the wave of necrotic light, and turned into a squid, and he could no longer died. If you're talking about this kind of attack, it's not that I won't. It's just that there is a chance to shoot. I don't take the opportunity to familiarize myself with other abilities of master, let the body adapt to the rules of the world as soon as possible, and the next fight will still be unable to grab Uchiha Madara and the others. Advertisement. Mewtwo glanced at Acronia and said plainly after playing out this wave of his own attacks. Just when he spoke, the contempt and disdain were very obvious. After hearing Mewtwo's words, Acronia's expression became even worse. He thought that he was just in front of this stinky cat, pretending to be forced, but who would have thought that the face was turned around too quickly, and the clown was actually himself. Even when Acronia had a dark face, she did have eyes that didn't grow. Beg, Shadow Chains Katakana middle. 66 songs. I saw an iron chain flying from behind Acronia towards his neck. Originally looking at his chains, Acronia didn't find them. Just when he was about to wrap around his neck, Geo, the Japanese bearded shark who performed this move, was secretly happy. Only to hear Acronia grab the flying chain, and shouted at the same time. Advertisement. Trash like ants, still want to attack me. I can go to you. With the loud shout of Acronia, Geo felt a huge force coming from the other end of the chain. Without waiting for him to react, he was dragged by the iron rope directly in the direction of Acronia. When he was dragged in front of Acronia, he discovered that Acronia, who they once thought was an ordinary human, had now become a dragon man. The skin of the whole body was replaced by tiny black scales. At the same time, the sound of an object cutting through the air rang in Geo's ear. Before he could react, his head, which was covered with blue-purple stripes, was like a big stick knocking on a watermelon, and was blown apart by Akunoria's punch. Advertisement. 218 Hody Jones' last struggles. Next chapter. Advertisement. Cut. The stinky cat is lying again. This kind of rubbish can't even make me warm up. 35. Looking at the red and white things on the scales of his right hand, Acronia said with disdain after shaking her hand. Hit the water. Woo. At the same time, with a loud shout, a black shadow came out of the sky and smashed directly into the back of Acronia's neck. It's just that Acronia's neck was protected by black scales, and the water ball that shot from it did not cause any harm to him. Oh, mosquito bites are more than you. More. Advertisement. Acronia twisted her neck and turned to look at Hody Jones who attacked her. At the same time, Xiao Meng, who was beside him, stomped his feet and used the earthquake skill against the ground. Boom, boom, boom. Cough, 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 cough. As a wave of seismic waves passed from Xiaomeng's feet, the ground nearby began to shake like a mountain. At the same time, the sound of the inner bottom shell squeezing and colliding with each other appeared from the ground. Under Mewtwo's earthquake-controlled attack, from the very beginning of the battle, the new Fishman pirate group leader Cigar Dharma Sharkman Dharma sneaked underground and waited for an opportunity. Before letting him wait for the opportunity to break out of the ground to carry out a sneak attack, he himself was buried in the ground under Mewtwo's earthquake skill. Became the first guy in their new Fishman pirate group to get the qualification of burial. Okay, it's just you and Vander Decken now. Advertisement. You can go with us without your hands, and we can't break your limbs. After all, we always have to give Su Yong one or two lively people to go back to work to make it look better. Watching Vander Decken on the side, under his powerful ability, kneel and take his fate there, and Hody Jones, who took the capsule medicine, is still aggressive, so Acronia also he asked him condescendingly. Humph. Murlocs and humans, are inseparable. What's more, you killed so many people from my Murlocs. Murloc Karate Katakana middle. 9000 Wa Zhengchen. After Hody Jones heard the words of Acronia, naturally, he would not give up his resistance, but instead shouted and launched his own attack on Acronia. 0 for flowers. Are you really a master? Snapped. Advertisement. Looking at the fist swung by Hody Jones, Acronia directly slapped it and hit Hody Jones in the face, causing it to rotate 360 degrees. After taking a wave of medicine, I used myself as a dish. Snapped. As soon as Hody Jones finished turning, he saw Acronia slap his left cheek again, causing Hody Jones to turn in the opposite direction again. With the magical 2 slaps of Acronia, even the swallowed pill capsule, Hody Jones, who was controlled by animal nature, briefly recovered a little sanity. These two guys, incomparable. Just when Hody Jones finally realized the truth and knew that Acronia and Mewtwo were not the ones that their new Fishman pirates could afford, it was actually too late. Their new Fishman pirates have paid the price of blood for their arrogance. The entire pirate group, except for the leader, was wiped out by Acronia and Mewtwo. Advertisement. 219 This is it. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Just when Hody Jones was terrified and was about to escape, he saw that Acronia, who was already like a great devil in his eyes, moved and appeared in front of him instantly. And Acronia's claws wrapped in black scales also pinched Hody Jones' neck and lifted him up. Look at what. I learned the dragon slaying magic used to slay dragons, and the power of the display is stronger than each other. 35. And Xiao Meng raised his eyebrows slightly after hearing this. That's it. Acronia was very uncomfortable with Mewtwo's eyes, and said to him with a stinky face. Advertisement. The one who spoke out was the huge bearded, explosive-headed Murloc, Poseidon, who was left outside to guard the Flying Dutchman before Vander Decken entered Noah to find Hody Jones. Hey, Stinky Cat, do you have any binding magic? Or similar skills? Everyone is still waiting for us, I don't want to make them wait too long because of you stupid lizard. When Chow Meng heard the words, the smile on his face became more intense. When Chow Meng heard Acronia's words, he glanced at him in surprise, as if it was the first time he knew him. 0. It doesn't look like I have to grab one now and give it to Su Yang. 39. Rubbish. Advertisement. Cut. 39. Then Acronia looked at Mewtwo and asked him. Who are you? As soon as Mewtwo took Hody Jones and Vander Decken out of Noah, he heard a very loud voice from the side. Captain Decken and Captain Hody. Involuntarily, Acronia also spoke to Mewtwo and urged. Hurry up and control these two guys, Su Yang and the others are still waiting for us to have a banquet. 99. The strong sense of suffocation made Hody Jones feel even more fearful. No matter the May 23rd, there was no more crazy color than before, only deep fear. At the same time, I saw Mewtwo's right hand holding a huge spoon gently waved, and the powerful wave of thought power was also released by it. I warn you, let go of my 4.6 Captain Decken, or I will kill you with my huge fist. Advertisement. After Mewtwo replied indifferently, he said to Acronia in a disdainful tone. Looking at the terrified expression on Hody Jones' face at this time, Acronia suddenly lost the idea of arguing with this guy, and murmured. The majestic psychic power is like an invisible cage, wrapping Hody Jones and Vander Decken in all directions, making their bodies unable to move. Seeing Mewtwo floating away like this, Acronia was also irritated, but hurriedly chased after him. Of course, this move by Cheomung was naturally given to him by Acronia, which made him even more unhappy. That's it. The expression on his face seemed to be saying, tisk tisk tisk. I didn't expect. You guys still have time like this. And the enemies I encountered before were basically killed directly. After he finished speaking, he also controlled his mind power, dragged himself, Hody Jones and Vander Decken, and quickly floated away from Noah. Seeing that Mewtwo had restrained the two so easily, Acronia blurted out a sentence in surprise. Advertisement. 220 The Roar of the Black Dragon. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The cry of the sea god also attracted the attention of the pirates who followed Vander Decken on the Flying Dutchman. Damn it, you dare to catch us Captain Vander Decken. You just don't take us seriously. 39. That's it, you dare to arrest our Captain Vander Decken, I just don't want to live, I advise you to release our Captain Vander Decken quickly. Otherwise, you will look good. Poseidon, don't be idle, come with us to rescue Captain Vander Decken. Accompanied by the shouts of the pirates, there was also the sound of footsteps running on the deck. In a short time, a cannon was pushed out by the group of pirates, and aimed in the direction of Chow Meng. 10. Tisk, I forgot about these fish that slipped through the net. It was at this time that Acronia had already caught up, and when she saw the group of extremely alert guys, she slapped her mouth and said disdainfully. Advertisement. Let's release Captain Decken. Woo. Accompanied by the sharp and loud voice of the sea god, a huge fist whistled towards Mewtwo and Acronia. Roar. Seeing that sea god's huge fist was about to smash over, Acronia instantly transformed into a giant dragon, roaring and using his sturdy claws to directly hold sea god's fist. The opponent is demon fruit power, the gunner is ready, fire. Fire. Boom, 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 boom. 95. Seeing that Acronia instantly transformed into a giant dragon with a size comparable to that of a sea god, the pirates who were not afraid of death became noisy again, and at the same time lit the artillery in their hands. Advertisement. A series of artillery shells sounded, and the shells bombarded Acronia's body. This is a special cannonball made by the Murloc pirates. Although it will not explode like the land, the steel cannon ejected from the barrel can also hit the enemy with undiminished power. However, a scene that shocked the pirates who followed Vander Decken appeared. They sank countless ships on the bottom of the sea, and the special cannonballs that were inexorable were not able to do any damage to Acronia. Hey, ants are ants. 99. Even if the body is huge, it's just a bigger ant. After delaying our time for so long, use your lives to make amends. Seeing the ticklish attack on her body, Acronia sneered and said to the sea god and the pirates on the Flying Dutchman. After saying that, I saw a quick suction from his abdomen, and a ray of light was brewing in his mouth. Advertisement. Roar of the Black Dragon. Boom. With the loud shout of Acronia, the breath attack full of terrifying energy suddenly spewed out of his mouth. The first to be attacked was the sea god who reminded the giant. The mighty and terrifying dragon breath wrapped the sea god's body at that time, and in just a moment, the sea god turned into a ball of blood, which was condensed in the sea water for a long time. Because the distance was too close, the flying Holland was also affected by the dragon's breath. When the sea god was corroded by the dragon's breath and destroyed into a huge blood group, the Flying Dutchman also turned into countless debris under the influence of the dragon's breath. And those pirates on the Flying Dutchman's boat also died on the spot, and finally their bodies were destroyed in the dragon's breath, and there was no bones left. Advertisement. 221 Shirahoshi, you are free. Next chapter. Advertisement. Acronia destroyed the sea god and the pirates on the Flying Dutchman. Then, with Mewtwo, they escorted Hody Jones and Vander Decken back to the Dragon Palace. This trip of the two, although at the beginning, Xiaomeng was delayed a little in order to act more prudently. But when the real battle starts and ends, it's actually very fast. After all, the strength gap between Mewtwo and Acronia, and the new Murloc pirates and the Vander Decken pirates is not a star. Almost all the battles were one-shot killings, and it didn't take too much time at all. So much so that when the two of them brought Hody Jones and Vander Decken to the gate of the Dragon Palace, Su Yong and his party were still staying in the Iron Shell Tower where the mermaid princess Shirahoshi lived. Advertisement. Your Majesty Neptune. Great joy, great joy. Mr. Mewtwo and Mr. Acronia from the Dimension Pirates are back. And, they both brought back Vander Decken, asterisk. Just as Mewtwo and Acronia entered from the gate of the Dragon Palace and were on their way to the Iron Shell Tower, there were already fishmen guards from the Dragon Palace guards who came to report to Neptune. In the Iron Tower, Neptune, who watched Shirahoshi talk to Rem and Ram, was overjoyed. What? Vander Decken is back. Good good, it's good, ha 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 ha. Little friend Su Yong, thank you for coming, and thank you Dimensional Pirates for your help. Thank you for allowing my daughter to live a free life that can walk under the sun again. Advertisement. Little friend Su Yong, I promise you, from today onwards, my Neptune and the Dragon Palace royal family are your best friends with the Dimension Pirates. Overjoyed, Neptune looked at Su Yong with a smile and expressed his gratitude to Su Yong with excitement. No one knows how painful it is for him, as a father, to see Shirahoshi imprisoned in an iron tower over the years. Now the arrival of Su Yong and his Dimensional Pirates has not only solved the current serious trouble for the Fishman Island, but also regained freedom for his daughter. It is also because at this time that his gratitude to Su Yong has reached the point of bursting, so he will make a friendship promise to Su Yong on the spot. Uncle Neptune, are we friends from the beginning? It's not a big deal. After Su Yong heard this, he smiled politely. Shirahoshi, congratulations, you don't have to be in the Iron Tower from today. Doremi shivering, yes yes yes. Congratulations Shirahoshi, you are free from today. Advertisement. Red roll, roll roll, congratulations Shirahoshi. You can go wherever you want. After hearing the news, the great Prince Shaoxing, together with the second prince, the third prince, and the third prince, also turned to look at Shirahoshi, and congratulated him. They are also happy for their sister to be free later. Hearing the congratulations from the three brothers, Shirahoshi, who was talking to Rem, Li Hao Ram, and the children of the tornado, also burst into tears at this moment. Woo, Mr. Rem, Mr. Ram, Mr. Tornado, rank. From today onwards, I can go out to play, bask in the sun, and visit the Murloc forest. It's so good. Sir Su Yong, thank you. Woo-hoo woo. Shirahoshi first called Rem to Anna in a series of times, and then looked at Su Yong with a rainy look and thanked him. Advertisement. 222 See Punishment. Immediate execution. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Mewtwo and Acronia took Hody Jones and Vander Decken into the Fun Iron Tower. For Vander Decken, the guy who caused his daughter and sister to be free, Neptune and Sharking recognized him at a glance. But since Su Yong and the Dimensional Pirates were still there at this time, and it was Mewtwo and Acronia who were going to capture the culprit, Vander Decken, Neptune naturally couldn't. Lost courtesy. Mr. Mewtwo, Mr. Acronia, you two have worked hard. Thank you too for helping us bring back the 523 gang of Vander Decken. As I just told my friend Su Yong, whether it's the two of you or everyone from the Dimensional Pirates, from today onwards, you will always be my Neptune's friend, and you will always be my Ryugu's most honorable friend. Advertisement. Neptune took the lead in coming to Mewtwo and Acronia, bowed slightly to them, and expressed his gratitude to them. Thank you two gentlemen. At the same time, Shark also brought King Star and Roller Star along with his father, Neptune, and bowed to Mewtwo and Acronia beg. Seeing Neptune and the Shark's three brothers expressing their gratitude to him in such a way, Acronia folded her arms in front of her chest and nodded secretly. At least, such an attitude makes him very satisfied. And Cheomung, who was standing beside him, was already caught in an inexplicable mental shock at this time. The emotional fluctuations emanating from the bodies of the three brothers Neptune and Shaxing were easily perceived by him with powerful superpowers. Such a heavy love is undoubtedly novel to him. Advertisement. No thanks, I just followed Captain Su Yang's orders. Although there was such a touch in his heart, Mewtwo's surface was as calm as ever, he said slowly. In any case, it was the two Vander Decken who came to help us catch, and we deserved it. Hearing Mewtwo's indifferent answer, Neptune didn't take it seriously, and after saying a word to Mewtwo very politely, he finally looked at Vander Decken who was captured. At this moment, Neptune no longer looked like the good old man he used to be, and he held the sea god trident in his hand full of majesty. Neptune can be called the Knight of the Sea, and he has been in charge of the king for many years. Naturally, he is not an indecisive master. He suppressed the monstrous anger in his heart, looked at Vander Decken who was held by Mewtwo's mind, and judged him word by word. Vander Decken. Advertisement. Because of your ambition, my daughter Shirahoshi, the princess of the Fishman Island, has been trapped in the Iron Tower for 8 years. Now, in the name of the Mermaid King, on the charge of treason, I will sentence you. 99. Sentence you to death. Execute immediately. Following Neptune's order, several Murloc guards from the Dragon Palace guards came together with Seastone handcuffs. After putting Seastone handcuffs on Vander Decken and asking Mewtwo to release his psychic control, he escorted him out of the Iron Tower directly. Because the sentence of Neptune just now is executed immediately. So they didn't even have to go through other formalities, and took Vander Decken directly to the execution grounds of the Fishman Island where such heinous criminals were executed. Advertisement. 223 Otahime's death. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hody, why were you brought here together? Seeing that Vander Decken was dragged away by the guards of the Dragon Palace guards, Jinbei also looked at Hody Jones, who was brought back by Mewtwo, and asked him. We went to catch people just in time for this guy to be allied with Vander Decken. We showed up to ask for someone, and if he didn't give it, we fought. And then he was brought over by us. Hearing Jinbei asking about Hody Jones, Mewtwo also replied to Jinbei. Advertisement. Of course, in Mewtwo's answer, he also deliberately concealed the fact that he and Acronia had killed all the Murloc pirates. Just Jinbei, what kind of people? One of the original 7 warlords of the sea, the captain of the Sun Pirates, and a powerful man nicknamed Sea Man. He, who has been drifting on the whole sea all the year round, has never seen such dirty and dark things. Just from the bloody smell of Acronia, he can tell that the guy of Acronia alone doesn't have less kills. However, listening to Mewtwo's words means that when they go to arrest people again, Hody Jones is actually allying with Vander Decken. Add in what Vander Decken did to Shirahoshi, and he couldn't care less. On the contrary, Su Yang, who had been by the side, noticed that the moment Shirahoshi saw Hody Jones appear here, the expression on the little girl's face became extremely painful. It's just that the little girl Shirahoshi has been clenching her teeth, as if trying to restrain her emotions. Advertisement. At this time, an old story about the Fishman Island came to Su Yang's mind. He remembered. In the original novel, the wife of the mermaid king Neptune, the 3 shark brothers and even Shirahoshi's mother, Princess Otahime, was assassinated by the ambitious guy Hody Jones. After the assassination, Neptune has been sending people to investigate the case, but only one human suspect has been caught. The real culprit has never been caught. And the appearance of Hody Jones when he murdered Princess Otahime was seen by Shirahoshi's pet, a shark named Makaro. Makaro then informed Shirahoshi of the matter. However, because of the will of Princess Otahime before her death, Shirahoshi has been enduring the pain, keeping this secret by himself and not telling anyone. That's why Shirahoshi's reaction was so strange when he saw Hody Jones appear in the Iron Tower. Advertisement. Su Yang looked at this little girl who was timid in some aspects, but extremely strong in some aspects, and felt a slight sigh of relief in her heart. For the sake of summoning fragments, I will help you solve the last stone in your heart. After casting a glance at Shirahoshi, Su Yang thought to himself. Immediately, he turned to look at Neptune, the Mermaid King, and asked him slowly. Uncle Neptune, I heard that your former wife, Princess Otahime, was assassinated 8 years ago. And the culprit hasn't been found yet. Su Yang's remarks shocked everyone, even Neptune and others didn't think how could Su Yang suddenly ask himself such a sad question at this happy time. But thinking of their help to the Fishman Island and Shirahoshi, Neptune shook his head and said, so far, haven't found it yet. Advertisement. 224 Super Dream Hunting for Murder. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Uncle Neptune, as you have seen before. The crew member of our dimensional pirates, Chow Meng, he has powerful superpowers. I think. His superpowers should be able to help find the murderer of Princess Otahime. Facing the gazes of the Mermaid King Neptune, the 3 Prince Sharks, and the rest of the people in the Iron Shell Tower, Su Yang slowly pointed to Mewtwo and said to Neptune. 523. What? This Mr. Chow Meng's ability can still find the murderer of Otoji. Advertisement. If that's the case, Mr. Chow Meng, please help us once again to help us find the murderer who killed Otoji. After Neptune heard Su Yang's words, his face was shocked, so he also hurriedly looked at Mewtwo and asked about it. This, not difficult. Seeing the appearance of Neptune's pleading to himself, and remembering the strange emotional fluctuations that Neptune had just had towards Shirahoshi, Mewtwo replied after pondering for a while. As soon as Mewtwo said this, Neptune, the Mermaid King who was joyful, gentle, and even incomparably dignified during the trial of Vander Decken, burst into tears and cried to Mewtwo. Then ask Mr. Mewtwo. Chow Meng nodded when he heard the words, and with a wave of his right hand, he summoned his huge spoon again. After waving the huge spoon for a while, Chow Meng stood the huge spoon upright, placed it in front of him, and slowly closed his eyes. Prophet. As Chow Meng burst out, a strong and mysterious strange wave suddenly radiated from his body and the huge spoon in his hand. Advertisement. Just like when he was looking for the trace of Vander Decken, the spoon head of the huge spoon began to tilt and bend gradually. It was just that something that shocked everyone in the Iron Shell Tower appeared. At this time, the spoon head in Chow Meng's hand did not point to the place outside the Iron Shell Tower like the last time. Instead, under the watchful eyes of the public, he pointed to Hody Jones, who was immobilized by Mewtwo with the immobilization method. Shoo. At this moment, Chow Meng's tightly closed eyes also opened at the right time. After opening his eyes, Mewtwo stared at Hody Jones, who was pointed at by the head of the spoon, and then slowly said, fortunately, I didn't kill you directly. Captain Su Yang, His Majesty Neptune. Kill Otoji. The person of the princess, it is him. As soon as Mewtwo's voice fell, everyone except the Dimension Pirates and Shirahoshi, who knew the truth, looked at Hody Jones in shock. They never imagined that Mewtwo would identify Hody Jones as the murderer of Princess Otahime. Advertisement. Hody, is it really you? Among them, Jinbei is the one who can't accept this fact the most. After all, Hody Jones is arguably the most talented of their Murlocs, the next generation of Murlocs. Uncle Neptune, I absolutely believe the predictions made by my crew. And 4.6 If the words of my crew do not convince you, I think if there is one person, you will definitely believe it. Just when everyone was in disbelief, Su Yong stood up and said something to Neptune and the rest. After he finished speaking, he also turned his head to look in Shirahoshi's direction again, and said to him slowly. Shirahoshi, I think. You know who killed Princess Otahime, right? Advertisement. 225 Shirahoshi's will. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Shirahoshi, what do you know? Seeing that Su Yong directed everyone's attention to Shirahoshi, Neptune couldn't help but look at Shirahoshi and ask Shirahoshi. Feeling the eyes of everyone looking at him, Shirahoshi lowered his head slightly uncomfortably. After pondering for a while, Shirahoshi still raised his head and said to Neptune with tears in his eyes. Father, I already knew. As soon as this statement came out, all four were shocked. Whether it was the Mermaid King Neptune, or the three princes Jinbei and Shark Star, everyone stared at Shirahoshi with wide-eyed and open mouths in shock. What did you say? You know how Hody killed Otahime. 99. What the hell is going on, Shirahoshi? Finally, Neptune, the Mermaid King, took the lead in adjusting. He stared at Shirahoshi and asked him. Father, it was Makaro who secretly told me a few years after the incident. Makaro was the pet of the Neptune army. It saw everything that day. Hearing his father, Emperor Neptune, questioning him, Shirahoshi looked down at him and replied in a low voice. Sha. At the same time Shirahoshi explained, the shark Makaro, who had been protecting her before, also showed a fierce expression, looked in the direction of Hody Jones, and yelled at him. Except for the people from the Dimensional Pirates, most of them are mermaids or murlocs. So they can also understand that in Makarona's 10 rustling roar, it is accusing Hody Jones of the crime. It's so. Princess Shirahoshi, when you knew the truth, why didn't you tell us? With Makaro's words, everyone couldn't help but believe it a little more, and Jinbei also raised the question that everyone was curious about to Shirahoshi. Hearing Jinbei's question, Shirahoshi couldn't hold back the sadness and pain in his heart, and tears fell from his eyes. I cannot talk. If I said it, there would be people who would hate Hody. This way, it will only make the dead mother sad. This is the last agreement I exchanged with my mother. Advertisement. The queen said, no matter who the culprit is, you can't be angry or resentful. Shirahoshi spoke word by word, sobbed, and slowly explained the reason why he had been hiding the truth and did not tell others. And as his sister said the last sentence, the words that the great Prince Xiaoxing said when Princess Otoji was attacked, her chest stained with blood, and she was lying weak in her arms. In order to obey my mother's dying teachings. Shirahoshi, all these years, are you in a hard-shell tower, bearing this truth alone? Seeing his sister sobbing at this moment, Xiaoxing only felt that a huge stone was pressed against his chest, and his throat was extremely dry as he stumbled and asked. You can't say that you hate the person who killed your mother. Even if this is my mother's last wish, it is almost impossible in reality. What a kind and pure girl, who else in the world can do that? Jinbei also looked at Shirahoshi in shock and sighed. At this moment, the voice of a person who should not speak suddenly rang out. Tisk ha 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 ha. It's ridiculous. When everyone heard the sound, they saw Hody Jones, who was controlled by the super dream power, his eyes were glowing with red light, and he was laughing wantonly. Shut me up. No laughing, bastard. I saw Jinbei walking to the side of Hody Jones and punching the face of Hody Jones who laughed wildly. Cough, ha ha ha, how can you not laugh? What a stupid girl. It is also thanks to you that I have been able to prepare my plan for so long. 35. If you had learned the truth from that guy at Macarlo, and told the truth to others, I might have been executed a long time ago. Listen, Shirahoshi, in this world, your behavior is called stupid. Hody Jones, who was punched by Jinbei, spat out a mouthful of blood, and Hody Jones still laughed wildly and said to Shirahoshi. Humph, you just opened your mouth, didn't you? 35. As soon as Hody Jones's voice fell, Tornado, who had made friendship with the kind Shirahoshi, immediately pointed at Hody Jones' nose and scolded. During the scolding, a powerful thought force burst out from the tornado's body. Shish. Boom, 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 boom. 35. Advertisement. Under the control of the tornado, the telekinetic force instantly wrapped the 2 rows of serrated fangs in Hody Jones' mouth, and then he struggled to pull it. With the screams of Hody Jones, his mouth full of teeth was pulled out in an instant. Sir Shirahoshi, don't listen to this kind of nonsense. 35. What you do is not stupid, but very strong. Following the tornado's movement, Rem, who was talking with Shirahoshi just now, also took Shirahoshi's thumb with her own hand and comforted her with a warm voice. At this time, the effect of the fierce medicine in Hody Jones' body had not subsided, and the pain in his mouth was quickly suppressed. After Hody Jones coughed and spewed a pool of blood, his eyes were filled with flames of hatred. He looked at Neptune, the third prince of Shark Star, and Shirahoshi, and said to them disdainfully. Cough. Cough. For me, a guy like Otoji is damn. What do Murlocs want to make peace with humans? That stupid daydream. Our hatred with human beings cannot be extinguished. Noble Murlocs should rule over human beings, and human beings can only be used as slaves. 35. Seeing what Hody Jones looked like at this time, Jinbei shook his head with a wry smile. At this time, he has understood, and now Hody Jones is no longer saved. Hody Jones is more of a monster than a Murloc. He is the product of the anger and hatred of the fish people on the Fishman Island. He and his friends, growing up in a dark environment, have always accepted the will of hatred, and finally formed the distorted concept at this time. Alas, Your Majesty Neptune, I think Princess Otahime is right. Horty's twisted will and thoughts will eventually pull the Fishman Island to the abyss of doom. 35. After Jinbei sighed, he also spoke slowly to Neptune. And Neptune also understood Jinbei's subtext. After he pondered for a while, he asked the Dragon Palace guards to call the left and right ministers. Not long after, the ministers on the left and right came together, and after hearing that Hody Jones was the culprit in the assassination of Princess Itsuki, they were equally shocked. After a brief shock, the left and right ministers also expressed their admiration for Princess Shirahoshi's perseverance over the years. It was at this juncture that the capsule medicine that Hody Jones took finally failed. And in front of everyone's eyes, his hair instantly changed from black to pure white, and his stout body also dried up in an instant, turning into a thin, old-fashioned appearance. In the end, according to Neptune's order, he led people to suppress Hody Jones, and announced it together when the Dragon Palace announced that the Dimension Pirates would provide shelter for the Fishman Island. Little friend Su Yong, thank you and everyone in the Dimension Pirates for helping me in the Fishman Island so much. Advertisement. Just now, Minister Zuo told me that the banquet is ready. Please also go to the banquet hall with me to feel the enthusiasm from the Fishman Island. Ha 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 ha. Watching the minister on the left and the minister on the right escort Hody Jones away, after Neptune packed up his mood, he also turned his head and said to Su Yong and the people of the Dimension Pirates. Hearing Neptune's words, both Su Yong and everyone in the Dimensional Pirates showed some smiles on their faces. The son of the sea, who can refuse a banquet? Especially the mermaid princess Shirahoshi, the sadness on her face gradually subsided after hearing that the two Remram sisters invited her to a banquet together. Brothers, let's go. Banquet 523. Seeing the high spirits of the crowd, Su Yong also spoke to the crowd in a timely manner. After he finished speaking, he led the crowd to the banquet hall in the Dragon Palace under the leadership of Neptune. The banquet hall of the Dragon Palace is located outside the Dragon Palace. Everyone except Acronia headed towards the banquet hall on a huge flounder that looked like a flying carpet in the water. After passing one palace and another gate, everyone finally came to a dark room. In an instant, a beam of light hit Su Yong and the gigantic flounders that the Dimension Pirates were riding. The benefactor of the Dimension Pirates is here. Thank you for protecting us, the Fishman Island, we are so grateful. Drive Giorno Chopper, thanks to your life-saving grace, I will never forget it. With the illumination of the lights, a large crowd of cheers instantly sounded in the dark room. Wow, it's the soldiers of the Ryugu Guards, and the Murloc Pirates of the Sun Pirates. 35. The tornado looked at the bottom of the flounder, and it was the soldiers of the Ryugu Guards and the Pirates of the Sun Pirates who made a huge cheer. After hearing Tornado's words, Ram, Anna, and even Giorno Chopper, who heard his name, put their heads on the bubble wall on the giant flounder and looked at the soldiers shouting below. Hero, 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 hero. The crowd below also seemed to see the dimensional pirates on the flounder looking at themselves, and then they began to shout, hero, in unison. Lord Su Yong, Lord Ram, Lord Tornado. The front is the stage. Just as the fish people cheered in unison, Shirahoshi also quickly swam to their side, called Su Yong and everyone in the Dimension Pirates by name, raised his finger in the direction ahead, and said to them. Advertisement. 1017 WB. 226 Social Bowl 13 Giorno. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Dragon Palace is quite experienced in holding banquets. After Su Yong and the others turned their attention to the stage, a professional host started to introduce. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to entertain the banquet of the Dimension Pirates, start now. The first to appear is Maria Napoleon, the proud first female singer of the Fishman Island. As soon as the host's voice fell, a light hit the female Murloc in the center of the stage from top to bottom. When the light came, Maria Napoleon began her performance. Yo ho ho tilde operator, yo ho 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 tilde operator. Yo ho ho tilde operator, yo ho 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 tilde operator. Binks wine, delivered to you. Like the sea breeze, do whatever you want, ride the wind and break the waves. In the end, she is the first female singer of the Fishman Island. Even if she sang Binks wine, which is the most popular in the sea, after her treatment, everyone in the Dimension Pirates who listened to the song would not be able to consciously admire the beauty of his voice. Just as Maria Napoleon sang, as if to add to the program's effect, the host's voice sounded again. And then, there are special guests. Their beauty makes men forget to breathe. From the Mermaid Cafe, maid dancers. Accompanied by the host's voice, colorful chase lights also illuminated around Maria Napoleon at the right time. One after another, beautiful and moving mermaids danced in the water. Oh, this wonderful singing makes me, who dreams of becoming a superstar in the underworld, unconsciously want to sing along. Aribati, get up, Jojo. The people in the Dimension Pirates were the first to be mobilized by the atmosphere, and it was Giorno Chopper. At this time, he was like the patient with social cow 13 disease, pulling the collar on his chest, dancing with his posture, and singing along. Yo ho ho tilde operator, yo ho 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 tilde operator. Yo ho ho ho, yo ho 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 tilde operator. Binks wine, delivered to you. 39. We pirates, split the waves. Advertisement. Piled on the waves, home is on the boat. Seeing Giorno Chopper in such an open state, the second prince, Emperor Xing, also got close to him. The banquet must be held like this to be happy. Dr. Giorno Chopper. Do-re-mi is trembling. Huang Xing spoke with Giorno Chopper in his mouth, and sang along with him in his mouth. Red roll, roll roll, Dr. Giorno Chopper, let's dance our bodies together. 35. The three princes, who were born fond of dancing, also joined the lineup of King Star and Giorno Chopper in a timely manner. With these three people taking the lead, the atmosphere of the Dimensional Pirates was also mobilized. At the same time, one after another, beautiful mermaids, holding a portion of the food and wine with the characteristics of the Fishman Island, swam towards the huge flounder. At the same time, the mermaid waiter also brought wine glasses of different sizes to Neptune and Su Yang and filled them up. Only Ace Kano, which is fashionable and still in daytime mode, is not polite at all. I saw him directly from the tray of the mermaid waiter, picked up the wine gourd filled with wine, and ate it, and said at the same time. It's finally here. When it comes to banquets, the least important thing is wine. 39. Just let me taste what the wine on the Fishman Island is like. Ha ha. Next, please, His Majesty Neptune, raise a glass for everyone to lead the way. As if receiving some signal, after the mermaid maid filled the wine for everyone, the host's voice sounded again. And the mermaid king Neptune raised the cup in his hand, looked at the people of the Dimensional Pirates, and said slowly. Before cheering, I have to say thank you anyway. Everyone in the Dimension Pirates, thanks to you. However, before the mermaid king Neptune could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Su Yang holding a glass of wine. I saw Su Yang holding the glass high and shouting to the crowd. Don't say so many polite words at the banquet. Cheers. Cheers. As soon as Su Yang's voice fell, everyone in the Dimension Pirates also laughed, toasting and shouting with their captain. In an instant, the atmosphere of the banquet was directly filled, and everyone was smiling and looking for people around to toast and drink. Neptune was the only one who felt aggrieved by the emo-like self that was interrupted and ignored. Bring all the food up. Let's eat, drink, sing and dance to your heart's content. Advertisement. At the same time, the left minister and the right minister also spoke to the mermaid waiters who were waiting around. As soon as these words came out, the mermaids brought up a series of exquisite food. Of course, some dishes that are suitable for drinking, such as grilled sea beast meat, cold seaweed, sea beast sashimi, are brought to Ace Kano, Uchiha Madara, Diablo and others. In front of Ram, Dragon Roll, and Anna, they mainly used snacks, cakes, and all kinds of exquisitely decorated dishes. Sir Su Yang, try this, the Fishman Island's dim sum is of a high standard. Shirahoshi also took some desserts and handed them over to Su Yang. Su Yang took it with a smile, and after taking 2 bites, he suddenly understood one of the reasons why Charlotte Linlin, the old woman, would want to row the Fishman Island under her command. Yeah, the desserts made by the Fishman Island really have their own unique taste. Not bad. Involuntarily, Su Yang nodded in admiration and commented. Because of the location, the wine at the Fishman Island is indeed better than some of the wines I bought before. You can put more on the boat later. As soon as Su Yang's voice fell, Ace Kano, who was feasting on the side, also put down the wine gourd in his hand and praised. At the same time, Uchiha Madara and Diablo have also begun to change from fighting to drinking due to some small disputes during the daytime fighting. In less than a moment, the empty wine glasses next to the two of them had already become a hill. The two sisters Remram, after hearing Su Yang's praise for the delicious desserts just now, asked Prince Shark to call the pastry chef who made the desserts, and began to ask people for advice on desserts. Production method. As for Acunorlia, it turned on the gluttonous mode, almost one big barbecue, and tasted the deliciousness of the grilled sea beast. Of course, the most surprising thing is probably the most aloof Mewtwo on weekdays. Since he was shocked and infected by the strong emotions of Neptune and Shark Star today, the stubbornness and prejudice he once had in his heart have gradually melted away. At this time, he was being dragged by Giorno Chopper, singing and dancing with the second Prince Wangxing and the third Prince Roverstar. The banquet continued until very late. Ace Cannon's state of domination during the day and, at night was finally known to Neptune and Shark. In the midst of laughter, Uchiha Madara and Diablo finally both fell drunk in the case of a draw. The two sisters, Rem and Ram, have completely emptied the life of the pastry chef in the Fishman Island. The rest of the people were basically full of food and drink, and Neptune arranged for Shark Star and Minister Zuo to send them to the bedroom prepared for everyone to rest. Only Su Yang and Jinbei were finally begged by Neptune to stay temporarily. Under the leadership of Neptune, Su Yang and Jinbei rowed Neptune's blue whale to a secret room in the Dragon Palace. After the three of them were seated, Neptune withdrew the left and right attendants, and after arranging the right minister to guard the door, he opened his mouth and said to Su Yang. Su Yang, little friend, I invite you to come here this time, not for anything else, but for the little girl Shirahoshi. Advertisement. As soon as Neptune finished speaking, Su Yang raised his eyebrows and said, Shirahoshi, Uncle Neptune, if you have something to say, don't make it so mysterious. Hearing Su Yang say this, Neptune pondered for a while, and then said, I don't know, little friend Su Yang, have you heard about the three ancient weapons? After Su Yang heard Neptune's words, he immediately showed an expression like that. He had indeed speculated about it just now. So at this time, after hearing Neptune's inquiries, he was not prepared to hide his clumsiness, and said directly. The three ancient weapons, Pluton, Poseidon, Uranus, I have heard of it. 35. And as far as I know, Poseidon's existence is related to the Fishman Island. Uncle Neptune, are you trying to tell me that Shirahoshi is Poseidon, one of the three ancient weapons? Sure enough, Su Yang's words made Neptune and Jinbei stand up in shock. Neptune was shocked because Su Yang made a start on his own, and he could directly guess everything. Li is good. Jinbei was shocked because Su Yang said that Shirahoshi, the mermaid princess, is Poseidon, one of the three most famous ancient weapons. Neptune quickly controlled his emotions. After he took a deep breath, he nodded and said to Su Yang. Little friend Su Yang is worthy of the Newgate guy's brains. 35. Surely talented and astounding. Yes, as Su Yang guessed, Shirahoshi is the Poseidon, one of the three ancient weapons. That's why I want to make a deal with my little friend. When Su Yang heard Neptune's words, he was even more curious about the deal that Neptune said in his heart. It's just that Su Yang didn't speak, just looked at Neptune quietly, waiting for his next words. Little friend Su Yang, you must have heard about the attitude of the world government towards the three ancient weapons. And Shirahoshi is the secret of the sea god. After all, someone like Vander Decken knows it. For this reason, I have to find a powerful party for Shirahoshi who can truly protect her. So, I hope to have Shirahoshi join your dimensional pirates and be your crew. To this end, I am willing to lead the Fishman Island to fully support Su Yang and your dimensional pirates. I don't know Su Yang, what do you think? Advertisement. 227 Neptune's conditional subject. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Neptune's words made Su Yang silent. Having lived in the world of pirates for many years, he fully understands the significance of Neptune's words. A single sentence, full support of the Fishman Island, is already a very heavy price. The second half of the Grand Line is different from the first half. Because there are countless powerful pirates and criminals living here, Marine cannot systematically protect the islands and countries of the New World. As a result, the situation in New World has always been in a state of division. Each island and country will seek powerful forces and pirates to protect themselves. Just this kind of relationship is more like a businessman opening a shop in this place to do business. Because the judicial agency can play a limited role in protection, the businessman will pay protection fees for the powerful associations and leaders involved in this area. In order to seek a community and carry the handle, when other gangsters or unsightly things are looking for trouble, you can take action to solve the problem, so that businesses can do business with peace of mind. The countries and pirates in the entire New World basically follow this protection fee model and relationship. However, the condition proposed by Neptune at this time is different. It is equivalent to him, the shopkeeper, who directly transferred the shop the Fishman Island, in the state of a subsidiary country and subsidiary shop, to the name of Su Yang, and to the name of the Dimensional Pirates. After Su Yang and the Dimensional Pirates, instead of collecting protection fees every month, they directly received share dividends every month and every year. Not only can I get money every month, but also have the right to speak to the store. Not even a good word. If Neptune and the Dragon Palace royal family made Su Yang and the others unhappy that day, Su Yang and the others could directly replace the owner of this store as shareholders. Therefore, Su Yang, who knew the difference in his heart, was shocked by the painstaking efforts of Neptune, his father, to plan for his 523 children, but also began to ponder whether the deal was worth it. After all, Shirahoshi's identity is Poseidon, one of the three ancient weapons. That is, once they show their power, they can order the existence of countless giant sea kings. In the original book, it was even on the must-kill list of I am that guy. Just at the stall where Su Yang was thinking, because of Shirahoshi's identity, Jinbei of Poseidon, one of the legendary three ancient weapons, finally came to his senses. As he was once recruited by Marine to become one of the 7 warlords of the sea, he had naturally heard of the world government's attitude towards the three ancient weapons. So Jinbei also knows that if Su Yang agrees, once Shirahoshi's true identity is revealed, then the pressure that Su Yang and the Dimension Pirates will face will be terrifying. Looking at Su Yang, who was in a state of contemplation, Jinbei also said to Su Yang after pondering for a while. Advertisement. Brother Su Yang. The old man knows Shirahoshi's identity. If it were leaked out, it would cause a lot of turmoil. On the side of the world government, it will not give up. As a member of the Fishman Island, I can't stay out of this situation. If Su Yang brothers can agree to His Majesty Neptune's request and take Shirahoshi as a crew member of the Dimensional Pirates, then the old man is willing to lead the Sun Pirates, join the Su Yang brothers, become the affiliated pirates of the Dimensional Pirates, and never betray. Jinbei. Seeing that Jinbei was also speaking out of righteousness at this time, and was going to use his freedom and his life to increase the stakes for this matter, Nipton's eyes suddenly became wet. He turned his eyes to Jinbei, and called Jinbei very moved. Hee. Your Majesty, Neptune doesn't have to take such an attitude. The old man is a part of the Fishmen Island. If the Shirahoshi incident happens, the Fishmen Island will still be involved. Since it's to protect the homeland, what's the point of a mere old man? The old man also believes that Aladdin of the Sun Pirates will understand and make the same choice as the old man. Feeling Neptune's eyes looking at him, Jinbei smiled happily, put on a magnanimous expression that didn't take this matter to heart, and opened his mouth to comfort him. When Neptune heard Jinbei say this, he knew in his heart that he had made up his mind, so he nodded solemnly to Jinbei. After the two communicated with each other, they also turned their attention to Su Yang. They are waiting. How will Su Yang choose? Of course, for Su Yang, this matter is really nothing to consider. Before, he brought people like the Dimension Pirates to the Holy Land of Celestial Dragons to make a scene. Moreover, during the Summit War, he killed the 5 elders to the point of not being able to survive, and he had long since forged an insoluble feud with the world government. In this case, he is still afraid of the pressure of the world government. How is this possible? The so-called one duck is also chasing, and a group of ducks is also released. Su Yang has already stabilized the hatred value, and Su Yang is not worthless against celestial dragons and world government. He entered the new world this time, not just to be able to walk around and see if he could find some summoning fragments somewhere. After he made a few more helpers, everyone went to the holy land of celestial dragons and dealt with the great scourge of Im. Then, let yourself live a carefree, bloodless life of salted fish. What's more, Shirahoshi itself is Poseidon, one of the 3 ancient weapons, and can summon the existence of super sea kings at any time. With Shirahoshi's help, when the time comes to really start a war with the world government, it is also a force that should not be underestimated. Advertisement. Now there is Neptune who wants to use the whole country as a backup for the dimensional pirates. In addition, Jinbei has said that he will take the Sun Pirates as the head. A great man once said, friends need to be made a lot. Is there a better choice now than to accept Shirahoshi as his crew member? No. After a simple brainstorming, Su Yang looked at Neptune and Jinbei with his usual smile on his face. Immediately, he said slowly to beg the two of them. Since that's the case, then Shirahoshi. I'm covered. Ha 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 ha. It's really good, thank you Su Yang. From today onwards, the Fishmen Island is a vassal of your dimensional pirates. Tomorrow, I will ask Minister Zuo to find more media organizations to publicize this news at the affiliated ceremony. 35. After hearing Su Yang's words, Nipton finally put down the big stone that was hanging in his heart, and he said to Su Yang with a big smile. As soon as Neptune's voice fell, Jinbei also bowed slightly to Su Yang, and said. Then in the future, I ask Captain Su Yang to take care of me and the Sun Pirates. Seeing that Neptune and Jinbei responded successively according to their promises, Su Yang thought for a while, and then said. I think Shirahoshi's identity hasn't been revealed yet. There should be few people who know about this matter except Uncle Neptune, Jinbei, and Vander Decken who was executed. At present, Shirahoshi is still young and has not shown her ability, so rushing her into the dimensional pirates will attract attention. Hearing Su Yang say this, Neptune and Jinbei also fell into contemplation. In addition, there is Jinbei, the former 7 warlords of the sea, who will also lead the pirate group to join. Neptune said finally. He also looked at Jinbei and explained to him. Jinbei and Su Yang couldn't help but be surprised when they heard Neptune's decision. Years of political experience made him realize the brilliance of Su Yang's proposal. Hearing this, Neptune's brows first wrinkled, and then stretched out again, thinking that he had figured out everything. Such an approach undoubtedly focused everyone's attention on Shark Star. Advertisement. Jinbei, I will pick out some elites from the Dragon Palace guards and let them join the Sun Pirates. Once this kind of small details aroused suspicion from others. It can be said, Neptune really took great pains to hide Shirahoshi's identity. It will naturally attract people's attention. Yes. For the painstaking efforts of Neptune's old father, Su Yang could not help but feel admiration and emotion in his heart. Let Shaoxing be the heir to my throne, and Shaoxing and Shirahoshi will join the Dimension Pirates as protons. As a royal family, shouldn't the Dragon Palace have a proton? It's okay if the world government doesn't investigate, but to find out Shirahoshi's identity again and again, it's superfluous and makes things even worse. He no longer objected, nodded and said to Neptune, so, then do as Uncle Neptune said. Having said that, the things that the 3 of them should talk about this time are basically finished. After thinking for a while, Neptune said to Su Yang decisively. Just do as little friend Su Yang said. At the banquet, Su Yang also drank a lot because of the toasts from time to time by Uchiha Madara and Ace Kano. The Fishmen Island has already surrendered to the dimensional pirates in the form of a vassal state. It is equivalent to 2 big materials, one big and one small, detonating at the same time. Proton. In this way, Shirahoshi, the mermaid princess who also joined the dimensional pirates as a proton, seems like a bonus. The beloved son of his parents has far-reaching plans. Not only did he directly designate the eldest prince, Shaoxing, as the future heir of Dragon Palace, but also let the heir join the dimensional pirates as a proton. After all, he is the lord of a country. When he makes some decisions, he is indeed bold and courageous. Otherwise, let Shirahoshi join the dimensional pirates in the form of protons. Tomorrow I will announce to the world that the Fishman Island will be included in the Dimension Pirates as a vassal state. The so-called things go wrong, there must be demons. Just as the three of them were contemplating, Su Yong suddenly had an idea, and he opened his mouth and said to the other two. When the conversation was over, he took the lead to leave the secret room, and under the arrangement of the right minister who was standing guard outside, he went back to a palace to sleep and recuperate. They'll work with you for the dimensional pirates while keeping Shirahoshi safe. Advertisement. 228 The Fishman Island Surrender. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. As the right-hand man of Neptune, the left minister has been in power for many years, and his work efficiency is extremely high. It only took one day, and under his guidance, everything was ready for the Fishman Island to be attached to the ceremony. The next morning when Su Yong and the others came to the Fishman Island, they held a ceremony in the largest mermaid square on the Fishman Island. At the ceremony, the mermaid king Neptune, under the support of the great prince Sharksing and the minister of the right, presented the trident of the sea god, which symbolizes the throne of the mermaid king, to the leader of the Dimension Pirates. And Su Yong also took over the trident of the sea god under the support of everyone in the Dimension Pirates, and also gave the pirate flag, which symbolizes the Dimensional Pirates, to Nipton. After Nipton got the pirate flag of the Dimension Pirates, he instructed the great Prince Shark to hang the pirate flag of the Dimensional Pirates on the Mermaid Square. Since then, it means that the Fishman Island has been covered by the Dimensional Pirates. Then the Mermaid King Neptune began to announce one after another heavy news. The first is to reveal that the culprit who killed Princess Otahime was not the human pirate found at that time, but Hody Jones, the Murloc who served as the guard of the Dragon Palace Guard and the head of the new Murloc pirate regiment. Just when the people of the Fishman Island who came to watch the ceremony were talking about it because of this news, Neptune announced the second news. The just-held subsidiary ceremony is not a traditional, belonging, but the entire the Fishman Island will submit to the Dimension Pirates and become a vassal of the Dimensional Pirates. At the same time, he also announced that he will appoint the great Prince Shaoxing as the heir to the throne of his own Mermaid King, and Shaoxing and his sister, the Mermaid Princess Shirahoshi, will be protons as the crew members of the Dimensional Pirates. Once the news was announced, there was an uproar in the Fishman Square and the Fishman Island. None of the people of the Fishman Island could have foreseen such a change. It was when everyone was so shocked by these heavy news that some Murlocs even wondered if the Mermaid King Neptune was confused or threatened by someone to make this decision. I saw Jinbei led the Sun Pirates to Subai, and asked Su Yong, the captain of the Dimension Pirates, to join the Dimension Pirates and become its affiliated pirate group. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, Su Yong nodded in agreement, and asked someone to serve the juju. After Jinbei drank Yizi wine with Su Yong, the Sun Pirates officially became an affiliated pirate group of the Dimensional Pirates. All the islanders of the Fishman Island looked at everything that happened in front of them, as if they were living in a dream at the moment. It can be said that this series of explosions directly brought unparalleled shock to the people of the Fishman Island. The people of the Fishman Island, they can't figure it out. They don't understand. The Fishman Island is so big, why did it suddenly become a vassal of the Dimensional Pirates? Why would the next Mermaid King join the Dimensional Pirates as a proton and become a pirate? Of course, under these incomprehensions, even Jinbei, the Sea Man, one of the original 7 warlords of the sea, brought all the Sun Pirates to join the Dimensional Pirates and became an affiliated pirates. Shocked for them. Advertisement. As for the Mermaid King Neptune, he only mentioned one mouthful, and Shirahoshi, the mermaid princess who joined the Dimensional Pirates as a proton, was even less noticed. And this is exactly what the Mermaid King Neptune, Su Yong and Jinbei want to see. Chapter 233 News King. I want Su Yong to be famous. New World, News Island. In the World Economic News, it was crowded with people at this time, and every reporter was busy in a hurry at this time. The recent sea is really exciting, and big events are happening one after another. Yeah, thanks to so many things, our papers are going to sell out again. This is the news I just received, listen carefully, you must give this report the most explosive title. 55 feet. The reporters of the World Economic News sighed while dealing with the matter at hand. Exclamation mark. The recent ocean news is constantly breaking out. The Dimensional Pirates led by Su Yong entered the New World, took the lead in conquering the Fishman Island, and accepted the Fishman Island as a vassal of their own pirates. Our Marine announced 2 measures regarding Marine's large-scale withdrawal of troops from the New World, the deployment of the first half of the Grand Line and the 4 Seas, and the 2 measures of the World Conscription. And the Big Mom Pirates, who are also the 4 Emperors Pirates, formed a pirate alliance with the Beasts Pirates, and devoured the territory of the original Whitebeard Pirates in the New World. Either one of the above is breaking news. In the past few days, it seems like an appointment has been made, and countless waves have exploded on the sea one after another, causing shocks from all over the world. President. Which news is on the headline today? The News King, Morgans, the president of the World Economic News, was staring at the blackboard in front of him at the time of the photo of the last Yuan Pirates flag floating in the Mermaid Square of the Fishman Island, when he heard a reporter's message. Inquiry. Boom. After hearing the reporter's question, his white wings slapped the photo posted on the blackboard fiercely. Do you still have to think about it? Of course it's related reports from Su Yong and the Dimension Pirates. Su Yang's group has always been synonymous with boldness. Attack on the Holy Land of Celestial Dragons, riot at Summit War, kill 5 elders, kill Big Mom Pirates desert general. These things, any one of them is full of breaking news, and it will definitely be a big hit. Morgans opened his arms, as if he was in a state of excitement and frenzy, and said in a turbulent tone to the reporter who asked him. So. The headline this time is to choose the Fishman Island to surrender to the dimensional pirates and become the news of a vassal state. Advertisement. After hearing Morgan's words, the reporter was extremely excited and continued to ask. Morgans was also very excited at this time, and soon made a very bold decision. No, no, no. Such news is so superficial. We're going to do this time, and we're going to report a wave of the most explosive news. It's decided. Tomorrow's newspaper, I want to report the whole thing about Su Yong and the Dimension Pirates. Whether it's attacking the holy land of celestial dragons, making a scene of summit war, killing 5 elders, killing Big Mom Pirates Desert General, or surrendering to the Fishman Island, I want all of them. Our coverage, which is full of breaking points, will definitely sell. Ha 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 ha. He smiled recklessly, as if the world was in his hands. Yes, President, we will definitely make the best report and let the name of the Dimension Pirates resound in the sea. After hearing the order of their own President Morgans, all the reporters of the World Economic News were also very excited to respond to it. Chapter 234 Good News of Conscription, Fujitora smiles. New Marine Headquarters. 0 for flowers. Garp, who was forced to lose his freedom due to the change of Marine's policy, couldn't drive his warship to travel around the world, as usual, holding his senbei and slack in the office of Buddha Sengoku. And this old friend of his, at this time, also followed the top-secret call from the intelligence department with a sad face. I see. And Uchiha Madara and Diablo easily took down the 2 sweet generals of the Big Mom Pirates. Come looking for this guy Sengoku, is there something wrong with the recruiting office? Hearing the movement, Sengoku quickly restrained the expression on his face, put on his usual majestic appearance, and said something to the door. At the same time, he opened his mouth and said to Sengoku with an attitude of hating iron. Sengoku took a deep breath and spoke in a low voice, while raising his hand and rubbing the bridge of his nose. Now the Fishman Island, the gateway to the New World, has been announced as a vassal of the Dimensional Pirates. Crane had long been accustomed to Garp's behavior, and he didn't even look at Garp. Instead, he looked at Sengoku solemnly and said. Just then, there was a knock on Sengoku's office door. Obviously, at this time, he had obtained information about what the Dimensional Pirates had done on the Fishman Island from the intelligence department. Advertisement. Sengoku held out Garp's remarks and sighed even more. Although he was still in the position of Marshal Marine at this time, but in the recent times, any matter that needs to be decided at a meeting will basically be done with an eagle attitude in the end. It's called Yi Shao, a demon fruit power, and the 2-color hockey is very powerful. 35. New World will let them bite the dog. They are all pirates anyway, so it's easier to die. Sengoku, just found a good seedling at the recruiting office. 35. After eating half of it with his mouth open, Sengoku put down the half-empty senbei bag and said to Garp with a serious face. Vice Admiral, who was in charge of that recruiting point, passed on him and said he had admiral strength. Even many generals of the neutral faction began to tend to the various propositions of the Eagle brand at this time. Yo, Xiaohei, you are here. What did you say you were worrying about? Since the Marine General's all-hands meeting ended, his status has not been as good as before. Enter. So he held out his nose as big as a bull's nose, and his little finger on his right hand began to pick his nostrils. While talking, Suru also handed a document to Sengoku. There are countless innocent people in the New World. 99. When Sengoku put down the phone bug in his hand, he looked up and saw that Garp was still eating senbei there. The one who pushed in the door was Marine Vice Admiral Crane, Marine Chief of Staff. He, who already had a headache, rudely snatched the senbei from his hand. Su Yong has entered the New World with the Dimension Pirates. This situation also filled Sengoku's heart with fatigue. Garp watched as Sengoku ate half of his senbei and didn't intend to return the senbei bag to himself. Don't that guy Sakazuki think that the proposal was approved at the meeting that day? 55. After seeing that it was a crane, Garp continued to pick his nostrils and asked the crane. Bang bang bang. Year. Not to mention that under the leadership of Sakazuki, Eagle began to wander very actively. Advertisement. 229 The Escaped Daifuku. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. New World. As always, the Cake Island is in full bloom, only the atmosphere in the tea party and the living room is completely different from the state of the outside world. In addition to Charlotte Linlin, who is the captain, Charlotte Perospero, the eldest son, Charlotte Katakori, the second son, and Charlotte Irwin, the fourth son, looked at the two people in front of them with solemn expressions. Charlotte Daifuku escaped after all. The one who escaped with him was Baron Dandin, who survived because of the special ability of the fruit. Of course, because of the self-destruction of the Lantern Man on the Fishman Island, he was once again fatally traumatized, and he has been upgraded from the Chick Viscount to the Rooster Earl again. Perori. Daifuku, why are you two back? What about Snag and Cracker? Dressed in a light yellow slender coat, light blue Madara hair, wearing a red and yellow striped hat, Charlotte Perospero, who was holding a huge sorghum in her hand, stuck out her long tongue and asked Daifuku with a frown. As Perospero's voice fell, Charlotte Katakori, who had been silent for a while, listened with his legs crossed, but for a moment, he seemed to see something that made him miserable. Was killed. His pair of tiger eyes glared slightly. 523 flashed a strong killing intent, clenched his fists, and muttered a sentence full of hatred. Brother Perospero. They were all killed by the dimensional pirates. The people who went to the Fishman Island this time. In the end, I was the only one left with Viscount Dandan. At the same time, when Charlotte Daifuku heard her eldest brother's question, the Zhong face made a sad look, and she answered to the three brothers in front of her. What? Daifuku, what did you say? 35. Snag and Cracker. They were all killed by the dimensional pirates. Different from Observation Hockey's younger brother who has practiced to the extent that he can predict the future, Charlotte Perospero also cracked her big mouth after hearing Daifuku's words, her huge tongue hanging in the air, and looked at Daifuku in shock. He never imagined that he would hear such bad news. Daifuku, this is no joke. The strength of Snugger and Cracker is obvious to all of our brothers and sisters. 2 desert generals, 2 knight-level cadres, and the extra strength is no less than Cracker's U. Advertisement. With such a lineup, even if it is not the opponent of Su Yong, it should not be destroyed by the group. 35. At the same time, Owen, the fourth son of Charlotte Linlin, also questioned Daifuku in disbelief. Charlotte Daifuku is not at all surprised by the shock and questioning of her two brothers. He also thinks that if he hadn't personally participated in this battle, he might not be able to understand how powerful Su Yang's group can be. He sighed slightly and said in a desolate tone. Yeah, I didn't think so at first. 35. What's even more ironic is, Su Yang and the others, only 4 people came out, and they beat us all to pieces. If it wasn't for the fruit awakening at a critical moment, then I might not be able to come back to see you. In the end, as the eldest son, Charlotte Perospero, after hearing Daifuku say this, also understands that this time there must be something they don't know. Moreover, the awakening of the fruit in Dafu's mouth also surprised him. After all, in the entire Big Mom pirate group, apart from their mother Charlotte Linlin, only himself and his second child Katakuri developed the devil fruit ability in their bodies to the point of awakening. So, he also asked Charlotte Daifuku. Fruit awakening. Dafu, what's the matter? You will tell us in detail. Listening to her elder brother's question, Charlotte Daifuku put away a little sad expression. He nodded, and started talking with Pokemus and Baron Dandan as the advance officers of the first ceremony and then the soldier, to find the mermaid king Neptune to negotiate, and then he was rejected by Neptune in the Dragon Palace of the Fishman Island. At the same time, Duke Rooster, who was also involved in the whole incident, will also make supplements at an appropriate time. Until the two of them said, Daifuku, Snag, and Cracker decided to use the Fishman Island to start a war with them, and then the Dimension Pirates stabbed them horizontally. That's it. Snag was killed by Uchiha Madara, Cracker by Diablo's hands. 39. And I met that guy Ace Kano. Originally, my life was on the line, and at a critical juncture, the fruit's ability was awakened, allowing my lantern to act independently of the body. While my lantern and Ace Kano are fighting, Jinbei and that old Neptune come with reinforcements. I had to use the unique trick attached to the awakening to make the lantern demon self-destruct, which saved me. During the explosion, I saw that Baron Dandan was still breathing, so I rescued him together, grabbed a pirate ship, and came back. 5. Charlotte Daifuku said word by word, and finally finished her experience in the Fishman Island. After he finished speaking, several people in the living room were contemplating. Advertisement. I didn't expect. We still underestimate Su Yang, and we still underestimate the Dimension Pirates. Fortunately, we have now formed a pirate alliance with Kaido's Beasts Pirates to fight Su Yang together. Katakuri. After all, there is no way to hide such a big thing from my mother. Mom, you still have to take the lead and talk to Mom. After contemplating for a moment, Charlotte Perospero finally made a decision. After he sighed a few words, he also turned his head and said to Katakuri. Okay, I'm going to tell my mother myself. Dafu, according to what you said, the self-destructing lamp demon should damage your lifespan, right? I'll have someone give you some new lifespan in a while, and you will make up your own lifespan first. Dessert will be missing 2 spots all at once, so it can't be empty all the time. It just so happens that you have also awakened, and the 2 new vacancies will be filled by you and Perospero. Charlotte Katakuri is still the same high cold look, only after he answered Perospero with his low and magnetic voice, he turned his head and said to Charlotte Daifuku. Katakuri's words finally made Dafu a little distracted. With the assurance of Katakuri, he no longer has to worry about his mother taking his life away because of the failure of the action and the death of his 2 younger brothers. He hurriedly replied. Yes. Brother Katakuri, I'll go and fill up my lifespan first. 0. Su Yang, I'm going to tear you to pieces. As for the dimensional pirates he founded, I will also kill them all, destroy them, and die. Charlotte Linlin's rage-filled roar echoed across Cake Island. Prometheus has also ignited a raging flame at this time, attached to Charlotte Linlin's head, setting it off like an angry ghost. But Charlotte Linlin has bulimia. Thinking of this, Perospero and Katakuri exchanged glances. No, it's not that he was terrified by his mother's words to go hard steel with Su Yang and the dimensional pirates. Snag and Cracker are her favorite children. In my opinion, now is a good time to cooperate. Although Charlotte Katakuri was in the middle of the reconciliation, Charlotte Linlin didn't find Daifuku to settle the account immediately. Advertisement. Kaido. It's just not taking her Charlotte Linlin and her big mom pirates in the eye. Figured out this section, Charlotte Linlin also took out the phone bug that had contacted Kaido before and dialed it. Looking at Charlotte Linlin's somewhat terrifying state of anger at this time, Charlotte Perospero also flashed a look of horror on her face. Her dream since childhood was to create a country where people of all races in the world can live together. If she can't eat, her bulimia will flare up. When he becomes mad, he is completely ignorant of the 6 relatives. People stop killing people, and Buddhas stop killing Buddhas. 4.6 But so what? We're now in a pirate alliance with Kaido's Beasts Pirates. Immediately, Charlotte Perospero spoke quickly and advised Charlotte Linlin. What's more, they have great strength. Mom, calm down, calm down. But in her opinion, such an excellent child was killed by Su Yang and his dimensional pirates. Sure enough, Perospero's words caught Charlotte Linlin's attention, and she seemed to regain some sanity in her rage. The call was quickly connected, and Kaido's expression appeared on the face of the phone bug, and then Kaido's voice sounded from the phone bug's mouth. But Su Yang and his former Whitebeard 17th Division, the current Dimension Pirates, are completely hated by Charlotte Linlin. It was not until she ate what she suddenly wanted to eat that her emotions and state could calm down and stabilize. Blue blue blue. According to our information, although Su Yang and his dimensional pirates, the crew members on board are generally stronger. So she has been working hard all these years, not to mention her son-in-law, and she is still giving birth to children like crazy. And Kaido's first sentence when he answered the phone also proved that he also knew at this time that Charlotte, Daifuku and the others ate deflated at the Fishman Island. Now, as expected, the strength of Su Yang and his crew is really not something that his family can resist, so naturally they have to stand shoulder to shoulder with allies. Must be advised first. Blue blue blue. She also reacted at this time, and she agreed to alliance with Kaido before, not because she was worried about the occurrence of this situation at this time. Every time she was very emotional, there would be something special she wanted to eat. Linlin, you contacted me, are you planning to join forces to fight against Su Yang? Advertisement. 230 Kaido's handwriting. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Kaido, what happened on my side, now that you know? Then you should also be clear about what it means for Su Yang and the others to enter the new world. Our next move is not only to be fast, but also to put the elite power in our hands together. Spread apart, he will only be destroyed one by one. It's just like, in the Valley of the Gods. Advertisement. Hearing that Kaido already knew what was happening on his side, Charlotte Linlin went straight to the point and said her thoughts. Hearing Charlotte Linlin mentioning the battle in the Valley of the Gods, Kaido on the other end of the phone line 10 also had a gloomy face and gulped down a gourd of wine. Back then, in the Valley of the Gods, if the cadres of Rock's pirate hadn't spread out, and even had quarrels with each other, how could Garp and Roger join forces to overthrow them one after another? At the moment, Su Yang is like Garp and Roger who had already teamed up at that time, and he has already suffered a loss, so naturally he will not give Su Yang and them another chance to attack. The thing about the Valley of God, I will not prepare to experience it a second time. Linlin, I will let the 3 disasters take the 6 sons of the Valley to Val Island. The next action, let the juniors discuss it, and the land that is conquered will be 5 or 5 points according to the previous agreement. Advertisement. After pondering for a while, Kaido also spoke to Charlotte Linlin. As for the Val Island he mentioned, it was the island closest to the Big Mom pirates after their beasts pirates swallowed and expanded during this period of time. When Charlotte Linlin heard that Kaido would send all the 3 disasters and the 6 sons of the sky, she was quite amazed at his handwriting, and at the same time, she was even more frightened by Su Yang's strength. Even to make Kaido take this seriously. There were thousands of thoughts in her heart, but Charlotte Linlin's face didn't change, she even put on her usual smile and said. Kaido, since you dispatched all 3 disasters at the same time, then I can't be stingy. I'll send my dessert 4 stars and a few knights to Val Island to join them. When Katakuri took the lead in reporting to Charlotte Linlin what happened to Daifuku and the others on the Fishman Island, he also awakened the Daifuku fruit, and mentioned it in Perospero as the stars. Charlotte Linlin listened. Advertisement. Therefore, when Charlotte Linlin was discussing with Kaido, she was also talking about the dessert star. After all, in front of pirate allies, you can't weaken your own limelight. In this way, after the 2 giants with ulterior motives agreed on everything, they hung up the phone and began to arrange 523 to cooperate to search the Whitebeard pirates' site. On that day, Kaido Beast's pirates, the 3 generals and the 6 sons of the Valley, who originally scattered to search the territory, all converged toward Val Island. In the same way, the Big Mom pirates also sent Perospero, Katakuri, Daifuku, and Owen, along with a few knights, and drove towards Val Island. And the Big Mom pirates went to search the Whitebeard site before, and the various fleets of the fleet formed. Except for the dessert, Smudge, the star will rush to Val Island with his fleet, and the rest of the ministers also quickly return to the world to avoid the edge for the time being. Advertisement. 231 new members, Aizen Sosuke. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Above the sea, because Su Yang and the others entered the new world, a huge wave was once again set off. At this time, Su Yang's group had also finished resting on the Fishman Island, and were ready to continue their journey towards New World. Of course, because this time to enter the new world, it is Su Yang and the others who are going to compete with Kaido, Charlotte Linlin and the others. So this time, Su Yong did not bring Shaoxing and Shirahoshi with him. Instead, they were left on the Fishmen Island, and Jinbei led the Sun Pirates to sit on the Fishmen Island. In this way, Su Yong set off with the Dimensional Pirates. After the Shira floated back to the surface from the deep sea, Su Yong stretched his waist and opened the panel of the system. Host. Su Yong. Binding. Dimensional Pirates. Advertisement. Abilities. Tough Body, Armament Hockey, Observation Hockey, Conqueror's Hockey. Special Abilities. Wood Style Awakened, Sage of Six Paths Body, 8 Inner Gates Modified version 58%, with the increase of unlocking degree, use will reduce body loss, 100% will have no damage, the final gate opening fixed consumption its own physical strength will not consume vitality. Note. The damaged body will appear after a day. Summoning value. 0/100ths, dropped by random people or things encountered in host. Summoned characters. Uchiha Madara, 59%, Diablo, 50%, Ace Kano, 52%, Tornado. 45%, Giorno Chopper, 40%, Acronia, 39%, Rem, 35%, Ram, 35%, Mewtwo, 37%, unlock progress and in terms of moves, the unlocking progress reaches 60 to reach the peak strength of the original world. If the unlocking progress reaches 60, the summoned character will surpass the peak strength of the original world. The unlocking degree is related to several events. Elevate yourself. Binding item. Shira, Warehouse. Summoning Fragments X1. Su Yong glanced at it roughly, and sure enough, Mewtwo and Acronia, who had previously played the new Murloc Pirates, had a slight increase in their unlocking degrees. Sure enough, only fighting can unlock the unlocking degree faster. Advertisement. After Su Yong sighed in his heart, he also put his eyes on the column of the warehouse. System. Use Summoning Fragments. Ding. Are you sure to use Summoning Fragments? Yes. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully trying it out and getting 100 summoning points. Close black lens bracket. System. Summon. Ding. Command received. Calling. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Summoned successfully. Consumes 100 summoning points. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Congratulations to the host for getting Aizen Sosuke from Shinigami. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Backquote Hi. Gote 13 5th Division Captain Aizen. This time, he summoned an amazing character. 35. However, with him in the team at this time, not only will there be a strong player who can be used as a whole card. In the future, there will be another guy who can help with the staff. This wave is not bad. Seeing the notification from the system, Li Lihao, Su Yong gasped for a moment, and muttered softly. Just as Su Yong murmured in a low voice, a white light came out of his body and fell to the side. In the blink of an eye, the white light gradually transformed into a human form. When everyone around the deck saw this scene, they all understood that Su Yong had brought new people over for them at this time. Unable to help, they also put down the things at hand and prepared to see what kind of character the newcomer should be this time. Advertisement. 242 Diablo's Hostility. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The light group was transformed, and the appearance of Aizen Sosuke was quickly drawn up. After the white light body was completely condensed and formed, it split apart at a speed visible to the naked eye, and fell to the ground piece by piece. Suddenly, a tall and straight man with short brown hair, brown eyes, black-rimmed glasses, a black suit, a white coat, and a samurai sword on his waist appeared in front of everyone. This man has a gentle expression, warm eyes, and from a distance, he has a refined temperament, just like a scholar. However, in the perception of Su Yong, Uchiha Madara, Diablo and others, this gentle and jade-like man has a terrifying energy that is like a volcano ready to explode, waiting for a vigorous eruption. Aizen Sosuke 523 opened his eyes, and after seeing Su Yong, a gentle smile appeared on his face. When he came to Su Yong, he bowed 90 degrees and bowed deeply, and then said to Su Yong. Presumably your excellency is Su Yong. 99. Advertisement. That, the one who summoned me to this world. Before this, the guide had told me everything, and he said that only you can make me truly free. Aizen Sosuke offers you my loyalty and thank you for letting me out of that world. 35. After speaking, without waiting for Su Yong to react, he also turned to look at Uchiha Madara, Diablo, Ace Kano and others. Then he bowed slightly and bowed to everyone, and said. You must be like me, strong men from other worlds. Hello everyone, I'm under Aizen Sosuke, please give me more advice in the future. A think tank is a think tank, and if you don't make a move, you will startle everyone on the boat as soon as you make a move. Advertisement. Looking at the information that the newcomer Aizen Wuyusuke had instilled in his mind when he was summoned, he had already judged so much information, and even after waking up, he appeared to be at ease. As the first summoned Uchiha Madara, he couldn't help but slapped his mouth, gave Aizen Sosuke a deep look, and sighed. Tisk. This newcomer, it's not easy. Diablo, here comes the one who is fighting for your life and favor. 35. Saying that, he also touched Diablo with his shoulder, and secretly adjusted the relationship between him and Aizen Sosuke. After all, Uchiha Madara remembers it very well. Before, when Su Yong summoned Diablo, the first sentence Diablo said was to be loyal to Su Yong. Aizen Sosuke said the same at the moment, but he wanted to compete with Diablo for Su Yang's dogleg competitor. Diablo next to Uchiha Madara listened to the guy next to him and looked at Aizen Sosuke deeply. Advertisement. Has great strength. Have a loyalty that is not lost to yourself. He even has quite the IQ. As soon as he came up, he threatened to give all his loyalty to Su Yang. Kindness. Truly a formidable foe. After all, only the enemy knows him best, and after being provoked by Uchiha Madara, Diablo did come to a similar conclusion after comparing Aizen Sosuke with himself. Involuntarily, it made Diablo's heart a little heavier, and when he looked at Aizen Sosuke again, there was a little more murderous intent. Advertisement. 243 Good news again and again. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Aizen Sosuke is a formidable enemy to Diablo, the demon lord who led his younger brother to kill the demon lord of the demon realm in order to be summoned. As the biggest boss in the Shinigami world, Aizen Sosuke, who controls Soul Society, is full of insight and naturally takes Diablo's demeanor into his eyes. Of course, he had also seen a guy with such a character during his years in Soul Society, so he ignored it. After all, summer bugs can't be shy, everyone's pursuits are different, why bother? This is his greatest pride, the mastermind behind the manipulation of Soul Society with his IQ. Diablo's hostility towards Aizen Sosuke was not only perceived by Aizen Sosuke, but also by Su Yang. After shaking his head with a headache, he said to Aizen Sosuke as always. Advertisement. Anyway, that's what I said, Aizen Sosuke, welcome to this world. Come on, let me introduce you to the members of our pirates. This is Uchiha Madara, this is Diablo, this is Ace Kano. After saying each of his signature welcome words, Su Yang also began to introduce every crew on the ship to Aizen Sosuke. And Aizen Sosuke also put on his gentle appearance and greeted everyone one by one. What surprised everyone was that Aizen Sosuke, after a series of greetings, actually chatted with Chao Meng very much. However, Su Yang was not surprised at all. After all, these two are scientific madmen with high IQs. Advertisement. Although the research direction is not so consistent, but the heart that loves to study is the same sincere. So, for the next few days, Aizen Sosuke spent most of his time with Mewtwo, discussing various matters that people on the ship couldn't quite understand. At the same time, Su Yang and the others haven't been idle much these days. Almost according to the island that originally belonged to the Whitebeard pirates, they fought one by one. Except for some guys who don't wink and don't know whether to live or die, basically Su Yang and the dimensional pirates can take down the island without a fight. Of course, there was naturally a part of the power that Diablo contributed. Oh, seeking flowers. In the past few days, he almost didn't care much about going up to fight with the opponent Uchiha Madara. Advertisement. Now almost every island Su Yang and the others go to, Diablo is the first to wash up on the island. Several times, before the ship had docked, and even just saw the edge of the island, Diablo suddenly flapped his demon wings and flew towards the island. As soon as the Shira docked, the island's king or leader, almost all suppressed by Diablo, knelt down on the island's pier or beside the beach, waiting for Su Yang and the others to arrive. At this time, he hit the muzzle of the gun, was unwilling to surrender to the dimensional pirates, and even uttered mad words. Almost all of them were taken out of the heart by Diablo and piled up into a mountain of corpses, and then he summoned a fire directly. Burned. In the end, there is a situation where there are no bones left. In this way, the Shira made great progress all the way, and it was like a destructive force, and it took back the old sites that belonged to the Whitebeard pirates one by one. Until one afternoon, Mewtwo came to find Su Yang and proposed to him to leave the ship for a while. Advertisement. 244 Mewtwo's disembarkation application. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. What the hell, you're going to be off the ship for a while. Su Yang was slightly taken aback when he heard Cheomeng's words, and then he opened his mouth and confirmed to Cheomeng. Yes, Captain Su Yang. 35. Since Mr. Aizen was summoned, our interaction with each other has helped me tremendously with my research. 35. The original problem of insufficient energy has been solved by Mr. Aizen for me. But my research is now stuck in a bottleneck according to May 23rd. After hearing Su Yang's question, Mewtwo also told Su Yang one of the reasons why he got up and prepared to leave the ship. Oh, it's actually at a bottleneck again. Blue blue blue. Just when Chao Meng was thinking about it, Su Yang had already hung up the phone, and turned around and said to him. Advertisement. This time, what kind of problems have arisen and need to be overcome? Iron suit is every man's dream. The design drawing is fine. As for the place you just said, you need to be able to support you to build the mecha, but I know a good place. 99. Seeing that the call was connected, Su Yang also opened his mouth to report his home, and explained to Sabo why he had made the call. Watching Su Yang on the phone with people, Cheomeng listening to her heart is also extremely complicated. 0. The eternal pointer that records the location of the island, I have asked the Revolutionary Army to send it over the past 2 days. Chao Meng shook his head when he heard the words, the expression on his face was a bit more of a wry smile, and only listened to him slowly opening the mouth. The equipment on the ship can no longer meet my needs. There's something I want to ask you about. When the record pointer arrives, you can go anytime. Advertisement. Mewtwo, you know, Wabo alloy. Okay, I see. Even though he already has the body of a fairy at this time, he doesn't need it at all, and even has some disdain for the mecha, but it does not mean that his love for the mecha and the steel battle suit has ended. Su Yong immediately agreed to Mewtwo's request, took out a phone bug from Kabuto, and dialed it after pressing a series of buttons. Soon, the phone bug was picked up, and the appearance of Sabo, Chief of Staff of the Revolutionary Army, also appeared on the phone bug's face. Which material layer thought, the moment Xiao Mengzai proposed it, Su Yong agreed. Gaga, Moses, I'm Sabo. That's why I want to take Anna and Emily out of the ship for a while. It's not that there is a problem with the design of the steel suit. I know you Revolutionary Army, know the location of Vegapunk's hometown. Advertisement. It's a mech after all. And now he will even help himself to find a suitable place for himself. By the way, I have a very good recommendation for the materials for making battle suits. Hearing Cheomeng's words, Su Yong instantly understood, and even after digesting the news, his heart was even more ecstatic. Blue. Wait a moment, I'll call and ask for the exact address. Sabo, I'm Su Yong. After that, you worked hard for the crow to deliver the eternal pointer with the coordinates of the island to 4.6. He originally thought that his application for disembarkation would not be approved by Su Yong. I approve your request to leave the ship. Su Yong listened to what Xiao Meng said, and looked at him quite curiously, and asked him. Advertisement. 245 Black Dragon's Choice. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Wabo alloy. I'm not quite sure about this, is there anything special about it? Hearing the material mentioned by Su Yong, Xiao Meng shook his head and said. This kind of wave alloy was accidentally made by the original Drum Country King, Tun Demon Fruit Power Wapple. That's a memory metal that repairs itself when it's broken. And the hardness and reliability of this alloy surpasses that of ordinary steel, and it may be helpful for you to make battle suits. When you get to that winter island, you might as well try it out. Advertisement. 10 Seeing Cheomeng shaking his head, Su Yong also explained to him. After all, in the original book, General Frankie created by Frankie was made of Wabo metal. According to Su Yong, if this kind of Wabo metal is used to make a steel battle suit, the performance of the battle suit should be even better. After listening to Su Yong, Xiao Meng nodded and silently wrote down the name of this metal. When it comes to the efficiency of the Revolutionary Army, it is really fast. Su Yong just made contact with Sabo using the phone bug, and someone sent him the record pointer early the next morning. After getting the record pointer, Su Yong handed it over to Mewtwo, and told everyone in the pirates that Mewtwo, Anna, and Emily would leave the ship for a while. Stinky cat, I'll go with you this time. The main thing is that you go to that slope island this time, and take Anna and Emily with you. 35. Advertisement. The two of them are not like you, they have some strength to protect themselves. 35. If I go with you, if you encounter any strong enemies, you only need to protect them, and the enemies can be handed over to me to solve them. 35. Like the last time, Acronia also opened his mouth to express his intention to go with this Mewtwo. And the reason he gave this time was also very strong. To protect Anna and Emily, two helpless crew members. After this time together, although Anna and Emily's position on the ship was a handyman. But everyone on the boat has long regarded them as their companions and family. Therefore, even Mewtwo couldn't find any reason to refute this idea after Acronia proposed it. Then Mewtwo looked at Acronia, nodded slightly, and agreed. Advertisement. So, under the watch of everyone in the Dimension Pirates, Mewtwo, Acronia left the Shira with Anna and Emily and went to Vegapunk's hometown. However, because of Acronoria's special, Halo, characteristics of all means of transportation, in order to take care of his situation, the group of them did not take any means of transportation. 523 On the contrary, Acronia turned herself into the body of a giant dragon, carrying Anna and Emily on her back and flying in the sky. And Mewtwo, naturally, will not be allowed by Acronia to be on his back like Anna and the two girls. Therefore, he can only use the superpower in his body to wrap his body, and control his own body, floating next to Acronia and following closely. The opposite is the opposite. When the two of them started to fly, as if there was some kind of competition, they began to compete for the speed of flight. It's just that the group of four who were on their way at this time did not realize that an accident was hitting them. Advertisement. 246 Encounter with Kaido. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. It continued to fly in the air for about 4 hours, and it was almost noon. The gradually rising temperature and the state of blowing in the air for a long time made Anna and Emily unable to bear it. So the two girls worked together to dissuade Acronia and Mewtwo from the speed competition, and suggested that they hope to take a break on the island in front. Although this road is not a difficult task for Acronia, who has incarnated into the body of a giant dragon. Thinking that Anna and Emily are both ordinary human beings, they can't stand it. Therefore, Acronia and Mewtwo didn't object, they stopped the speed of each other, and landed on an uninhabited island not far away. After finally arriving on the island, Anna and Emily started simple camping and grooming. Mewtwo went to the woods to find some coconuts and wild fruits, and Acronia also went into the sea and caught the very large sea kings. Advertisement. The four of them were eating barbecue, drinking coconut water, and eating wild fruits. Just as everyone was enjoying their meal, Acronia and Xiao Meng suddenly stood up and looked at the top of their heads with solemn expressions. Boom. Just when Anna and Emily were still a little bit confused, a huge sound of breaking air came from the sky above their heads. When Anna and Emily looked up, it turned out to be a black shadow, falling rapidly from small to large, from far to near. Boom. With a loud noise, the black shadow fell on the ground not far from their camp at a speed visible to the naked eye. Because this black shadow fell on the junction of the beach and the land, the moment it fell, a huge smoke and dust mist was raised, covering its figure. Advertisement. At this time, the gloomy faces of Acronia and Mewtwo were staring at the smoke and dust, while protecting Anna and Emily behind them. Looking at Acronia and Mewtwo's vigilant expressions, and the move to protect the two of them behind her, Anna murmured involuntarily, "Lord Mewtwo. Akunaro Lord Leah." Boom, 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 boom. Just as Anna's voice fell, a series of heavy footsteps came from the dusty fog. A broad, tall, and robust figure appeared in the fog. Soon, the shadow came out of the dust, revealing Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, his true appearance. After clearly seeing the figure falling from the sky in front of them, it turned out to be Kaido, one of their own pirates, and Anna and Emily covered their mouths in horror. Oh, I didn't expect to jump off the Sky Island, and there is such a small surprise. Advertisement. Hey, if I remember correctly, you two are the crew of that bastard Su Yong. Your dimensional pirates have killed so many of me, and Lousy killed a few of you today, and it's counted as getting some interest back for Jack and the others. 99. Kaido carried his Li Lahao mace, looked at Acronia and Mewtwo who looked at him with a wary expression not far away, and after thinking for a while, pointed at them with one hand, and said they muttered. Listening to what Kaido said, Acronia and Mewtwo also knew that this wave of encounters was happening, so why couldn't they have a fight? So, Acronia took the lead in turning her head and said to Mewtwo next to her. Stinky cat, take Anna and Emily away first. I'll stop him. Advertisement. 247 Fight. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. As soon as Acronia's voice fell and Mewtwo didn't speak, Anna and Emily reacted first. They looked at Acronia with tears in their eyes, and shouted to her, Lord Acronia. Mewtwo, on the other hand, looked at Acronia with a complicated look. Although they didn't see each other in the eye before that. But in fact, in their hearts, they have long recognized each other's strength. It's just that the situation is critical at this time, and there is not much time to waste. The complex emotions in Xiao Meng's heart were fleeting, and he quickly returned to his state of rational thinking. He was clear. Advertisement. Kaido is a long-established powerhouse in the sea, the 4 emperors of the sea known as the strongest on the surface of 523. And Anna and Emily. Before the steel battle suits were developed, they who were low in strength and fought against the 5 scumbags could only be a drag if they stayed here rashly. On the contrary, Xiao Meng sent the 2 away first, and then rushed back as soon as possible. Together with Acronia, not only can we fight Kaido, but there is a chance of winning. Listening to the shouts in Anna and Emily's mouth, and feeling the gaze projected by Mewtwo, Acronia understood that Mewtwo had already understood her plan. He then grinned wildly at the corner of his mouth, turned to look at Anna and Emily, and comforted the 2 women. Before I set off, I promised Su Yong that I would protect the safety of both of you. Don't forget, I am the strongest dragon slayer in the world. 4 emperors, what can I do? This time, Mewtwo didn't talk back to Acronia as usual, but stretched out his right hand and summoned his huge spoon. Advertisement. The powerful thought force exploded in an instant, turning into 3 blue lights, wrapping Xiao Meng's body as well as Emily and Anna. I'll get them back as soon as I get them to safety. Stinky lizard, don't lose until I come here. Otherwise, I could laugh at you for a year. Although I didn't raise the bar at the right time to interrupt Acronia's pretending, but after doing all this, Mewtwo still teased him. As soon as the voice fell, regardless of the slightly changed expression of Acronia, Xiao Meng no longer delayed, and directly manipulated the power of the mind to wrap the 2 girls, Anna and Emily, and blasted away in the direction of the sea. Just as Mewtwo had just set off, Kaido was already rushing towards him in great strides. Seeing that they were about to run away, they were furious. Humph. Did Lousy let you go? Thundering 8 trigrams. Just listening to Kaido snorted coldly, while drinking loudly, he also waved his mace in the direction of Mewtwo. Advertisement. Woo. The huge mace cut through the air, causing a huge roar. Hey, they want to leave, but you can't stop them. Just when Kaido's mace was about to hit the 3 of Cheomung, only a light laughter sounded. At the same time, Acronia's body turned into a black shadow, intercepting the 3 of them before the mace and Mewtwo. The iron fist of the black dragon. With the loud shout of Acronia, his fist, which was wrapped in dark black terrifying energy, smashed heavily on the mace. Boom. 99. A roaring explosion sounded from where the fist made contact with the mace. The huge wind and waves generated by the explosion immediately swept up the sea sand that had been accumulated on the beach for a long time, and the large swaths of sand and dust turned into a pervasive sand mist, covering all the figures of Kaido, Acronia, and Mewtwo. Advertisement. 248 Black Dragon Battle Kaido. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Woo, woo, woo. In the blink of an eye, the 3 figures swept out of the dust mist generated by the explosion, and continued to fly towards the sea at an extremely fast speed. Obviously, Kaido's blow was blocked by Acronia, and the 3 of Mewtwo got out of the fight smoothly. Damn. Looking at the backs of the 3 of Mewtwo riding away, Kaido was furious in his heart, cursing in his mouth, and immediately prepared to throw his mace at Mewtwo. Armed color. As if he had a heart-to-heart, at the moment when the power of the black dragon in Acronia's right arm was accumulated, Kaido roared, waving the huge mace in his hand and smashing it again. When. Thunder 8 trigrams. 35. Since you let them run away, then you leave lousy a little life. Advertisement. Before he threw the mace out of his hand, he heard Acronia exclaimed. Black Dragon's collapse fist. Cut. I told you just now that you can't keep anyone's life today. After another violent collision, Kaido sipped from his mouth, activating the armament haki within him. Immediately, the observation haki in Kaido gave him an early warning. As a result, the mace that he was about to throw away was also retracted at the right time, and with a flick of his wrist, it blocked the path of the elbow attack of Acronia. The beach where Acronia and Kaido were standing before was turned into a vacuum under the collision of this nuclear explosion-like energy, forming a large circular crater about 30 meters in length. Boom, 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 boom. After a short while, the endless fighting gradually made Kaido get angry. With two loud shouts, the black iron-colored luster mace collided with the dragon scale fist filled with the power of a dark black dragon. Advertisement. 0 for flowers. The energy of the strong collision devours everything around it. Armament haki followed Kaido's wrist, and instantly wrapped around the mace. He knew that the guy in front of him was going to make a big move. Small and tight black scales gradually covered Acronia's body with lightning speed. The elbow of the black dragon. And Acronia, who was fighting with her, shuddered when she heard Kaido's words. With this loud shout, the elbow full of the power of the dark dragon smashed towards Kaido's stinky face under the cover of sand and dust. Dragonization. And the strong air wave formed by the explosion also swept everything around in an instant, spreading overwhelmingly towards the surroundings. Advertisement. Ding, 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 ding. However, Kaido's movements had already been predicted by Acronia. Boom. The roaring explosion sounded incessantly, and every collision between Acronia's fist and Kaido's mace would produce a huge sonic boom. At the same time as his body was transformed into a dragon, the power of the dark black dragon also began to accumulate in his right arm. A huge roar suddenly sounded, and a strong light bloomed at the place where the two met. For a while, two figures, one big and one small, in Sagiri began to stalemate. Several tall coconut trees that have been rooted around for a long time were all uprooted in this strong storm, and were thrown to the sea and woods farther away. As Acronia spoke, her body also acted decisively to mobilize the boiling magic power, and cast the mysterious body of dragon-slaying magic into a dragon. Advertisement. 249 We are the Dimensional Pirates. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Boom. The two girls, Anna and Emily, were flying fast with the super dream psyche wrapped around them. Just when they were about 2 or 3 kilometers away from the small island they had stopped before, a thunderous roar came from behind them. Hearing the roaring sound in their ears, Anna and Emily turned around and were shocked. I saw that at the edge of the small island before, a huge mushroom cloud rose up. In the middle part of the mushroom cloud, 523, there is an extremely dazzling light group shining in it. Meower-sama, is that the movement of Acronia-sama fighting Kaido? Anna looked worried and asked Xiao Meng who was beside her. Advertisement. The huge movement from the rear was naturally captured by Chaomeng. Seeing the worried expressions of Anna and Emily, Xiao Meng first nodded, then gave them a reassuring look, and explained to them in a rather gentle tone. Although that stupid lizard has not fully recovered due to his fitness for the laws of this world. 35. But that doesn't mean he is strong at this time, and he doesn't have the power to fight Kaido. As soon as Mewtwo's words came out, Anna and Emily's eyes lit up. After this period of time together, Xiao Meng's profound knowledge and wise mind have already convinced the two of them. Therefore, his words made Emily and Anna quite convinced. Hehe, Mewtwo-sama, doesn't that mean that Acronia-sama is not in danger now? Immediately, Emily confirmed to Mewtwo with a smile on her face. Of course there is no danger to life. Advertisement. Based on the analysis of the battle data I've collected these days, the stinky lizard and Kaido should be on a par. The two of them can't tell the difference for a while, and it's endurance that fights in the end. Xiao Meng heard the words and continued to nod, and while giving Emily a positive answer, he also expressed his own analysis. Then, Acronia-sama asked Mewtwo to lead us first, also to prevent us from being affected by the aftermath of the battle. 5. When Anna heard this, she also asked Xiao Meng a question. That's just one of the reasons. The answer Mewtwo gave this time instantly aroused the curiosity of Anna and Emily. 0. Seeing the eyes of the two girls, full of curiosity, Xiao Meng also explained to them patiently. Isn't it on the ship now, with the protection of Shira and others? If you stay on the island, I will need to protect your safety all the time, and the damage I can cause to Kaido is limited. Advertisement. And I will take you out first, settle you in a safe place, and then quickly turn back. That way, I can free up my hands and teach Kaido a lesson with that stupid lizard. 99. After all, we are the Dimensional Pirates. When Xiao Meng said the last sentence, the aura that belonged to the divine beast on his body 4.6 broke out unconsciously. Yes, he is a dream. In order to surpass the dream, the Rockets specially created the Mewtwo for combat. And the pirate group he and Acronia, Anna, and Emily belong to are the Dimensional Pirates. How can the people of their Dimensional Pirates be just a mere Kaido that the 4 emperors can bully? Advertisement. 250 Crash. Conquerors and Dragon Power. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. There are 2 flowers, one on each side. While Mewtwo is at sea, Hockey talks to Anna and Emily, and the collision of energy on the island gradually ends. The flying dust gradually fell from the air to the ground. And along with the edges of the collision and friction between the two momentums, there are countless tiny electric currents intertwined with the sound of birdsong. As Mewtwo had expected, the collision of the two just attacked did not hurt each other. This time, it was as if the referee blew the opening whistle on the field, and the long-stored dam opened the floodgates. I saw Kaido's broad and majestic chest rise and fall greatly, and his nostrils the size of a cow's nose suddenly fanned out. A gust of breeze blew slowly, bringing along a few fallen leaves that had just been blown to the ground by the aftermath of the battle between the two. Advertisement. And above Acnororia's head, there seemed to be a tyrannical black dragon hovering in the void at this time. A pair of originally sturdy and very linear arms have now been covered with dense black scales. Under the sunlight, they are restrained and dangerous. 10 and Acronia was panting. On one side is the supreme pressure of the divine dragon, who was dazzled by the world and nurtured by the body of the ancient black dragon. And Acronia and Kaido are not good people, they are standing at each other at this time, and their eyes are full of killing intent. The collision of the two momentums once again brought unparalleled damage to this small island. Under the sun, the mace in his hand glowed with a metallic luster of black iron color, which was extremely fierce. PFF'd. With the gradual spread and expansion of these two momentum battlefields, in just a moment of effort, the entire island was basically shrouded in these two momentums. Puff, puff. Advertisement. Long way. The Acronia and Kaido, who had just made a duel, have also moved to the land of the island. Two powerful and domineering auras collided in the void, producing a powerful vibration and blasting sound. As if they got some signal, Kaido and Acronia acted at the same time. The 523 creatures that originally lived here on the island, at this time, all fainted on the ground, or crawled on all fours, expressing surrender and worship to the owner of these two imposing manners. This time is a competition of wills, a collision of backgrounds. The swept-up air wave was like a destructive force, and with the two people as the center, the land and trees within a diameter of 50 meters would rise from the ground. After a moment of effort, there was a small beast whose physical strength was not strong enough and fainted, unable to withstand the collision of the two momentums, and its body exploded like fireworks. On one side is Conqueror's Hockey, who has been bred for many years and covers the will of Kaido's, strongest on the surface, hegemony. Advertisement. As the two of them burst out drinking at the same time, two terrifying and domineering auras burst out of their bodies and rose into the sky. Against the backdrop of Conqueror's Hockey, Kaido looks like a terrifying monster, projecting the void. Puff, puff, puff. Woo. It's just that the rise and fall of the chest is not as exaggerated as Kaido. Under the collision of the two energies, the huge deep pit that was created was also poured into the sea from the sea at this moment. Conquerors. The animal bodies on the island began to burst one by one, adding a bit of bloody and wild meaning to the entire island. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Boom. Advertisement. 1117WB. 251.0. You are the only one who can transform into a dragon. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Watching Acronia confront the Conqueror's Hockey chamber, he unleashed with a power he had never seen before. Kaido suddenly felt a love for talent in his heart. He couldn't help laughing and threw an olive branch to Acronia. Ha 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 ha. As the black dragon Acronia. It can have such power. 55. How? Do you want to come to Laozi's ship? I will let you be the first of the three plagues, or the deputy captain of the beast's pirates can do it for you. And after hearing this, Acronia couldn't help but cast Kaido a mentally retarded look. Kaido. What ran to marine headquarters to provoke? What jumped a volcano and bathed in lava? What jumped down from Sky Island, changed tricks to death, committed suicide? Advertisement. It's just. The answers he got in this way made Kaido even more furious. From this point of view, there must be something seriously wrong with this guy's brain, so he should stay away. This guy, let alone getting on his ship, even if the battle with him has to end quickly, if he is infected, how can he still be on the ship? Zone katakana middle dot fish fruit katakana middle dot evil animal species katakana middle dot blue dragon form. 4 emperors in the sea, the strongest on the surface. He had already fought him to death here, yet he still wanted to recruit him. In the fog, Kaido's body began to gradually elongate, become larger, and thicker, and at the same time, blue scales began to cover his back. A large number of weapons appeared from Kaido's body, covering his already burly and huge body. In a moment, with a huge dragon-like roar, a huge figure rose up from the fog and floated in the air. I remembered. Roar. Advertisement. 66 Tang. Although Acronia didn't take his words, she directly told him whether to agree or refuse. At the same time as a roar, Kaido also mobilized the power of devil fruit in his body and began to transform into a beast. Is there something wrong with this guy's brain? As soon as the voice fell, Acronia also snorted softly, Dragon Slayer Magic Dragon Transformation. After Kaido threw the olive on Acronia, he had been watching Acronia's reaction. Looking at Kaido who turned into a dragon, floating in the air, looking down at him, Acronia, who folded his arms in front of his chest, pouted, and laughed softly with a look of disdain. I heard Su Yong say it before, this guy loves to die when he has nothing to do. Humph. How dare you refuse Laozi's solicitation? Advertisement. And, listen to the smelly cat, brain diseases are contagious. Right. Although Kaido was furious in his heart because of the results he analyzed, the reason for being angry because he was rejected, on the surface was still in place. Oh, isn't it just a dragon? But from the change in Acurolia's expression at this time, as well as the expression changes of, look at the fool, and, Mom won't let me play with the fool, he got the answer he wanted. Since you don't know the good and the bad, don't blame Laozi's men for being merciless. At best, he can be regarded as a reckless man, but definitely not big smart. The so-called silence is better than the sound at this time. At this time, Kaido Li Lahao has turned into a dragon with blue body, yellow belly, antlers, dragon head, and sharp teeth. Just you. Even today, this guy suddenly fell from the sky, because he jumped from Sky Island again. Advertisement. 252 Kaido you worm. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. With the light drink of Acronia, the magic power in his body also boiled instantly, spreading towards his limbs. In an instant, Acurolia's body also began to change. The arms, which were originally covered by fine and hard scales, began to swell, and the hands began to change like sharp claws. The scales that had previously covered the chest and back of the upper body also began to wrap gradually toward the lower body. Shish. A pair of huge wings also appeared out of nothing from the back of Acronia, and when it stretched, it quickly became larger with Acronolia's extremely large body. In the blink of an eye, Acronia transformed into 523, a giant dragon whose body size did not lose the form of Kaido's blue dragon. Advertisement. Of course, although both of them are dragons, there are still differences. The dragon that Kaido transformed into is a dragon that is more oriental and has a snake body as its main body. And what Acronia has transformed through dragon-slaying magic is the western giant dragon mainly in the shape of a lizard. After Kaido saw that Acronia was able to transform into a giant dragon whose size was comparable to his own, the spark that had just been extinguished in his heart was ignited again. Naturally preferring to collect and recruit all kinds of zone demon fruit power, Babe trying to build an animal world, pirate group, he was even more excited after seeing the changing dragon in Acronia at this time. He was even so excited that he subconsciously forgot that he had recruited Acronia before and was rejected by Acronia. Wow, I didn't expect you to be the demon fruit power of Zone you demons. This one that can transform into a giant dragon should be the Zone lizard fruit's mythical beast. Advertisement. Acronia, I will ask you one last time, if you are willing to be the deputy captain of my beast's pirates, then from now on, you and I will be able to cross the sea and rule the whole world. However, Kaido's solicitation this time, not only did not attract Acronia, but deeply touched the pain point of Acronia, arousing the monstrous anger in his heart. There is no reason for him. Just because Kaido saw the dark magic dragon transformed by Acronia, he even classified it as Zone's lizard fruit classification. And what Acronia hates to be told is that she transforms into a dragon like a lizard. As a result, Acronia, whose chest was filled with monstrous anger, involuntarily shouted angrily at the opening. Kaido, you worm, you dare to call me a lizard, kill me. The roar of the black dragon. Advertisement. With the roar from Acronolia's mouth, a huge magic circle appeared in Acronoria's open mouth. The powerful and dazzling magic power was condensed in Acronoria's mouth, and it was spit out after a while. Suddenly, the observation hockey in Kaido's body once again brought him an early warning. Suck. Heat breath. With Acurolia's current state, how could Kaido not see that he was really going to kill himself? Therefore, he would not sit still and wait for Acurolia to kill himself. He also sucked in his belly, and after brewing a burst of energy, he faced the attacking attack and walked away. Advertisement. 253 Why should I, the Black Dragon, give face to others? Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Boom. The huge explosion once again spread to the entire island. The strong storm caused by the roar of the Black Dragon shrouded half of the island like a blanket, and swept the flowers, plants, trees, beasts, birds, fish and insects on one side of the island into the sky. The other half of the island was shrouded in the ultra-high temperature covered by the dragon's breath. Whether it was the trees or the gravel, the 523 raging fire was ignited at this extremely high temperature, forming a sea of fire. Just the collision of this blow turned the entire island into an existence like the Ice and Fire Island, created after the battle between Aokiji and Akainu in the original book. The difference between the two is that half of this island is raging wind and half is raging fire. Advertisement. Wow, Acurolia, you dare to refuse Laozi again and again, it's shameless. Laozi tells you that next year's day will be your death anniversary, take another blow from me. Bad wind. The two breath-like attacks had just finished colliding, and Kaido, who had been brought back to a state of rage by Acunorlia, roared at Acunorlia again. At the same time, the devil fruit ability in his body was operating, and a powerful wind force was brewing in his belly, and then spit it out. Immediately, a strong and piercing airflow escaped from Kaido's mouth, and turned into a huge tornado in the air at a speed visible to the naked eye. With the naked eye, Yi saw that the mighty tornado contained countless wind blades, like the slash of the scythe, overwhelming the sky and attacking the body of the Black Dragon of Acnoria. Advertisement. Hey, I'm the Black Dragon Acunoria of the Dimension Pirates. Besides the head of the group, Su Yong, why should I give any face to anyone else? Kaido bugs are ridiculous. The roar of the Black Dragon. Acurolia heard Kaido's angry words, and even more did not give him face and turned back the words, and at the same time, he shouted. The shining magic circle reappeared in the mouth of Acnoria's blood basin, and powerful magic was brewing from it. Woo! Between the electric light and flint, the black dragon roared rapidly, with a terrifying aura attached, spewed out from the mouth of Acnorilia, and headed towards the incoming storm with lightning speed. Advertisement. The so-called 1 power down 10 meetings. The roar of the black dragon and the bad wind storm meet unexpectedly. In the blink of an eye, the energy of the black dragon's roar shot straight through the swept storm, destroying the originally terrifying storm. It's just. This time the bad wind collided with the energy of the black dragon's roar, making the island, which had already become extremely fragile, no longer able to withstand it. Just like the body of a small beast that was squeezed and burst by the collision of the two people's breaths before, the entire island was also torn apart by the aftermath of the two people's attack, turning into pieces of different sizes, gradually sink to the bottom of the sea. The island is unsurprisingly destroyed, while the battle between Kaido and Acronia continues and grows more stalemate. Advertisement. Chapter 254 The Power of Secrets. Different Spaces. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. As Kaido's battle with Acnorilia escalated, so did their battle. This also makes Mewtwo have to take Anna and Emily, and dodge a little more distance than originally planned. Secret Power. Xiao Meng held this huge spoon and drank it lightly in his mouth, while hitting the seabed sand pile in front of him. Strange forces followed the top of the huge spoon in Xiao Meng's hand and scattered towards the inside of the seabed sand pile. At 10 o'clock, a space node of a different dimension was opened by it. And under the blessing of the wonderful power input before Cheomung, the space nodes that appeared here were quickly widened and expanded. In a moment of effort, an independent and empty space was expanded. After completing all of this and confirming that the space barriers in the entire different dimensional space have been completely firmed, Xiao Meng controlled the power of thought and entered the space with Anna and Emily. Advertisement. This is a different space created by me using the power of secrets. It is a space independent of the whole world, you will be safer here. 35. After recovering the mind power wrapped in Anna and Emily, Xiao Meng also introduced to the two. Alien space. Wow, Mr. Cheomung is amazing. Finally got out of the floating state, and after regaining a down-to-earth feeling, Anna looked at the wonderful space around her and couldn't help but sigh. Unlike Anna, who was cheering and full of freshness and curiosity, Emily asked Mewtwo with a worried look. But, Master Xiao Meng, this place is under the deep sea. Once you come into contact with the energy from the seawater, and you are soaked in seawater for a long time, will your ability fail because of this? Advertisement. Hearing Emily's words, Anna, who was still very curious, also instantly realized the problem, and her face suddenly became extremely frightened, as if thinking of some terrifying picture. Seeing the two of them react like this, Xiao Meng smiled involuntarily. He knew in his heart that even though Emily and the others had been in contact with the people of their dimensional pirates for a long time, they even knew that the people on board were basically from other worlds. But from time to time, they will still be limited by the limitations of this world's power system. For example, the secret power that he uses is obviously the power of the Pokemon world. But Emily would subconsciously think about Devil Fruit's ability. So, Mewtwo also explained to Emily. The power of secrets will not be weakened by the erosion of the sea. And the reason why I opened up this alien space on the bottom of the sea is to use the seawater to block the spread of Devil Fruit's ability. Advertisement. After all, as far as I know, this world still has the Devil Fruit ability that touches the power of space. When 523 heard Mewtwo's explanation, Emily and Anna also showed a hint of understanding, and the originally worried and frightened expressions also eased. Then you can do something to eat, drink, or get out your sleeping bag and rest here for a while. I have already set a space anchor here just now, and I can find you at any time. After I go out for a while, I will use the power of secrets to seal this place again. 35. So you don't have to worry that there will be seawater pouring in here. After seeing them better, Xiao Meng did not forget the previous plan. After explaining the last few words to the two women, he waved the spoon in his hand lightly, and stepped out of the space. Advertisement. 255 Mewtwo's full of fighting spirit. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. It was different from the rapid rush that took Anna and Emily with her mind power just now. The way Cheomung rushed back to the island this time was much more high-end than before. Teleport. Shoo. With a thought of Xiao Meng, his body appeared less than 20 kilometers away from the island. Just before the rapid attack, Mewtwo had already put down a few space anchors on the way, so that he could use teleportation moves to teleport in space. Advertisement. Another thought, Xiao Meng disappeared and reappeared. This time, he has come to a location 3 kilometers away from the island. Boom, boom, crack, crack, crack. At this time, Cheomung couldn't see any traces of the island before, except for the turbulent sea surface that formed a huge vortex. There was only the overhead of lightning and thunder. Even through the thick clouds, Xiao Meng can still see the two behemoths fighting in the clouds. Kaido and Acronia. Their huge bodies are intertwined and fought in the clouds, and every collision will bring about a commotion of lightning and thunder. If ordinary people watch it here, they will only experience the terrifying coercion that is like divine punishment. Advertisement. In Cheomung's eyes, this scene was like a flame, igniting his long-depleted heart. In the world of Pokemon, there are not many Pokemon that can be his opponents. Those first-level gods and second-level gods are either sleeping or fulfilling the responsibilities entrusted to them by their respective gods, and they basically have no time and effort to fight against him. And those champion trainers who have cultivated the power of Pokemon close to the god level, each has a different, divine vocation, of mythical beasts to pay attention to. Coupled with his every move, he was constantly being watched by that little thing in the dream. Whenever he is itchy and wants to go to those Pokemon trainers for a duel, the dream will appear at the right time, preventing himself from using his full strength, so he can't enjoy it every time. Now that he came to this world, Xiao Meng not only saw a different power system, but also saw many human beings from different worlds and masters of various extraordinary powers on the ship. For a period of time before, Xiao Meng was doing scientific research work according to the ideas given by Su Yong, while trying his best to adapt to the power of the laws of this world, in order to restore his strength as soon as possible. And the usual speed of adaptation is too slow and gentle, even a temperament like Xiao Meng can't stand it. Advertisement. Therefore, he became more and more aware that Uchiha Madara, Diablo, Ace Kano, and Tornado, all of them, were all in a state of fighting frenzy looking forward to fighting. After all, no one with extraordinary power, who could have been above the world, could tolerate the weakness of his own power. While Mewtwo was thinking in his heart, the look in Kaido's eyes became more and more full of fighting intent. He has endured Lee's good for too long. Whether it is the previous Pokemon world or the one after the pirate world summoned by Su Yong. Xiao Meng is very clear in his heart that he needs a hearty battle at the moment. And now, Kaido, one of the world's top fighting forces, ranked among the New World Pirates' 4 emperors and known as the strongest on the surface, is in front of him. Then Xiao Meng does not need to be as rational as before, just need to fight hard. Advertisement. 256 Mewtwo Kaido. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Mewtwo's destruction of Death Light and Kaido's Tornado Blade, 2 energies met unexpectedly and collided in the air. Immediately, observation Haki in Kaido warned him. Damn it, I underestimated you. A moment of effort, then disappeared and dissipated, and was disintegrated by those wind blades Ling Kai. Feeling the warning from observation Haki in his body, Kaido also understood in his heart that he was underestimating Mewtwo, and while he was shouting angrily, his body twisted, the dragon claws on the dragon's body grabbed the surrounding clouds and mist, begins to rotate rapidly. As soon as Kaido's voice fell, a thick thunder and lightning roared out of his mouth along with the dragon's roar, and the target was directed at Mewtwo. Mewtwo arrived here from the momentary movement and the burst of breath was naturally perceived by Kaido. Looking at the thunder that descended from the sky with an incomparably terrifying aura, Xiao Meng did not stop his steps. Advertisement. At the same time, Mewtwo's mental power exploded, wrapping around his body, swooping away with a swoosh, and rushing towards Kaido's body. Mewtwo stared at the sky full of fighting spirit. Kaido, who turned into a dragon and swirled in the mist, pointed at him with a huge spoon in his hand, and exclaimed. Destroy the light of death. At the same time, he opened his mouth, and the energy in his body quickly condensed. Boom. 35. After penetrating Kaido's attack, Mewtwo's big light blazed towards Kaido's body at an extremely fast speed. Boom. 99. It is a pity that Mewtwo's destructive death light consumed a lot of energy when it penetrated the thunder before. It's just the skill of destroying death light. In the skill evaluation of the Pokemon world, the power value has reached 150 points. Advertisement. Roaring thunder. At the same time, countless wind blades were spit out from his mouth. With the rapid rotation of Kaido's body, a tornado appeared from his body and surrounded him. The destructive death light from Xiaomeng's mouth collided with the terrifying thunderbolt in the air, and a huge roar suddenly collided. Wow, the little mouse that just escaped not only dared to come back, but also dared to provoke Lousy. The thunder that Kaido spewed out did not cancel out Mewtwo's destructive death light, but instead was directly pierced and destroyed by him after a slight stalemate. Crack, crack, crack. When these words were blurted out, a momentum representing the identity of the Super Dream Pokemon mythical beast rose into the sky, pointing straight at the sky like a sharp sword. Advertisement. Tornado. Woo. Kaido. Even though the momentum that erupted from Xiao Meng's body should not be underestimated at this time, he still roared at Xiao Meng, who shot from bottom to top. At this time, he encountered those dense and sharp tornado blades, but failed to break through again. U-Dimension pirates really think Lousy has no temper. 99. When those sharp and dense wind blades appeared, they were pulled by the tornado around Kaido and merged with them, protecting Kaido's safety like a loyal and dangerous ninja. At this time, when he heard Xiaomeng's explosive drink, Ben 523 was scolded by Akunorlia one after another as long bugs, and the angry Kaido was even more angry in his heart. Today I will use your defeat to leave the name of my super dream in this world. Advertisement. 257 Kaido. Can't beat it, get on the buff. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Seeing that Kaido's tornado blade was neutralized, Mewtwo was not surprised by this, but the fighting intent in his eyes became even more fiery. This is the power of the strong. This is the fight he should have in his dream. It's been a long time. I haven't encountered such an exciting battle. Xiao Meng, who was extremely emotional in his heart, only felt the blood from his whole body to boil. However, just when Xiao Meng was about to continue to make moves to break those tornado blades, a roar interrupted his move. Roar. Stinky cat, come when you come, what's the matter with you robbing me? Advertisement. Roar of the Black Dragon. Following this roar of blame, a dark black dragon breath attack with a very destructive aura appeared from the other side of the sky. This dragon's breath attack appeared overwhelming, destroying the tornado blades around Kaido in a destructive manner. At the same time, a huge western dragon with supreme dragon power flashed his wings and came to Cheomong's side. Apparently, it was the black dragon, Akunorlia, who had been fighting with Kaido for a long time now. Stealing monsters. Cut. For the safety of Anna and Emily, I ran a little more distance and left you a lot of time. 35. You haven't solved the enemy for such a long time, it's your own lack of strength. Stupid lizard, where did the face come from? 35. Cheomong looked at Akunorlia, who had turned into a giant dragon and exuded a very disgusting breath in front of him. He didn't leave any virtue in his mouth, and directly replied to Akunorlia. Advertisement. As soon as Cheomong said these words, the black dragon Akunorlia was irritated enough. At that time, he wanted to use Black Dragon's Roar to kill Cheomong directly. But considering that this guy will teleport, he may not be able to kill him with one shot, but it will develop into a protracted war, which is not cost-effective, so he put out the plan to fight with force and prepared to talk back. However, before Akunorlia had time to respond, Kaido, who was attacked by him with the roar of the black dragon, immediately roared angrily. Damn, how disregarding lousy are you? Lousy is the strongest 4 emperors Kaido on the surface. 0 for flowers. At the same time Kaido roared, he got a wine gourd out of nowhere, and then threw the whole wine gourd into his mouth. As he chewed, an extremely strong aroma of wine emerged from his mouth. In front of Akunorlia and Mewtwo, Kaido swallowed the strong liquor originally contained in the wine gourd, along with the fragments of the wine gourd. Advertisement. 0. Hiccup. Destroy me all. Dragon 8 trigrams. 99. After drinking the strong drink, Kaido's face suddenly appeared red after drinking, and after hiccups in his eyes, he waved the mace in his hand and aimed at Akunorlia and Mewtwo. Rush away. It seemed that the strong drink had blessed Kaido with some indescribable buff. Both Mewtwo and Akunorlia could clearly feel that Kaido's attack was far more powerful than the previous attack. Kaido is so rushing, Mewtwo and Akunorlia can't just sit still. Million-ton kick. I only heard Cheomong shouting, and the figure flashed, and rushed towards Kaido's direction. Advertisement. 258 Take advantage of your illness and kill you. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Boom. Mewtwo's fist collided with Kaido's mace, and an explosive explosion exploded in the air. The collision of just one blow, even if Kaido has entered a state of anger and drunkenness, he will no longer underestimate Mewtwo. And Cheomong also realized how powerful Kaido, who is known as the strongest on the surface, is through the huge force feedback from his fist. Roar. Just as Kaido and Cheomong both, 540, sighed the strength of each other in their hearts, a huge roar sounded from behind Kaido. Immediately, a large mouth full of sharp fangs bit the back of Kaido's head and neck. The so-called snake hit 7 inches. Even though Kaido is already the body of a dragon at this time, the common weakness of snakes still exists in Kaido's body of a dragon. At this time, the bite of Akunorlia was exactly at the 7 inches of Kaido's dragon's body. Advertisement. This is what he discovered during his previous engagement with Kaido. Without waiting for Kaido's reaction, Mewtwo continued his beaten-down dog action. The severe pain suddenly made Kaido scream. Bang. 5. Bang. 35. Lightning fist. 0.4.6. With the explosion of Cheomong, a ray of light began to condense on his fist. 0. Roar. Damn. 35. Armed color katakana middle dot tail shot. The so-called take advantage of your illness to kill you. Advertisement. But even though Akunorlia had to bear Kaido's blow, she still bit Kaido's 7 inches, and didn't let go. Sonic fist. 35. Frozen fist. 5. Boom. In an instant, the tail covered by armament hockey turned into a long whip, whistling and slashed towards Akunorlia, who was biting at Kaido's 7 inches. Then Kaido's body twisted, and the entire body of the dragon was bent like a bow, and then it was shot again. The only thing that doesn't look good is probably the beaten Kaido, with a black face in anger. Woo. It was not until the head-to-head duel between Mewtwo and Kaido that Akunorlia found a chance. Million-ton punch. 39. It will also be accompanied by various special effects of lightning, flames, ice and snow of Farmer's 3 Fist, and the scene was once beautiful. A series of fighting skills were displayed by Mewtwo and smashed heavily on Kaido's head. Advertisement. At the same time, Kaido only felt a dizziness in his head, and his eyes even turned black for a moment. I saw his figure flashing, appearing directly above Kaido Jiaolong's head, with a fist radiating light, a punch against the huge head. While roaring in Kaido's mouth, he also mobilized armament hockey in his body, completely covering the tail of his dragon's body, glowing with a black iron luster. Flaming fist. 35. The sound of ping ping pong pong intertwined to form a strange movement. Bang. 95. The tail wrapped by armament hockey burst through the air and slapped Akunorlia heavily. Despicable guys, give lousy loose. Such a good time to beat the drowning dog, Cheomong will naturally not let it go. A dull sound came from Kaido's head. Snapped. It's just that Kaido is obviously very clear about this weakness of his own, so he has always protected it very well, and has always let Akunorlia not find a chance. Advertisement. 259 Kaido's calculation. Fate. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Anyone who was beaten by Mewtwo and Acronia will not feel good. What's more, Kaido, the most reckless man through the ages. Naturally, Acronia and Mewtwo couldn't tolerate such shameless behavior of pushing their noses and faces. However, the anger in his heart turned into anger, and Kaido also knew in his heart that he was suffering from a physical disadvantage at this time. Therefore, Kaido naturally cannot let the entire war situation continue to develop in his own unfavorable direction. At this time, this kind of battle that turned into the body of a dragon, and the black dragon Acronia, which can also be transformed into a giant dragon, originally everyone could fight evenly and evenly. He would never choose such a method that would kill him. The remaining small part was also evaded or blocked by Mewtwo with teleportation or defense. Dragon Man form. Advertisement. Super Dream itself wins with dexterity, and with a strange skill, it can be said to be elusive. After all, if he had withdrawn from the state of the dragon's body at this time, whether he was in a human state or a half-orc state, he would not have the master flying skills. Once he hastily withdraws from the state of the dragon's body, as a demon fruit power, he will definitely fall into the bottom of the sea. Wave missiles. During this period, Kaido will also fight back with the air attack of Conqueror's Haki and the wrapping of Armament Haki's tail. It is not even an exaggeration to say that he was completely pressed and beaten. Spray Flame. 35. However, the large amount of seawater still makes him unable to switch the state of Devil Fruit freely. Although he fell into the deep sea in the state of his body at the moment, he would not die directly. What's more, the attack on Dragon 8 Trigrams just now made him fully understand the impressive attack power that Xiaomeng possesses. Advertisement. In this way, the addition of Acronia and Mewtwo is completely 1 + 1 greater than 2, which makes me very disadvantaged. And the small island below has been completely destroyed by him and Acronia in the previous battle. Wow, Lousy has been messing with you for a long time, it's so deceiving. Mang is over. Thanks to Team Rocket in the 540 Pokemon world, Mewtwo has a sea of skills, and during this period, he bombards Kaido with his endless skills. 100,000 volts. Although Kaido is reckless, he is really not stupid. But the appearance of Xiaomeng broke this balance. The lingering battle continued until Kaido and Mewtwo hit another deserted island. Spirit Blade. Advertisement. So he intentionally started flying towards an island nearby in his memory. Especially, as far as he knows, all the members of the Dimension Pirates have various powerful abilities, but none of their abilities come from Devil Fruit, so they will not be affected by the sea water influences. But most of them were blocked by the dragon body of Acronia. Freezing Rays. That is, once he fell into the sea. In addition, in the deep sea, the strong pressure and the structure of the seawater will hinder the movement of his body, making him unable to attack freely. Therefore, he could only continue to persevere, and at the same time guide Acronia and Mewtwo to follow him and fly towards the island in memory. Then he can only use the body of a human to compete with Acronia, who can still use dragon-slaying magic, and Mewtwo who have strange abilities. Immediately, Kaido roared in his mouth. Advertisement. 260 The strongest blow, the space is broken. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. As soon as Kaido's voice fell, waves of mist emanated from his flood dragon's body, covering it. In the mist, Kaido's body was rapidly shrinking at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, Kaido has grown to his original size. It is also because of Kaido's shrinking body that he also managed to escape from the bloody mouth of Acronia. He became smaller in the air, and fell rapidly from the air, towards the deserted island he had been waiting for a long time. The change in Kaido's body caused Acronia, who was still biting hard, to bite an empty mouth. Looking at Kaido's rapidly shrinking body, a look of contempt flashed across the huge dragon face of Acronia, and he muttered in mockery. Advertisement. Huh, shrink. Whoever said that will not become a little dragon man. As soon as the voice fell, Acronia flashed her own wings, and after it was lowered to a certain height, the magic power in her body worked. With the technique of slaying dragons, Acronia also began to withdraw from the state of Black Dragon and transformed into the state of Dragon Man, which is very similar to Kaido. At the same time when Acronia was withdrawing from the Black Dragon state, Mewtwo was not idle, but held the huge spoon in his hand and supported Acronia by his side to prevent Kaido, who was the first to turn into a dragon. Attack it. That thing I don't know what it is, you played lousy just now, didn't you have a good time, backquote. Now Lousy will let you know, what is the strongest on the surface. Looking at Mewtwo who was holding a giant spoon with a wary look in his eyes, Kaido held up his mace and said to Mewtwo. As soon as the voice fell, Kaido's Conqueror's Haki was instantly activated by it and wrapped around the mace at the same time. Advertisement. The wrapping of Conqueror's Haki made Kaido's already sturdy mace shine with a black-red luster, exuding an extremely terrifying aura. Tattoo. Tack. Tack. Holding the Conqueror's wrapped mace, Kaido is like a rainbow, striding towards Mewtwo and Acronia. 3 worlds. Yina Luo. In 3 or 2 steps, he rushed in front of Mewtwo and Acronia. Kaido jumped up, and twirled the mace wrapped around Conqueror's Haki in his hand. The mace ripped through the air, bringing a creaking black lightning bolt, and smashing violently towards the two of them from top to bottom with a swaying momentum. Looking at the powerful and terrifying attack in front of him, Mewtwo didn't hesitate, and used the skills defined in the Pokemon world with a power value of 150 points. Backquote ultimate impact. In an instant, Xiaomeng's whole body flashed a pale white light, and the strength of his whole body began to gather. Advertisement. At the same time, he turned the huge spoon in his hand like a knight's spear, turned the head of the spoon into the head of a spear, and greeted Kaido's mace toward the altar. It was a well-deserved blow of Kaido's pent-up anger. Lees. Likewise, this is a blow that Mewtwo uses all her strength. The black-red mace meets the huge spoon exuding pale white. This time, there was no banging sound, only the place where the mace and the top of the spoon met, a black hole the size of a baseball, and the cracks around it that looked like glass shattered. Exclamation mark. Under the collision of the two terrifying blows, the space shattered. Advertisement. 261 Lose your arm. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The black hole that suddenly appeared in the space gradually expanded from the size of a baseball, and the surrounding glass cracks became larger and larger. Until a certain moment, the space is completely fragmented. Crack, crack, crack. Wah la la la. Armed color. The whole process is very smooth. Even though Kaido is intoxicated at this time, he is immune to the perception of pain. It wasn't until Akurolia's energy blade cut through Kaido's musculature and touched the bony part of Kaido's right arm that he felt blocked. In addition, at this time, he is in a state where the old power has been exhausted and the new power has not yet arrived. Advertisement. Cut. I thought that this blow could directly cut off the right arm of this long worm. 35. King Kong Katakana middle dot dysprosium. When he shouted, Kaido resisted the pain and waved the mace in his hand, and he waved it at Akurolia. Boom. Although Kaido was powerless to dodge, his instinct to fight for many years made him make his last effort. What followed was Akurolia, who had entered the Black Dragon mode. Puff. The thorn, like the dark black energy blade on Kaido's right arm, also dissipated in time, leaving only a deep visible bone cut on Kaido's right arm. With lightning speed, he appeared behind Kaido who had just hit Mewtwo. Advertisement. Whether it was the cracking sound of space-like glass, or the terrifying explosion sound of Kaido and Mewtwo's powerful blow, all erupted at this moment. Between the lightning and flint, the power of the dark black dragon in Akurolia's hand turned into an extremely sharp, big energy blade, which slashed towards Kaido's right arm holding a mace. I saw the 540 scaled Aku Norlia wrapped around the dark black dragon's power, and quickly disappeared and reappeared. But this long-lost, deep stinging sensation of being cut still made Kaido shout out in a drunken state. I just want to be able to defend against Akurolia's attack to a certain extent. What? Kaido's blow just now was not only his anger blow, but also a poised blow that he had been brewing for a long time. The severe pain in the hand, with the neuron transmission, quickly spread to Kaido's brain. It was also in the movement composed of the explosion and the sound of space fragmentation, a voice sounded at the right time. Advertisement. With his loud shout, all the armament Haki in the body, under the control of the mind, covered the position where observation Haki sensed that Akurolia was about to attack. Kaido's armament Haki didn't do anything this time. The dark black energy blade in Akurolia's hand, like a knife cutting tofu, was easily broken open and plunged into Kaido's right arm. Immediately, an attack similar to sword chi detached from Kaido's mace and headed straight towards Akurolia's head. Feeling the stickiness coming towards him, Akurolia pouted and sighed with regret. Dragon slaying profound truth. Dark blast blade. At the same time as he spoke, he also moved his feet and dodged to the side. He couldn't dodge the sudden attack of Akurolia. Damn it, how dare you hurt me? All the voices that had just disappeared resounded from this moment. Advertisement. 262 straw knots. Dogs chew mud. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Feeling Akurolia's departure, Kaido was about to take a breath, but observation Haki also gave a mad warning in his heart. Teleport. Million-ton kick. 35. In the blink of an eye, Mewtwo, who had just fought with Kaido, reappeared beside Kaido. When Mewtwo appeared, I saw him lift his right leg and kick it fiercely towards Kaido's right arm, which Akurolia had just cut. Mean. Junda Li Longsheng Army. Looking at Mewtwo, this is going to pick up the baton from Akurur's Haki and continue to attack his wounds. Kaido's mouth is full of rage, and at the same time, the mace in his hand that has been wrapped around by Conqueror's Haki grows bigger. He was immediately picked up by Kaido brute force and headed towards Mewtwo. Boom. Advertisement. Mewtwo's attack met Kaido's mace again, and the strong collision resulted in a huge roar. Black Dragon's collapse fist. While Kaido and Mewtwo's attacks continued, Akurolia didn't miss this opportunity. With a loud shout, the power of the Black Dragon in her body was wrapped around her right fist and bombarded towards Kaido's right arm. Boom. The powerful and terrifying power of the Black Dragon slammed into Kaido's right arm, accompanied by Akurolia's fist. And Akurolia didn't want to fight after punching. Leaving a Black Dragon's power to continue to erode and corrode on Kaido's right arm, he himself stepped back quickly. Boom. The unbridled power of the Black Dragon made Kaido cry out in pain, and his right arm couldn't bear it any longer. Advertisement. Damn chops. David Thunder 8 trigrams. Kaido, whose right arm was injured, shouted in his mouth, and Conqueror's Haki, who had withdrawn from his mace, was also condensed on his left hand. Immediately, Kaido turned into a bull, roaring in his mouth, stepping on the ground, wrapping his left arm with Conqueror's Haki, and imitating a mace with his left arm, rushing towards Akurolia with a stride of meteors, and hit his head hard. Tie the grass knot. But just when Kaido took 2 steps and hadn't come to Akurolia, he heard Mewtwo's voice. Oh, seeking flowers. In an instant, a stream of strange plant vines appeared from under Kaido's feet. Those strange vines aimed directly at Kaido's ankle, and the moment it appeared, they wrapped around his ankle and stumbled over it. Boom. Advertisement. Just like that, New World 4 Emperor's Kaido, who was known as the strongest on the surface, was not only interrupted by this attack, but also thrown a heavy somersault after a long absence. Point 0. And Super Dream is not surprised by this. After all, in the world of Pokemon, the skill of tying a straw knot exists to trip the opponent. Especially the heavier the opponent, the more damage this skill can bring. I don't know if it has become so angry that ultimate has had a counterproductive effect. Kaido, who almost fell off a dog eating shit, was already furious on the surface, and the furious anger seemed to be able to ignite the sea. But in his heart, he has calmed down and realized one thing very clearly. Mewtwo and Acronia, he really doesn't seem to be able to beat. 1. Advertisement. 263 Kaido's shock. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. But as the battle progressed, something even more shocking happened to Kaido. Thankfully he was in a league with Charlotte Linlin before that. And when Kaido and Acronia turned into dragons and fought with the bodies of dragons and dragons, Kaido began to clearly perceive one thing. At the beginning of the battle with Acronia, Kaido's perception of it was just that of a guy with a master's bizarre abilities, and his physical body was no worse than his own. Acronia didn't expect that Kaido would do this at this time, so he was also burned by this flame at the first time. Such a discovery made Kaido, who had gradually calmed down, pondered with fear. What kind of freaks are the members of the Yuan pirates this time? If the battle continues, and his 2 fists are no match for his 4 hands, it is possible that more than 1 arm will be injured. 0. Advertisement. The terrifying high temperature of the raging fire scorched the air around Kaido and gradually distorted it. Even as the battle went on, Kaido had a terrifying feeling that he found that Acronia's strength was on par with himself. At the same time, Kaido's body was transformed into a dragon again. It was at this time that Acronia's companion Mewtwo rushed back to the battlefield and joined forces with him to fight against him. Acronia turned her claws into claws, and the claws were covered with the power of a dark black dragon, and with a swaying momentum, she charged towards Kaido, who had just tripped over. He found out. Mewtwo, just like Acronia, his strength is also improving at an unbelievable speed. It's like 1 minute at a time. That is, the gap in strength between Acronia and himself is gradually narrowing. On the contrary, he directly suffered the blow from Acronia, and at the same time he let out a loud roar. Advertisement. The original strength is not bad, no matter what, 1 by 1, what is the strength will be stronger. Fire Dragon Torch. Broken Teeth of the Black Dragon. 35. From then on, the two began to press and beat themselves. While shocked in his heart, Kaido's danger level for the dimensional pirates was immediately full. Fighting, hey, people have gradually changed from a situation that was originally lower than yours to a being stronger than you. At this time, Acronia and Mewtwo joined forces, which has already made Kaido feel difficult. What a horror this is. At the same time, he was also a little fortunate. Advertisement. Otherwise, just Su Yang and his strange and terrifying crew members, Beast's pirates, and Kaido alone can't really stop him. In an instant, a 4.6-line fire burning with raging flames burned from his body. That Mewtwo was just like Acronia, and at first it gave Kaido a mediocre feeling, but its cooperation with Acronia gave him some headaches. Kaido made a secret calculation in his mind, but Acronia, who Ishin wanted to let him die, did not hesitate, and continued to attack Kaido with a roar in his mouth. And with a lot of thought, Kaido's face was calm, and he had already decided to withdraw in his heart. Moreover, the intensity of this pressing is getting faster and faster, and the intensity is getting heavier and heavier. Seeing that Acronia continued to attack himself, this time he was no longer the same as before, using any moves to offset or evade it. Moreover, the speed of shrinking, 540, is very terrifying. Advertisement. 264 Kaido, slipped. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Snowstorm. At the moment when Acronia was burned, Mewtwo on the side also reacted immediately. I saw the huge spoon in his hand waved in the void, and snowflakes fell on Acronia's body under the blowing of the strong wind, extinguishing the burning flames around him. Flame cloud. Woo. At the same time, Kaido, who was wrapped in flaming flames and turned into a flaming dragon, let out a loud cry, and the dragon claws under his abdomen also grabbed the surrounding flame cloud created by him, causing his body to rise up quickly. Heat. 9. Kaido rose up, with a dragon mouth and a bulging belly, and then a hot and huge dragon breath spit out 10. Advertisement. Huh. Again. Seeing Kaido doing this same routine again, a contemptuous smile appeared on Acronia's face, and while mocking, she also clenched her hands into fists, as if to blow a virtual horn. Roar of the Black Dragon. Along with the mouth of Acronia's, he also blew hard on the fist in front of him. In an instant, a splendid magic circle appeared at the forefront of his 2 fists superimposed on everything. The power of the huge black dragon appeared directly from the magic circle, spinning, turning from small to large into a huge dark black tornado, attacking the dragon breath that fell from the sky. Boom. When the 2 dragon breaths collided, a huge roaring sound was produced, and a huge amount of fog was also produced. This huge fog not only shrouded Acronia and Mewtwo on the ground, but also shrouded Kaido in the sky. Advertisement. Also in the fog, Acronia and Mewtwo were preparing for Kaido's next move. However, he saw that the flame dragon in the fog directly broke through the fog in the air, twisted his body at an extremely fast speed, and flew towards a direction outside the island. Acronia and Mewtwo never imagined that Kaido, who had just fought so fiercely with the two of them, would slip away in this way. Hey, four emperors. Looking at the figure that was escaping quickly in the sky, the disdain on Acronia's face became even more intense, and she sneered in her mouth. At the same time, the power of the black dragon in Acronia's body was excited, and he was ready to continue to transform into a black dragon. He flashed his big wings and chased after him to teach Kaido what is the way of the strong. But as soon as Acronia made a move, he saw a huge spoon appearing in front of him and stopped him. Stinky cat, you want to stop me? Acronia frowned, looked at Mewtwo, and asked in a bad tone. Advertisement. Cut. Stupid lizards. Although Kaido's suicide jumping off a cliff is a random event, the ship of the 540 beast pirates must be nearby. Upon hearing the words, Cheomung directly cast an idiot look at Acronia and explained it to him. Humph. So what? Even Kaido is no match for me, let alone a beast's pirates. If they dare to come, I will give him a pot directly. I said, Stinky cat, aren't you afraid? Seeing Mewtwo and showing the same idiotic expression as always, Acronia instantly became angry, and immediately crossed her arms to her chest, talking to him, and finally taunted and provoked Mewtwo. Advertisement. 265 The Embarrassment of Black Dragon. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hearing Acronia's clumsy aggressive words, the idiot's look on Mewtwo's face became even stronger. But with the principle of not arguing with fools, Xiaomeng still explained to him. Shish, 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 shish. If we rush to catch up, we meet Kaido and Charlotte Linlin, the four emperors. 99. Xiaomeng looked at the silent Acronia, and realized that this stupid lizard had already figured it out, and no longer mocked him, just put his right hand on his shoulder. And Charlotte Linlin, the fat ant, with my current strength, I can definitely fight against it, and there is a small chance of winning. During this time, Anna and Emily could only stay in a different space with nothing, worrying about them. Advertisement. Also, because they considered that they would be protecting themselves and Mewtwo together, they did not prepare much in terms of food and drinking water. Acronia-sama, are you injured? Alas, it is true that with your strength, we can naturally block it, and even have a small chance of winning. Can they afford to wait? Capturing the surprise emotion in the words of the two women made the already silent Acronia even more embarrassed. A lizard is a lizard, and the brain capacity is not big enough after all. But for a battle of this scale, the four of them would have to fight for at least a few days and nights. You guys are back. What about the four emperors? It's totally out of the question. Advertisement. Too bad it didn't work out. The current long bug is just an injured disabled person, you can completely stop the stinky cat. Anna and Emily are still waiting in the alien space I created under the sea. Master Mewtwo. Master Acronia. As Super Dream said. After Xiaomeng said this, before he could finish what he said next, he heard Acronia's more dissatisfied words interrupted. As soon as Acronia's voice fell, Mewtwo could only sigh slightly, and continued what she didn't finish. As soon as Mewtwo said this, Acronia was stunned. Xiaomeng waved the giant spoon in his hand, running the strange power, and lightly tapped the big rock on the bottom of the sea in front of him, and a door of different space opened. Just when Acronia was in a complicated mood, the sharp-eyed Anna noticed that there was a pool of bloodline on the sleeve of Acronia's right arm. After exclaiming, she also asked with concern. Advertisement. As soon as they set foot in the different space with Acronia, the voices of Anna and Emily rang in the ears of the two of Mewtwo. But you stupid lizard, with your walnut-sized brain, how long will such a fight take? Lord Acronia, you have blood on your clothes. You know about the alliance between Kaido's beasts pirates and Charlotte Linlin's Big Mom pirates. As a result, the two women who didn't eat or drink really couldn't last long. Teleport. The voices of Mewtwo and Acronia disappeared and reappeared, and between a few spaces, they came to the deep sea of the different space created by Mewtwo. Single quote. Secret power. Really. With the strength of the two of them, once they encounter a joint battle between Kaido and Charlotte Linlin, they can indeed fight with one. Advertisement. 266 Four Emperors, but you. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This time, even Acronia couldn't hide his embarrassment with aloofness. It's okay, Anna, it's not my blood, it's the blood from Kaido's arm when I cut Kaido's right arm. 9. Immediately, Acronia had no choice but to accompany her face and open her mouth to comfort her. Wow, Acronia-sama is amazing. 99. Even Kaido, the four emperors and the strongest on the surface, is an opponent of Lord Acronia. After hearing that Acronia said that it was not her own blood, but Kaido's blood, Anna felt relieved, and she was very surprised and praised Acronia. Acronia listened to Anna's astonishing words, and a little vanity rose in her heart involuntarily. Advertisement. I saw him waving his right hand, making a nonchalant look, and said. The four emperors are just as powerful. In terms of strength, our own people in the Dimension Pirates are the best. And he hadn't spoken before, silently watching Acronia's embarrassing Mewtwo, and at this time, he also curled his lips and opened his mouth to make up for the knife. The four emperors are truly inferior. A certain stupid lizard still wants to chase Kaido and fight directly to his hometown and his family for 3 days and 3 nights, fighting for 300 rounds. Listening to the jug that Mewtwo couldn't open and which jug was not being lifted, Acronia also felt annoyed in his heart. Hear the strings and know the elegance. Anna and Emily on the side probably guessed something after hearing what Mewtwo said. Advertisement. However, seeing that Acronoria's face was already a little red, and Mewtwo and Acronia were about to fight as usual, after they exchanged glances with each other, they quickly interrupted each other. Lord Acronia, let me clean up the blood on your clothes now. Anna took the lead to come to Acronoria's side, took out water and soap, and said to Acronia. That, Mr. Cheomung, why can't we use phone bugs here? I just wanted begged to use the phone bug that Master Su Yong gave me to contact Master Su Yong, but the phone bug didn't respond. And Emily Raid also came to Chow Meng's side, took out a phone bug and asked him. For the kindness of the two women, both Mewtwo and Acronia appreciate it. Acronia lowered her head, handed her coat to Anna, and let Anna do it. And Chow Meng looked down at the phone bug in Emily's hand, and explained to him. Advertisement. This is the different space I opened up with the power of secrets. The node connected to the original world here is blocked by me again, and the phone worm naturally cannot sense the phone worm outside the space. In this way, I will open the connection door now. You can use the phone bug to contact Su Yong and tell us about our encounter with Kaido. 35. Chow Meng said, and also raised the huge spoon in his hand and waved it slightly towards the top of his head, slamming out a hole in the dark space above his head. With Mewtwo's actions, the phone bug that was originally in Emily's hand suddenly came to life. Hey, it's really good, Master Cheomung. I will contact Master Su Yong and report what we have encountered to him. Seeing the phone bug in her hand come back to life, Emily immediately started the phone bug with a smile and contacted Su Yong. Advertisement. 267 Surrender. Or in Destruction. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The second half of the Grand Line of Pirate World is not only a paradise for outlaw fanatics, but also a hell for the weak. Coming to this area called New World, what human beings need to guard against is not only those ruthless pirates. What is more important is the islands with different weather and geographical conditions. Jacob Island, as a winter island covered by blizzard all the year round, should have been blizzard and cold at this time. But now on Jacob Island, not only is there no trace of wind and snow, but the temperature on the island has even begun to approach the temperature of Summer Island. Even the holy mountain on the island, which was hailed as never melt by the islanders, has shrunk a lot at this time. The gurgling snow water flows continuously down the mountain along the ridge of the holy mountain. And the initiator of all this, but he didn't care about it. Advertisement. Instead, he held his arrogant head high, with an expression of, I am the only one in the sky and the earth. I saw him holding a golden giant axe in one hand, and holding a golden, bright, sun-like fireball in the other. Humble ants, you should be judged by God for your actions against the strongest man in the world. 39. But as I am the closest to God, I extend my last mercy to you. Submission. Or annihilation. Ace Kano's eyes were cold, and his words were all looking down. In front of him, he had already knelt down. If you look around, you will see people wearing padded jackets and sweating profusely. Beside them, there are also, complete, and, incomplete, people lying on the ground. Different from those who looked terrified and threw their bodies to the ground, those who lay on the ground were all wearing steel helmets and armor and holding weapons. Advertisement. However, the steel helmets and armors on their bodies were basically scattered on the ground at this time. The weapons in his hands are basically broken swords and spears. Even on the bodies of many people, there are also missing arms and legs, or they were cut off in the waist, or they were split, or they were headed by owls. Obviously, these people who fell to the ground were the ones Ace Kano spoke of, those who resisted stubbornly and were then violently suppressed by the powerful Ace Kano. Submit. Submission. Our Jacob country is willing to submit to the dimensional pirates in the form of a vassal state. 0 for flowers. Also please, Lord Sun God to accept the magical powers and let us live. With such a powerful force as Ace Kano, among those who were kneeling, there was an old man with an old face who replied to Ace Kano as soon as his voice fell behind. Yeah, I am willing to surrender to the dimensional pirates, and also ask Ace Kano-sama to raise your hand and let me wait for a life. Advertisement. Point 0. As soon as the old man's voice fell, words of willingness to surrender began to appear in the crowd of people around him who were kneeling and bowing. Come on. It's not like this at first. You despicable ants, you actually started to fight with me just now. You know, what you are provoking is Ace Kano, the strongest species in the world. Seeing the scene where the leader is taking the lead and the followers are like clouds, Ace Kano said to them disdainfully. As he said that, with a thought, he dissipated the sun-like fireball. After doing all this, he looked at the green-haired girl floating in the air beside him, and said something to her. Tornado, I'll leave the rest to you. Advertisement. The Dimensional Pirates in Volume 268. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Humph, are you guys all rushing to get on when you fight? Every time they arrive on a new island, they take turns appearing. Diablo, on the other hand, stared at Aizen with a hostile expression, always keeping an eye on this, #1 competitor, to see what the hell he was going to do. Blue blue blue. The rest has tornado wraps. 4.6 inches. Once other countries do not agree to become a dependent country, they will directly play force to suppress them, and they will threaten to destroy the country at every turn. It was past noon at this time, so Ace Kano's state was no longer extremely confident. After hearing Tornado's words, he still explained a little to him. Using psychic power, he floated a set of documents of surrender, the pirate flag of the Dimension Pirates, etc. that had been prepared before, to the old man who took the lead in the group just now, and told them about the dimensional sea they had recently decided. The rules of Thieves. 0. In the following period of time, Uchiha Madara, Diablo, and Ace Kano of the Dimension Pirates were involved. Advertisement. And what's even more extreme is that after they have finished the kings and nobles of those countries, they will directly leave the remaining handover work to Tornado and Giorno Chopper to accept them, and they will not care about anything. As soon as Ace Kano's voice fell, Tornado muttered even more angrily. Su Yang was lying on the wooden reclining chair he made with wood style, and after sensing Ace Kano's return, he also asked him a question. Humph, you don't want to fall behind them, I just thought. After the fight, leave the rest to others. On the Shira, Uchiha Madara is posing in a meditation posture with 5 hearts facing the sky, practicing a practice similar to meditation. Since they made a mess on the Fishmen Island, Neptune took the whole the Fishmen Island, surrendered to the Dimension Pirates, and took the lead in becoming the affiliated country of the Dimension Pirates. As soon as Su Yang finished speaking, Ace Kano nodded, and after answering with confidence, he also carried the divine axe Rita and walked towards the wine cabin of the Shira. At this time, a phone bug in Su Yang's arms rang at the right time. Advertisement. Aizen was holding a book in his hand and watched quietly. I went to see the wine in the cellar, how is it fermented? 39. It's all Neptune's fault. What a subsidiary ceremony. What a subsidiary country. 35. The same people who were summoned by Su Yang to this world not long ago, as the strongest species in the world, how can I fall behind them? 55. And Ace Kano jumped back to the Shira floating in the sky after seeing that everything was on the right track. With the strongest species like me, it's natural to catch it. This is very busy for Giorno Chopper, the ship doctor, who has lost a lot of hair recently. Look at how many of you are curled up now. Advertisement. The tornado here is complaining, and the work that should be done is still to be done. Really, Uchiha Madara is only one step away from regaining strength, may 40 inches. I have to force those countries to obey their dimensional pirates like the Fishmen Island. Blue blue blue, and Diablo's strength has been increasing rapidly recently, and he will soon reach the bottom of Uchiha Madara. I don't even think that people haven't done it for a long time. Hearing Ace Kano's words, the small lowly tornado floating in the air wrinkled his little nose. Tsunere turned his head away, snorted and said. Nailed it. Advertisement. 269 Unlocking of Leap Forward. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. How could Emily contact me at this time? Hearing the movement of the phone bug in his arms, Su Yang took it out and took a look. At this moment, it was the one that he had given to Emily and told her to contact him. Blue blue blue, gaga. Hey, Emily, I'm Su Yang. Did Mewtwo and Acronia get on the shelves again, delaying your trip? Picking up the phone bug, Su Yang asked Emily. No, Lord Su Yang. Everything was going well, but just a few hours ago, we encountered Kaido, one of the 4 emperors. On the other side of the phone bug, Emily, after hearing Su Yang's words, also hurriedly explained for Mewtwo and Acronia. Advertisement. At the same time, he also talked about his encounter with Kaido. As for Su Yang on the phone bug's side, after hearing Emily mention the word, Kaido, her relaxed and comfortable expression instantly became solemn. Shoo, At the same time, several sharp eyes also looked at the phone bug in Su Yang's hands from different directions of the Shira. Su Yang doesn't have to look to know that the masters of these eyes are the militants on his ship. System. Open the virtual panel. Su Yang immediately opened the system panel with his mind and began to check the unlocking degree of everyone. Host. Su Yang. Binding. Dimensional Pirates. Advertisement. Abilities. Tough Body, Armament Hockey, Observation Hockey, Conqueror's Hockey. Special Abilities. Wooden Pier Awakened Sage of 6 Paths Body, 8 Inner Gates Modified version 60%, with the increase of unlocking degree, use will reduce the loss of body, 100% will be no damage, the final gate opening fixed consumption its own physical strength will not consume vitality. Note. The damaged body will appear after a day. Summoning value. 0/100ths dropped by random people or things encountered in host. Summoned characters. Uchiha Madara, 59%, Diablo, 49%, Ace Kano, 48%, Tornado. 43%, Giorno Chopper, 38%, Acronia, 45%, Rem, 35%, Ram, 35%, Mewtwo, 41%, unlock progress and in terms of moves, the unlocking progress reaches 60 to reach the peak strength of the original world. If the unlocking progress reaches 60, the summoned character will surpass the peak strength of the original world. The unlocking degree is related to several events. Elevate yourself. Binding item. Shira, warehouse. None. With Su Yang's review, everyone's data has changed as expected. In particular, the data of Mewtwo and Acronia jumped over the 40% mark directly from the original 30%. Advertisement. This sudden increase in data proves that Mewtwo and Acronia definitely fought a battle 540. Emily, what the hell is going on? How did you meet Kaido? What's the situation now? What about Mewtwo and Acronia? After checking everyone's data, Su Yang held up the phone bug and asked Emily the doubts and worries in his heart. Lord Su Yang, we are all fine. Just when we were on an island to eat and rest, Kaido fell from the sky. Acronia-sama asked Mewtwo-sama to protect Anna and me, and then. After hearing Su Yang's question, Emily also spoke out on the phone, Vice Admiral and the others. Advertisement. 270 Furious Uchiha Madara. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. During the call, Emily reported the situation here to Su Yang in great detail, during which Mewtwo and Acronia would also make some timely additions. Especially when it comes to the fight against Kaido, Acronia and Mewtwo will add a lot. In less than a while, from Anna, Emily, they suddenly encountered Kaido who fell from the sky. Acronia and Mewtwo joined forces to fight Kaido. Acronia cut Kaido's arm, and finally Kaido escaped. It's all been said. After listening to Emily's explanation, Su Yang breathed a sigh of relief. He explained 2 sentences to Emily in a calm tone as much as possible, and then expressed his attitude at this time. Phew, I already know what happened to you. Since none of you have anything to do, the 4 of you continue to set off according to the previous plan. 35. Advertisement. Strive to reach the future as soon as possible, and use the equipment there to make the steel battlesuit and return to the team quickly. 95. As for Kaido, we'll take care of it here. Don't worry, no matter what the final result is, I will give you an explanation. After Haki finished the final summary, Su Yang hung up the phone bug in his hand. And Uchiha Madara opened her legs in a cross-legged position, got up from the deck, and came to Su Yang's side. Just when Su Yang and Emily called and mentioned Kaido, Uchiha Madara, who was meditating with his eyes closed, opened his eyes and kept following their conversation. Now that he understood Su Yang's attitude on this matter, Uchiha Madara could no longer restrain his excitement and said to Su Yang. Su Yang, I think Kaido's behavior is a provocation to our dimensional pirates. This matter can't be counted like this. Advertisement. Today Kaido dares to attack our dimensional pirates, and tomorrow it will be Charlotte Linlin's turn. In my opinion, we should go straight to the Ghost Island now and take Kaido's nest in one fell swoop. In this way, we can not only let Kaido know how good we are, but also shock other guys with ulterior motives. When speaking, Uchiha Madara's attitude was very fierce, and his words were full of anger. It looks like it wasn't Kaido who was defeated and fled, but Mewtwo and Acronia. The rest of the people on the Shira looked at him with strange expressions after hearing what Uchiha Madara said. Diablo, as the exclusive etc. of Uchiha Madara, stood up at this time, not disappointed, and raised the bar at the right time. Look at *O. It turns out that those so-called contact rules cultivation, there are such benefits. Obviously some guys are not strong enough to break through the last hurdle. 35. Advertisement. In order to find a strong person to fight and sharpen, now I have learned to use the dignity of the Dimension Pirates as an example. 5. Tisk tisk tisk. It's really unbelievable. Hearing Diablo's words, a big hash character appeared on Uchiha Madara's forehead instantly. I saw Uchiha Madara crossed his left and right hands in front of his chest, with a straight face, and replied with a cold snort. Humph. You think I'll be like you bastard, unable to handle even a small bottleneck. 35. I, Uchiha Madara, traverse the world of ninja, and have experienced countless battles, but I can still be shackled by this kind of thing. It's a joke. But when everyone listened to Uchiha Madara's words, they could always hear a bit of annoyance turned into anger from his words. Advertisement. 271 Give Kaido a lesson. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In this way, Uchiha Madara and Diablo started their daily love and kill. The 2 girls, Rem and Ram, who were dressed as maids, walked out of the Shira's kitchen with a dessert each. This is the special dessert of the Fishman Island that we successfully made with the secret recipe taught by the royal chef of the Dragon Palace. Lord Su Yang, try it, how does it taste? The 2 sisters, Rem and Ram, came to Su Yang's side one by one, served them the desserts in their hands, and also spoke to Su Yang. Su Yang took over the dessert with a smile, ignoring Uchiha Madara and Dia 540 Polo who started taunting, raising bars, and arguing with each other on the deck. Instead, she looked at the 2 sisters Rem and Ram, and said to them. Advertisement. I just got a call from Emily. On the phone, Emily told me that they encountered Kaido, one of the 4 emperors, not too long ago. Hearing this, the expressions of the sisters Rem and Ram immediately changed. Anna and Emily, although they were the handymen of the dimensional pirates on the Shira, had a pretty good relationship with Ram, and Tornado in private. In addition, because the sisters Rem and Ram were in the kitchen, making dessert just now, they didn't hear the phone calls from Su Yang and Emily. Therefore, after hearing the news, it is natural for them to be worried. Lord Su Yang, are Anna and Emily all right? Immediately, Rem asked Su Yang with a worried look. Don't worry, they have Mewtwo and Acronia to protect them, so of course they'll be fine. Advertisement. When they first encountered Kaido, Mewtwo took the lead in protecting them to a safe place. And after settling them down, Mewtwo went back and joined Acronia to beat Kaido away. Su Yang looked at the worried faces of the 2 sisters, and gently explained and comforted them. After hearing Su Yang say that the 2 friends are all right, the sisters Rem and Ram were relieved. Anna and Emily will be fine. Lord Su Yang, That Kaido is so damn it, that he would attack Anna, Emily and the others. 35. We must teach Kaido a lesson, and let Anna, Emily and the others breathe a sigh of relief. After smiling happily, Ram also turned his worry for his friend into anger at Kaido, the attacker, so he also held his small fist and said to Su Yang angrily. And Su Yang couldn't help laughing twice after seeing Ram's incomparably cute appearance, and said to him. Advertisement. Ha 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 ha. Ram, you're right, we just have to teach Kaido a lesson. If I remember correctly, Dressrosas should be near us. Hearing Su Yang's sudden change of style, Ram replied to Su Yang even though he was a little unclear. Yes, Lord Su Yang, Dressrosa really isn't very far from Jacob's Island. 35. Following Rem's answer, Ram, who also did not understand why, also asked Su Yang the doubts in his heart. Lord Su Yang, Dressrosa is the site of the 7 warlords of the sea Doflamingo, I remember. Aren't we going to trouble Kaido? What does this have to do with Dressrosa? Advertisement. 272 Aizen's comeback. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Seeing the two sisters, Rem and Ram, who seemed to be confused at the same time, Su Yang laughed and explained to the two. Haha, you don't know anything about this. Although the Doflamingo guy is the 7 warlords of the sea, he also has quite the power in the underworld. 39. He who goes by the pseudonym Joker, is not only engaged in arms activities in the underground forces but also undertakes many unknown transactions. And one of the most important of these unknown deals is a deal about Kaido's dreams. The so-called snake and 7 inches, since we have to teach Kaido a lesson, let's start by destroying Kaido's dream. Hearing Su Yang's explanation, the two girls, Rem and Ram, were suddenly enlightened, and the curiosity in their hearts was even stronger. They only listened to them and asked Su Yang, Lord Su Yang, what is this deal about Kaido's dream? Advertisement. Have you heard of SMI, La? Hearing the two sisters' questions, Su Yang did not answer directly, but threw a question directly. Smile. I haven't heard of it, what is that? Lord Su Yang. Rem and Ram thought for a while in their minds, then glanced at each other, and after confirming that there was no such thing, they shook their heads helplessly and said to Su Yang. Smile is the name of an artificial devil fruit. At this moment, a gentle and low voice came from one direction on the deck. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice, and the speaker was Aizen, a newcomer who was summoned to the world by Su Yang not long ago. Hey, that guy named Aizen, isn't devil fruit randomly generated in this world? How can it be made artificially? Advertisement. If you talk nonsense, I will do it. Seeing that the person who answered was Aizen, Diablo couldn't care less about arguing with Uchiha Madara, and provoked him. While Aizen was hearing Diablo's provocation, he simply ignored the provocation of this clever fellow. Instead, he put down the book in his hand, raised his hand and pushed the glasses holder on the bridge of his nose, and continued to reply to Rem and Ram in a gentle tone. Smile is not only an artificial devil fruit, but also capable of mass production. 39. 0 for flowers. It's one of Joker's ace products in the underground. 35. And the biggest buyer of this product is the 4 Emperors Kaido, who dreamed of building the entire Zone Demon Fruit Power Pirate. Smile was heavily used by Kaido in the Beast's Pirates, and even created several legions for it. These intelligences can basically find clues in different newspapers, and they can be deduced only by combining them. Advertisement. Point 0. When Aizen said the last sentence, he also looked at Diablo with a meaningful look. It looked like he was saying to Diablo, I saw your provocation, but because it was too naive, I ignored it. As the strongest supporter of Mr. Su Yang, I will show my ability and value in every aspect. And you. Nothing but recklessness. As the strongest demon lord, Diablo naturally sensed Aizen's gaze towards him, and understood what he meant, and anger rose in his heart at that time. On the other hand, Rem and Ram, after hearing Aizen's answer, understood why Su Yang had mentioned Dressrosa before. Advertisement. 273 Smile. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Aizen, it seems that your recent books and newspapers are not in vain. At this time, Su Yang also gave Aizen a thumbs up. Since Aizen was summoned to this world by Su Yang, in addition to fiddling with various researches with Mewtwo, he also obtained books and newspapers belonging to this world through various means. It is no exaggeration to say that the newspapers and books purchased by Aizen during this period of time have almost filled the originally empty study in the May 40 inches Luohao. Just like that, there are still a steady stream of news birds coming and going on the Shira every day. Especially after Mewtwo, Akunoria and the others left, Aizen basically entered a state where he couldn't put it down. Advertisement. No matter what time or what you are doing, you will have a newspaper or a book in your hand. And the effect of doing so was revealed at this moment. A large amount of information collection has made Aizen become the existence of the entire dimensional pirate group, second only to Su Yang in the knowledge of the pirate world. Therefore, the information about Smile basically came and blurted out. Hee. Knowledge is also power. Now that I have not fully adapted to the rules of this world, the collection and analysis of a large amount of information can be regarded as a contribution that I can temporarily provide to our dimensional pirates. Hearing Su Yang's compliment, Aizen laughed and replied to Su Yang with a calm expression. It's just. Aizen's interaction with Su Yang made Diablo even more furious. Even when the two of them were talking, he had the feeling that the characters Su Yang's heart status -1 and dimensional pirate status -1 kept appearing in his head. Advertisement. Devil fruit is a manifestation of the rules of this world. 35. In my opinion, even if this artificial fruit called smile is developed, it must have some flaws. After all, the rules of a world, where is it that a mere mortal can easily master? Immediately, Diablo pushed the glasses on the bridge of his nose, glared at Aizen and said. Su Yang has always ignored the competition between Diablo and Aizen. After all, in the original world, which of the people on the ship was not a strong man with his own will and character? As long as their character and thoughts don't affect or hurt the rest of the boat, Su Yang will also choose to respect. 0. Therefore, after hearing Diablo's words, he did not interfere too much with the behavior of the two of them, but just opened his mouth and said some information about smile that he knew. Indeed, because of the rules of this world, this artificial devil fruit still has many flaws. Advertisement. For example, the ability you can get after eating smile can only be zone. And some permanent, irreversible animal features, such as trunk, tail, etc., will appear on the user's body. And it doesn't mean that everyone who takes smile can successfully obtain the devil fruit ability. 4.6 inches. Once the ability to acquire fails, the person who eats smile will be stripped of the expression on his face. Hearing Su Yang say this, everyone on the boat frowned slightly. Immediately, the two sisters Rem and Ram also asked Su Yang the questions in everyone's heart. Lord Su Yang, what does it mean to be deprived of the expression on your face? 99. Is it a condition similar to facial paralysis? Advertisement. 274 Goal, Dressrosa. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Alas, as long as the faces of those who fail to acquire abilities after taking smile can only have one expression in this life. That's the laugh. Hearing the questions of sisters Ram and Rem, Su Yang sighed slightly and said. Su Yang shook his head slightly and corrected Uchiha Madara. Think about it. If a person, whether it is sad, painful, uncomfortable, he can only have a stiff smile on his face. And those who ate smile and successfully obtained the zone devil fruit ability can be said to have reached the sky in one step, and are called givers. Since you think things like smile are very harmful, let's go and smash the factory that produces smile. It's not an expression that is too unacceptable, is it? Advertisement. As for those who eat smile and fail, they are called hilarious ones. As Smile's biggest buyer, Kaido has built 3 legions within his beasts pirates. No, Madara, the kind of smile you want, a smile from the heart, not a simple expression. What a sad and pathetic look that would be. No matter how excited the emotions are, there are tears in the eyes, and there is only a sound of laughter in the mouth. Then go kill the guy who invented smile. After Uchiha Madara finished speaking, Rem hesitated for a while, and then asked Su Yang. When it comes to this question, Su Yang does not need to answer it. Aizen, who has collected a lot of intelligence through various information sources, answered it. Uchiha Madara had a solemn expression, crossed his hands on his chest, shook his head and said. Smile like that. Don't worry. Advertisement. I just hope that under my leadership, the ninja world can have no wars and make everyone's faces full of smiles. As these people don't think about the consequences. Not only, but quite a few. As for the other people on the Shira, they are all human sober, who are used to seeing human nature and have long recognized the nature of the world, so they are noncommittal about this. Hearing this, Uchiha Madara also said somewhat puzzled. After all, for this kind of human nature issue, he, the fallen devil king of the otherworld, has the most say. No matter what world you are in, there will be people who are willing to give up everything in pursuit of strength and power. Among them, the number of people who are rushing and waiting to take smile is the most, and they are called waiters in Beasts Pirates. Hearing Aizen's explanation, Ram still had some unacceptable doubts. Advertisement. Those who try to gain powerful power and gamble to eat smile are naturally no longer in the minority. This time, it was the demon lord Diablo who answered for Ram. Okay, when faced with a choice, the choices made by each person will be influenced by the people and things he has encountered. Obviously, Diablo's cruel and realistic answer made the sisters Rem and Ram somewhat unacceptable. If that's the case, that's really sad. Looking at sisters Rem and Ram's frowns, Su Yang smiled and put down the dessert in his hand, rubbed the two sisters' heads respectively, and said. Laugh. And in this world, pirates are prevalent, and the powerhouses in New World are like carp crossing the river. Did you say okay? Such an unhealthy thing. Would anyone really eat it? Advertisement. 275 Ace Kano's careful machine. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. With Su Yang's comfort, the expressions on the faces of the sisters Rem and Ram finally improved. They nodded heavily and answered with an, Seeing that the two sisters' faces turned a little better, Su Yang also said to Diablo around him. Then it's decided. Diablo, go down and call the tornado up. This Jacob Island loves not surrender, and if it does not surrender, call Jinbei and ask them to come over and treat the next group of people well. 35. After hearing Su Yang's order, Diablo raised his hand and responded with a slight salute to Su Yang, as if he had been beaten. Diablo is here for you. He, Ace Kano, the man standing at the pinnacle of the race, will not be able to participate in this Dressrosa battle due to his personality. Advertisement. Yes. What's up? Okay. The Shira will be handed over to you to open it. This time, we will not only smash his Doflamingo's place, but also smash the factory that makes Smile. At this time, the sky has begun to gradually darken, and in a few hours it will be night. As soon as Su Yang's voice fell, several militants headed by Uchiha Madara responded enthusiastically. Well known. Ace Kano. And kill the guy who invented Smile. In this way, as long as he slows down the speed of the Shira before night comes. Hearing Ace Kano calling himself, Su Yang asked suspiciously. Advertisement. And wait until tomorrow in daytime, then Ace Kano will be the, heaven and earth, I am the only one, again. Su Yang, I have something to discuss with you. After talking to Ace Kano, Su Yang handed over the driving right of the Shira to Ace Kano. Can the Shira be handed over to me to drive the trip to Dressrosa? 35. What a blow this will be to the arrogant him. In the evening, with his other characters, steady as an old dog, driving speed, then Jin Li Lihao took over. As soon as these words came out, Su Yang and the others didn't understand for a moment, how could Ace Kano suddenly make this request? As he said that, the Demon King's wings spread out behind Diablo, disappeared on the Shira in an instant, turned into a phantom and flew towards the tornado below. And everyone is now starting from Jacob Island to Dressrosa, and at the speed of the Shira, they can basically arrive at midnight. The time for the Shira to arrive at Dressrosa will be tomorrow morning. Advertisement. After Diablo disappeared, Su Yang also spoke to everyone on the deck of the Shira. Had this arrived at Dressrosa at midnight, the result would have been obvious. It wasn't until Aizen raised his finger to point to the position of the sky that everyone understood. As you order, Su Yang-sama. Obviously, they don't want to miss such a good opportunity to make a big fuss. Ace Kano then made his request to Su Yang. At this moment, Ace Kano, who had not interrupted much before, called Su Yang. For Ace Kano's careful thought, everyone saw through it but didn't reveal it. I'm sorry for being a man of nostalgia one night, but the Lord of the Sky and the Earth in the daytime, I am the only one. After the tornado came up, we drove the Shira straight to Dressrosa. 35. Therefore, at this moment, he proposed to let himself control the Shira attack. Advertisement. 276 Don Quixote Family Meeting. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Dressrosa. Inside the king's castle, Doflamingo walked out of a room with the steps that he did not recognize. My lord, your excellency Toripal, your excellency Diacarmen and others are already waiting for you. Seeing Doflamingo coming, he said to him respectfully in a burgundy-made outfit baby -5. It's all here. Hearing baby 5's words, Doflamingo nodded and pondered slightly. At the right time, baby 5 also opened the door of the room for him, revealing the interior of the room. In the room, there are 4 seats with shapes of hearts, spades, diamonds, and plum blossoms. 553. Advertisement. On the 4 seats, at this time, a figure was sitting either with Erlang's legs crossed, or with crutches. Ho 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 ho. Keep you waiting. Then let's start today's family meeting. 35. Doflamingo walked to the 4 seats, turned to face the 4 people on the seats, and said to them with a smile. And the 4 people in the seats, after hearing Doflamingo's words, their expressions with different expressions gradually converged. As always, it is all thanks to you that the arena is able to develop so well. Diamandi. Doflamingo first looked at the man sitting on the square seat and spoke to him. Over the top, Dover. It's all about your charisma as a king. Diamandi, who was wearing a black fur-brimmed hat, 2 red-orange tattoos on his face, and a red cape heard the words, grinned his big mouth, and opened his mouth to be modest to Doflamingo. Advertisement. No, it's all yours. Seeing Diamanti's modest response to himself, Doflamingo continued to praise Diamanti with a smile as always. Nonsense. I'm not an arena hero. Hearing Doflamingo's continued praise, Diamanti continued to speak modestly. It's just that there have been so many turns in the words. No, you are the hero of the arena. Even though Diamanti continued to be humble, Doflamingo's praise did not stop. Don't say that, Dover, I'm just doing my normal fighting. 35. Diamanti heard the words and continued his modesty. If that's the case, then I don't think so. And Doflamingo also turned a corner at this time, withdrew the compliments he had made to Doflamingo before, and started talking. Advertisement. He was only halfway through speaking, but when he heard Diamandi, who was extremely humble just now, suddenly interrupt Doflamingo's words, the volume increased, and his tone became extremely arrogant and proud and said to Doflamingo. If that's the case, then I have to admit it. That's right, Diamanti, are the heroes of the arena. That appearance is very flamboyant, and it is no longer the very humble state just now. The few people sitting around didn't have any special attire for the awkward conversation between Doflamingo and Diamanti, obviously they were already used to it. Shish, puff, poke, poke. At this moment, the man who was sitting on the plum blossom-shaped seat suddenly turned into a paste and swept towards Doflamingo. After it came to Doflamingo, the mush-like existence turned into a human shape again. I saw it, wearing a blue cloak with a circle printed all over the body, shaped like a cup, with a brain shell with neat bangs, and a pair of black sunglasses, sticky snot flowing from the nostrils. Looks like a sloppy uncle. Advertisement. 277 Doflamingo's plan. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hey hey hey, it's too close. Toripal. Seeing that the sloppy uncle's face was almost sticking to his body, Doflamingo also spoke to him. Ah lie. Is it too close? Is it too close? Hey, Dover, I've already brought what you said before, here it is. Torpal didn't have his own snot at all, and it was almost rubbing against Doflamingo's flamingo cape. I got the things, you go ahead and do them well. 35. Doflamingo took the small treasure box that Torpal handed over, pointed to the plum blossom-shaped seat, and said to Torpal. For Doflamingo's orders, Torpal is still extremely respectful. Advertisement. I saw him turn into that mushy position again, and swept back to his plum blossom-shaped seat. After Summit War, the world is even more chaotic. For that great plan, we will always be ready. The next step is crucial. I believe that this thing is enough to attract the world's attention and cover our actions behind the scenes. Diamandi, this crucial item will be handed over to you. Doflamingo looked at the small treasure chest in his hand, and after muttering to himself for a while, he looked up at Diamandi and spoke to him. Wait, Dover, I'm not good at this, I'm not suitable. Seeing Doflamingo walking towards him and handing over the small treasure chest, Diamandi raised his hands and waved them in rejection. No, Diamandi, you are the most suitable person. Advertisement. I believe you can. 9. Doflamingo's words were firm, holding up the small treasure chest and continuing to speak to Diamandi. Farewell, this rainbow fart is going to blow people into the sky. Diamandi continued to shake his head and evaded with a modest voice. No, only a genius like you can do this. 35. Doflamingo didn't feel bored at all about such a conversation, and continued to praise Diamandi. 0 for flowers. The compliments in it are even more and more excessive. Don't say that, it's really embarrassing. Still the same recipe, still the familiar taste, Diamandi continued to wave her hands away. Advertisement. Yeah, if that's the case, then. As if feeling the heat, after Diamandi's shirk this time, Doflamingo did not insist. As he said that, he was about to retract the hand he stretched out earlier. Since you have said so, then I will admit that I am a genius. Such an important task, of course, can only be done by a genius like me. As before, Diamandi's reply this time was extremely firm and conceited. He reached out and stopped the hand that Doflamingo was about to withdraw, and then grabbed the small treasure chest in his own hand. Ho, it's really reliable. Watching Diamandi snatch the small treasure chest from his hand, Doflamingo didn't mind it, but instead laughed and continued to praise him. Advertisement. 278 inches Ghost Bamboo, Virgo. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After Diamandi took the small treasure chest away, he got up and walked towards the door beside him. Diamandi's departure did not end the Don Quixote family meeting. I saw Doflamingo turned his head again, looked at the man sitting on the seat of hearts, and said to him. Ho, although there is no one sitting in this seat for a long time, I also have someone take care of it on time. After hearing Doflamingo's words, the man sitting on the 553 heart seat put down Erlang's legs. This person has an inch head, wears flat-framed sunglasses, and under a golden plush cloak, is a pure white outfit with densely printed forks. Strangely, there was actually a small piece of steak stuck to the man's face at this time. It seemed that when eating, one accidentally didn't feed it into his mouth and directly touched his face. Advertisement. Hee. Dover, the seats on Marine's side aren't as comfortable. If it's not for the mission, I don't want to stay in that boring place of the G5 branch all the time. And recently I heard that the headquarters is going to transfer a new generation of Dove Seed candidates, which is very troublesome. Hearing Doflamingo's words, the man laughed and said to Doflamingo. Your former boss, that trash, Pika, and I have already dealt with it 3 months ago. I've already found someone to take care of the world government and Marine. Now Marine is at the juncture of the world's conscription. As for your promotion to Vice Admiral and the appointment of G5 Base Commander, I believe it will be in your hands soon. Virgo, for our great plan, we need you to persevere for a few more years. Advertisement. Listening to the man secretly expressing his loyalty and unchanging words, Doflamingo still explained to him with a smile on his face. Exclamation mark. The one who came to attend the Don Quixote family meeting this time was the Marine General, Ghost Bamboo, Virgo, who was ordered by Doflamingo many years ago to go into Marine as an undercover. Through these years of development, G5 is already the master in my hands. 35. That bastard didn't care about it 2 years ago, and now that he's dead, I'm just more righteous. On the contrary, having the identity of Vice Admiral will help me even more in the neutral faction. Dover. For the family, for that great plan, I will do my best to contribute my strength. After hearing Doflamingo's words, Virgo also opened his mouth to report his achievements over the years. 0. Doflamingo came to Virgo's side, patted him on the shoulder, laughed and said to him. Advertisement. Ho, Virgo, your role is very important. The research on Guy's side has reached a critical moment. And there was so much noise from that research, Dressrosa was no longer enough to support his research. 35. In the next period of time, moving the research room to the work of Punk Hazard will require more than 4.6 more help from you. Hearing the task assigned by Doflamingo, Virgo thought for a while and said. It's not difficult. I just heard that the Dove guy who was about to be transferred is a guy with a strong sense of justice. Dover, you'll have to send some useless pirates over there, and use that guy as a toy to divert your attention. Advertisement. 279 Violet's warning. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. In the castle room, Doflamingo is holding a family meeting with several top officials. In the little garden outside the room, the rest of the core cadres of the Don Quixote family also gathered here. Sugar is holding a small bamboo basket full of blueberries and eating blueberries one by one. Lao Ji, Jorah, and Mahabe were playing poker on the side. Buffalo and Dellinger, who were grinning with big teeth, surrounded Monet and kept talking. Tack tat tat ta 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 tat. At this moment, the sound of high heels kicking came from far and near. Everyone in the little garden listened to the sound and looked, and saw a woman in a purple tight skirt standing nearly 10 centimeters and 10 meters high, running quickly and anxiously. And running behind her was a fat man wearing a baby hat, a baby belly kabuto, and a pacifier in his mouth. Advertisement. What's wrong? Violet, 55. Looking at your flustered look, did Marine call you? Jorah put down the poker in her hand and asked the woman who ran first. If Marine calls, then let me teach them a good lesson. Ha 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 ha. As soon as Jorah's voice fell, Mahabe, who was at the card table with her, also made a pose to show the muscles of his arms, and said with a laugh. Just do everything according to the young master's will. 35. Besides, if it wasn't something important, Senor wouldn't come with me. Rao Ji, the oldest at the card table, finally spoke up. Senor, Violet, the young master is still having a family meeting. Advertisement. What is it that makes you so nervous? Big Die Buffalo grinned, brought Sugar and Monet over, and asked Violet and Senor who hurried over. I just passed the eyes of a seagull. See the ship of the Dimension Pirates, heading towards Dressrosa. After hearing the crowd's inquiries, Violet panted heavily and spoke to the crowd with a slightly stumbling speech. Hey, who was I at that time? It's not the Dimensional Sea. What are you talking about? Dimensional Pirates. As soon as Violet's voice fell, Namahabe continued to pose in his strange pose, speaking indifferently. But halfway through, he suddenly realized something. After a brief recollection, he immediately stopped his arrogant words before, and turned into an extremely shocked tone, confirming with Violet. Advertisement. I'm sure I read it right. The boat is steered by Ace Kano of recent fame. 35. 553 inches. The rest of the crew of the Dimensional Pirates who participated in the Summit War appeared on the deck. Look at their aggressive appearance, it's not like they are just passing by. Before Mahabeth could finish speaking, Violet spoke to the crowd. Hearing Violet's words, the oldest of the crowd, Rao Ji, had a gloomy expression on his face. He put down the playing cards in his hand, stood up and said to Violet. If the Dimensional Pirates really came, then this matter would be tricky. Violet, you go with me to see the young master, please decide. Advertisement. 280 strong dragons do not overwhelm the local snakes. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Obviously, Little Garden's movement was also noticed by Doflamingo and the other 3 cadres who were meeting in the room. Squeaky. The window of the room was opened, and Doflamingo stood in front of the boat, looking down at everyone in the garden. After glancing around, Doflamingo asked Violet. Violet, come here in such a hurry, what happened? Hearing Doflamingo's question, the panicked look on Violet's face did not subside in the slightest, and she replied to Doflamingo. Dover. The Dimensional Pirates are heading towards Dressrosa. And looking at the aggressive state of the people on the boat, it doesn't look like they are just passing by. Advertisement. After Doflamingo heard Violet's words, the picture of fighting Su Yong before flashed in his mind, and his face suddenly sank. Why is he here all of a sudden? Could it be he came for that thing, degree? Doflamingo had a low face, and the purpose of Su Yang's coming here was also running fast in his mind, and he murmured 2 words unconsciously in his mouth. No matter how Doflamingo thinks, the final result is that Su Yong is not good at this time. Immediately, he looked back at the top cadres in the room, and then swept around the core cadres in the garden, the smile on his face reappeared. After all, Dressrosa is their Don Quixote family home. Qianglong still does not suppress the snake in the ground. If he really can't beat him in the end, he will be protected by the world government as he bears the blood of that place. Advertisement. Ho 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 ho. Since Su Yong and his Dimensional Pirates are heading straight for Dressrosa. 99. Then let's give them the passion from the Don Quixote family. The frantic smile on Doflamingo's face grew stronger, and he said to the crowd with a big laugh. Follow, young master. As soon as Doflamingo's voice fell, whether it was the 3 top cadres on the 4 chairs in the room, or the core cadres in the little garden outside the house, they all squatted down and gave Doflamingo a big salute, and shouted loudly. Dringer. Doflamingo's smile didn't change, and he shouted at a murloc in Little Garden wearing a sports hat, a pair of sharp horns, and a mouth full of serrated fangs. Young master. Dellinger is at your command. When Dellinger heard this, his head that had already been lowered instantly raised his head to look at Doflamingo, and a pair of sharp mouths grinned fiercely. Dringer, you go to the arena and find Diamante. Advertisement. Then tell him that the arena is closed today, and let him go back to the king's castle to attack. 35. He will sit at the king's castle with me, Toripal, and Pika. Doflamingo looked at Dellinger and instructed him. Yes, young master. Derringer Li Lihao heard Doflamingo's order, and after answering, he turned into a black shadow and ran quickly towards the direction of Dressrosa Arena outside the garden. Senor Mahabath. Jorah. Seeing the figure of Derringer running out, Doflamingo then looked at the others in Little Garden, and called out the names of the three again. Master, I'm waiting. Senor Mahabath, and Jorah, who were named, responded at the same time. Advertisement. 281 Arrangement by Doflamingo. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Monet, you go to the laboratory to find Guy, and let him go to the underground shipyard with the personnel and equipment needed for the experiment. Woo. Seeing everyone's grateful expressions, Doflamingo waved his hands with a smile on his face, and said beg to Senor Mahabath and Jorah. And Geisa himself and his experiments are very important to us, and I need you to leave with the ship. 9. The three of you go to the Smile Factory. Until she reappeared her original form, she still maintained the previous posture of kneeling down and bowing her head. Just take this opportunity to move the laboratory to Punk Hazard. When Virgo heard the words, he nodded, indicating that he was clear. Advertisement. After Doflamingo gave Monet a few words, he turned to look at Virgo and said. At the same time, I won't let any of the little people go. Who told you to give your life? Stupid. 553. I'll let Gladius arrange the ships for you first and send you off. 99. Unexpectedly, their words of loyalty were suddenly interrupted by Doflamingo. Following Doflamingo's remarks, Senor Mahabath, Jorah in Little Garden, and everyone inside and outside the room were all moved with expressions that could no longer be added. Together with the factory manager, Yu Yin, protect the Smile Factory from being destroyed. Lord Virgo, please come with me, Dressrosa's laboratory is on this side. Okay, if you know it, go to the Smile Factory first. Advertisement. Every one of you has been my family since my brother died. At the same time, I'm also responsible for those little people not to take the opportunity to escape. 9. If it's really impossible to do anything, you will abandon the Smile Factory, and it is important to save your life. Seeing that both Virgo and Monet had figured out what they should do, Doflamingo nodded to the two of them, then stopped looking at them, and continued to look at the other people, arranging their work. Seeing Senor Mahabath and Jorah looking up at him, Doflamingo continued to speak for the three of them. Yes, young master. After Senor Mahabath and Korra heard the words, they didn't delay any longer and hurried towards the Smile Factory. As soon as Doflamingo's voice fell, Senor Mahabath and Jorah also answered Doflamingo imposingly. Advertisement. Monet has always been in charge of the work in the laboratory, and she will cooperate with you to complete this relocation. As soon as Doflamingo's voice fell, Monet in the garden waved his hands, and the whole person immediately turned into a snowflake, rising from the ground and scraping along the window to the position beside Virgo. As the three Senor left, Doflamingo first called to Monet in the direction of Little Garden, and then turned to look at Virgo the ghost bamboo, in the direction of the spade seat. Virgo, your identity is sensitive and it is inconvenient to show your face. Monet, come to the room first. And Monet also looked at Virgo very wisely, took the lead in leading the way, and said to him. I will definitely use my life to protect the safety of the Smile Factory. After all, this was what they were discussing a few minutes ago, but it was a change in the relocation time, and they had already arranged the rest of the arrangements. Swish. Advertisement. 282 Youthful. G. Previous chapter. Advertisement. With this series of arrangements, there were not many people left in Little Garden and the house. After Doflamingo glanced around with his sunglasses for a week, he opened his mouth and called out another name in Little Garden, Lao Ji. 0. Young master. The old slave is here. 35. The old-faced Rauji replied to Doflamingo. Torapal will be with me later in the king's castle. I'll leave the responsibility of protecting the sugar to you. Doflamingo first glanced at the sugar with a basket of blueberry fruit beside his hand, and then said to Lauji with a rather solemn expression. After all, your feelings for this country are not ordinary. Violet saw it with her own eyes. Suyong is already on the way with his dimensional pirates. Advertisement. Those who didn't make arrangements just now, wait with me to defend against the enemy. Young master, entrust such an important task to me, I will definitely not hurt the sugar, please don't worry. Doflamingo laughed and said to Diamante. Of course, if you don't want to, neither will I. 35. As reliable as you, I have decided to let you, Pika, and Torapal join me against Suyong and the main force of the Dimension Pirates. Baby 5 and Dellinger followed behind him and walked in together. A mere dimensional pirate group, I alone can stop it. This is Youth G. After watching Diamante sit down, Doflamingo also said to the rest of the crowd. When Doflamingo heard this, he laughed and praised Lao Ji. After Lao Ji said a word to Doflamingo, he took sugar and walked out of the castle. Advertisement. Then, the old slave will take the sugar back to the underground toy factory first. Ho 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 ho. Yeah, 35. Dover. Dellinger stopped me on the way and said the Dimension Pirates were coming. Oh, right. Ho 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 ho. It's really reliable. Sure enough. I should. Dover. Boom. And in his extremely arrogant, proud, and loud voice. Just as Lao Ji left Little Garden with the sugar, there was a sound of footsteps outside the door of Doflamingo's room, and then the wooden door was violently pushed open. Advertisement. As Diamante said, he walked over to the seat that belonged to him and sat down again. Before he could finish his last words, Diamante interrupted him directly. As you said, it's as reliable as me, and the Dimension Pirates attack is a good time to prove my name as an invincible swordsman. Violet, about the attack of the Dimensional Pirates, it's up to you to inform the whole country. Ta 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 ta. Then the sugar will be handed over to you. The members of the entire Don Quixote family are very aware of the ability of sugar and how important it is to the Don Quixote family in this country. What appeared at this moment was naturally Diamante, who had just left with a small treasure chest. Therefore, when Lao Ji heard Doflamingo's order, his eyes seemed to be blazing with raging fire, and he replied with full of fighting spirit. This is how the same thing. However, this time, he did not have the limit of a conversation with Diamante as before. Advertisement.